Chapter 683. The Seven-Colored Spiritual Master was a Level 7 True Inscription Master. At every level he would ignite at least 6 spirit lamps. How large was his spirit fire? Although Lu Ming ignited 10 spirit lamps at every level, he was only a Level 3 Inscription Master before. The difference between him and a Level 7 Inscription Master was too great. In comparison, the difference between a Martial Grandmaster Realm Practitioner and a Spirit Embryo Realm Practitioner was like heaven and earth. It was unknown how far they were apart. Therefore, the Seven-Colored Spiritual Master's spirit fire was still rapidly increasing Lu Ming's spirit fire. Moreover, it contained fragments of the Seven-Colored Spiritual Master's experience. Lu Ming's experience in alchemy and inscription formations was becoming more and more abundant. "Hey, look, there's another palace ahead." Xian Yanqing suddenly pointed ahead and said in surprise. Lu Ming looked over. Indeed, there was a mountain range ahead. On one of the mountain peaks there was another palace. Could it be that the Seven-Colored Spiritual Master cultivated in more than one palace? Could it be that all his treasures are hidden in the palace ahead? Lu Ming's eyes lit up. Obviously, Xian Yanqing also had the same guess. Kill, kill. Kill and take all the treasures. Dandan shouted. Shwa, shwa. Lu Ming turned into 2 streaks of light and flew over. But not long after they stopped. In front there were 2 streaks of light, one in front and one behind, rushing over. In front was a golden sword light. In the sword light was a young man in his 20s. He was extremely handsome and emitted a powerful aura. Obviously, this young man was being chased by a streak of light from behind. The streak of light behind him was an old man. Frost Blade Spirit Practitioner. Seeing the old man behind him, Lu Ming and Xian Yanqing were shocked. The person chasing after them was actually a Frost Blade Spirit Cultivator. But wasn't he trapped in the great formation of the plaza from before? He had actually escaped and appeared here. However, judging from his aura, he should have been severely injured and was far from his peak. He was at most at the 2nd level of the Spiritual Sea Realm. "Kid, hand over the treasures and I'll spare your life." Frost Blade roared. However, the young man didn't seem to have any intention of paying attention to him. He flew past Lu Ming and the others at an extremely fast speed. The Han Dao Spirit Warrior chased after them relentlessly. He glanced at Lu Ming and was stunned for a moment. Then he roared, "Little bastards, it's you. You deserve to die." With a furious roar, Frostblade Spiritual Practitioner actually stopped chasing after the young man. Instead, he pounced on Lu Ming and Xian Yanqing with a venomous look in his eyes. From this, it could be seen how much he hated Lu Ming, directly abandoning that young man. Lu Ming's expression turned solemn as the Infinite Dragon Spear appeared in his hand. Sky Demon Force Field. Xian Yanqing stretched out his hand and pressed down. An enormous heavenly demon force field enveloped Frost Blade Spirit Master. However, the Frost Blade Spirit Master was truly powerful. Although he was injured, his true yuan was still incomparably powerful. His true yuan burst forth, breaking through the heavenly demon force field and charging towards Lu Ming. Destruction Cut. Xian Yanqing roared again. The heavenly demon force field burst forth with the power of Destruction Cut. Streaks of terrifying cutting power seemed to be able to cut through space. Frost Blade Spirit Master roared angrily. His entire body was covered in white ice like a suit of ice armor. His figure continued to charge forward. Kill. Lu Ming rushed into the heavenly demon force field with the Infinite Dragon Spear in hand. The spear light pierced towards Frost Blade Spirit Master's throat. Lu Ming was not affected in the slightest by the heavenly demon force field. It was as if he was outside. The heavenly demon force field was completely under Xian Yanqing's control. Clang. Frost Blade Spirit Master slashed out, blocking Lu Ming's spear. Lu Ming's body trembled as he retreated. Frost Blade Spirit Master's realm was too high. Even if he was injured, his battle strength was still terrifying. Little bastards, die. Today you will die. Frost Blade Spirit Master's eyes were filled with murderous intent. 3 days ago he and old monster Hongqi were trapped in that big formation. They were trapped for half a day and almost died in there. Fortunately, there were other people who had also reached there. With the help of others, they were able to get out of danger. Although they escaped, they were severely injured. Even now they were still far from recovering. His hatred for Lu Ming and old monster Hongqi was unimaginable. Boom. Boom. The 9 Dragons bloodline and the 2nd bloodline erupted at the same time. Lu Ming's battle strength increased greatly. 9th grade King class. Both bloodlines are 9th grade King class. Frost Blade Spirit Master cried out in disbelief. He was almost scared to death. When activating one's bloodline, it was inevitable that the rank of one's bloodline would be exposed. It was simply unbelievable that both bloodlines were 9th grade king class. Kill? Lu Ming shouted. After activating his bloodline, his battle strength increased. He charged towards Frost Blade Spirit Master again. Frost Blade Spirit Master wanted to kill him. How could he not want to kill Frost Blade Spirit Master? Otherwise, it would be terrible to be targeted by such a despicable old monster. Who knew if the old monster would do something behind his back? Die. This kid is too terrifying. He must die. Frost Blade Spirit Master was even more determined to kill Lu Ming. His blade light flashed as he battled with Lu Ming. However, he was greatly affected by the heavenly demon power field. For a moment, it would not be easy to defeat Lu Ming. I'll smash. Dandan shrank back into its shell and suddenly smashed towards Frost Blade Spirit Master's face. However, Sea of Soul Realm martial artists who had comprehended level 2 intent could already control the heaven and earth elements to form battle armor to cover their whole body. Dandan rushed over, but it only smashed into the ice armor covering Frost Blade Spirit Master's face. Nest, I haven't recovered enough. Otherwise, I would have smashed through that old man's ice layer. Dandan flew back to Lu Ming's shoulder and muttered, looking for a chance to sneak attack. Shoo. Right at this moment, a golden sword light flew over. It was the golden rogue youth from before. He had actually returned. Before he arrived, a golden sword chi with incomparable sharpness cut through the void and slashed towards Frost Blade Spirit Master. Kid, come and die with me. Frost Blade Spirit Master roared and waved his blade to block the sword chi. Shwa. The golden rogue youth appeared in the air and glanced around. Finally, his gaze landed on Lu Ming and he said, Shura? Hell King? Lu Ming said. He could tell from the aura that this person was Hell King. And Hell King obviously recognized him as well. How about working together? Let's kill this old man. Hell King said. That's exactly what I want. A smile emerged on Lu Ming's face. Hell King's battle strength was terrifying. With him they could fight the injured Frost Blade Spirit Master. Golden Radiance Radiant Sword. Hell King was very straightforward and directly attacked. The dazzling golden sword chi emitted an incomparable sharpness that seemed to be able to cut through everything. Hell King had comprehended the metal intent, and had already reached level 2. The metal intent was known for its sharpness and sharpness. Xianyanqing's Sky Demon Force field naturally didn't hinder Hell King at all. At the same time Lu Ming also appeared. He stabbed out with his long spear and a tricolor dragon flew out, pouncing towards Frost Blade Spirit Master. Facing the attacks of the three people, Frost Blade Spirit Warriors slashed out saber lights one after another. Chapter 684. Then the spear light, sword light and saber light clashed again. Whoosh, whoosh. Sword chi and saber chi shot out in all directions. One could see with the naked eye that there were cracks in the space nearby. Frost Blade Spirit was injured and suppressed by the Sky Demon Force field, while Lu Ming and Hades were able to fight to their heart's content. The battle between the four was extremely intense. In the blink of an eye they had exchanged dozens of blows. Rumble. At this moment the world suddenly shook. The four of them could feel the Rainbow Island shaking violently in the air. The shaking was getting more and more intense. Oh no, the Rainbow Island is going to return to the void. Let's go. A martial artist shouted in the distance. How do we leave? Fly to the sky. The Rainbow Island is covered by the inscription formation. As long as we fly to the sky and break through the inscription formation we can leave. Hurry. Whoosh, whoosh. Streaks of rainbow light could be seen emerging from the mountain ranges, flying into the sky at an extremely fast speed. Lu Ming and the others' expressions changed. However, they were all anxious. No one stopped. If any of them stopped, the other party would take advantage of the situation and attack fiercely. They would definitely be at a disadvantage. However, the four of them also flew to the sky consciously. They fought as they flew. When they were tens of thousands of meters in the sky, they could see that there was indeed a light screen above their heads that covered the Rainbow Island. In the distance, beams of rainbow light bombarded the light screen and pierced through it. The figures disappeared. Boom. The four of them fought. When the battle reached the edge of the light screen was naturally pierced through. The four of them rushed out. Lu Ming appeared outside and found himself floating in the air. Not far away, a part of the Rainbow Island had already returned to the void. The remaining part was also returning to the void and would disappear soon. Around the Rainbow Island, figures flashed and appeared. They were the people who came out of the Rainbow Island. Clang. Not far away, a dazzling golden light flashed. The Frost Blade Spirit Practitioner was closer to Yama King, so he made the first move. He wanted to kill one of them first before dealing with Lu Ming and Xian Yanqing. How could Lu Ming let him have his way? With the Nine Dragons Heaven Stomp, he turned into a stream of light and appeared behind the Ice Saber Spirit Practitioner in an instant. He aimed his long spear directly at the Ice Saber Spirit Practitioner. Damn it! Yama had long since been on guard against him. His sudden attack hadn't been able to injure Yama. Furthermore, Lu Ming's speed and reaction speed were also terrifying. He had arrived almost immediately, ruining Yama's plan to injure Yama. Boom. In the next moment, a huge pressure pressed down on the Frost Blade Spirit Master. Xian Yanqing followed closely behind. This made the Frost Saber Spirit Practitioner so depressed that he wanted to vomit blood. Among the three of them, Xian Yanqing was the most troublesome to deal with. The Heavenly Demon Power Field Suppression and Destruction Cut's sneak attack made it impossible for him to unleash his full power. As for Lu Ming and Yama King, they were in charge of ferocious attacks. The Frost Saber Spirit Practitioner was confident that he could easily crush and kill any one of the three of them. However, the three of them working together was too difficult to deal with. This area was boiling as the battle was incomparably intense. The people nearby were all alarmed. That's the Frost Saber Spirit Practitioner. Who are those three? They can actually fight with the Frost Saber Spirit Practitioner? Such powerful battle strength. The three of them are all Peak Kings. Unbelievable. Peak Kings can actually fight with the Frost Saber Spirit Practitioner? Azura, Yama, and Yeksha. That's right, it's the three of them. Their moves are exactly the same. The three of them are actually fighting the Frost Saber Spirit Practitioner together. What's going on? Heavens, it should be the three of them. I think there's some conflict on the Seven-Colored Island. Most of the people in the surroundings were Peak Kings. There were also a few Sea of Soul Realm experts. They were all shocked at this scene. The Frost Saber Spirit Practitioner was a powerful existence at the peak of the third level of Sea of Soul Realm. They could see that his aura was weak and should be injured. However, this was still shocking enough. Many people stood in the air watching from afar. Rumble. The Seven-Colored Island kept sinking into the void and was about to disappear. The commotion on the Seven-Colored Island shook the entire Golden Sand Island. Countless figures flew over and looked at the Seven-Colored Island that was about to disappear in shock. At the same time, they were shocked by the scene of Lu Ming and the others fighting with the Frost Saber Spirit Practitioner. Feng Chuan, come and help me kill these three little bastards. The Frost Saber Spirit Practitioner called out. He called out to a first-level Sea of Soul Realm expert who was watching nearby. This Feng Chuan was an old acquaintance of the Frost Saber Spirit Practitioner, but they weren't very close. At this moment, Feng Chuan's expression changed. Lu Ming, Xian Yanqing, and Yama were too powerful. Even if he attacked, he might not be able to kill them in one strike. If he was counterattacked, he might die here. Moreover, they were still so young. Their potential was too shocking. If he didn't kill them all when they broke through to the Sea of Soul Realm, he wouldn't dare to appear. Therefore, he hesitated and couldn't make up his mind. Feng Chuan, you're still not attacking? Do you want to die? The Frost Saber Spirit Practitioner threatened. Feng Chuan's expression turned ugly again. Kill? Xian Yanqing shouted. Her arm pressed down again and a beautiful arm formed. The arm was huge and the palm alone was 10 meters wide. It pressed down on the Frost Saber Spirit Practitioner. This was Xian Yanqing's bloodline martial technique. Extreme Path Strike. Golden Light Tear. Lu Ming and the King of Hell also unleashed their strongest attacks. They wanted to end the battle as soon as possible. The longer the battle dragged on, the more disadvantageous it would be for them. The Frost Saber Spirit Practitioner knew many people, but they were outsiders. The three of them all used their strongest attacks. The Frost Saber Spirit Practitioner's expression changed drastically, and he exploded with all his power to defend. Bang! The power of the three fell on the Frost Saber Spirit Practitioner. The Frost Saber Spirit Practitioner's saber light was shattered, and the ice armor covering his body was also shattered. The Frost Saber Spirit Practitioner screamed, and his body flew far away, spitting out large mouthfuls of blood. Kill. Lu Ming and the other two madly pounced on the Frost Saber Spirit Practitioner. Frost Saber Storm. The Frost Saber Spirit Practitioner's face flashed with an abnormal color. In an instant, he slashed out hundreds of times towards Lu Ming and the other two. Break. The three of them worked together to break the Frost Saber Spirit Practitioner's Frost Saber Storm, and charged towards the Frost Saber Spirit Practitioner. The Frost Saber Spirit Practitioner's face turned pale. He was actually at a disadvantage. If this continued, he would be in danger. At this moment, A scarlet sword chi crossed the void and slashed towards Lu Ming and the other two. Their expressions changed and they blocked the sword chi, but their bodies couldn't help but stop. Whoosh! A red-robed old man appeared in front of the Frost Saber Spirit Practitioner. It was Old Monster Hongqi. "Ah, Old Monster Hongqi, you're here. Good, let's kill these three little bastards together." Seeing Old Monster Hongqi, the Frost Saber Spirit Practitioner was ecstatic. Lu Ming, Xian Yanqing and Yama's expressions became serious. The three of them stood side by side, staring at the Frost Saber Spirit Practitioner and Old Monster Hongqi. Chapter 685. Old Freak Hongqi was the same as the Cold Blade Spirit Warrior. He was also injured in the formation, but no one knew how serious his injuries were. If he retained the same fighting strength as the Cold Blade Spirit Warrior, or even stronger than the latter, they would be in trouble. Today it was impossible for them to kill Frost Blade Spirit Master. Frost Blade Spirit Master and Old Freak Hongqi charged toward Lu Ming and the other two. Around them, everyone was watching attentively. They were extremely curious in their hearts. Would the three rising geniuses die in the hands of the two old monsters? Bus. Just then a golden pagoda appeared on Hell King's body. The golden pagoda emitted a dazzling golden light that was even more dazzling than the sun. Those rays of golden light were like rays of incomparably sharp sword chi. Golden Light Sword Pagoda. Frost Blade Spirit Master and Old Freak Hongqi exclaimed when they saw the golden pagoda. "It's the Golden Light Sword Pagoda." The others around them also exclaimed in shock. "Are you from the Golden Sword Sect?" Old Freak Hongqi asked with a grave expression. In the west of the chaotic astral ocean, there was a large region near the exposed star sea called the Golden Light region. The Golden Light region was very famous in the eastern wilderness. It was not a small region but a large one with terrifying strength. The top sect in the Golden Light region was the Golden Sword Sect. Although the Golden Light region was under the control of the Emperor Heavenly Divine Palace, and the Golden Sword Sect was also a subordinate force of the Emperor Heavenly Divine Palace, the Golden Sword Sect had a lot of say in the Golden Light region. It was almost as powerful as the branch of the Emperor Heavenly Divine Palace in the Golden Light region. The Golden Light Sword Pagoda could only be owned by the true geniuses of the Golden Sword Sect. It was very famous and close to the exposed star sea. "I'm Kenfei Ryu." King of Hell slowly announced his name. "What? You're Kenfei Ryu, the top genius of the Golden Sword Sect?" Kenfei Ryu, ranked 788th on the list of top 1,000 talents in the Eastern Wilderness. Hearing Hell King's words, Old Freak Hongqi and Frost Blade Spirit Master's expressions changed drastically. Cries of surprise could be heard from all around. The King of Hell was Kenfei Ryu, ranked 788th on the list of top 1,000 talents in the Eastern Wilderness. Lu Ming and Xian Yanqing's eyes also flickered. They had naturally heard of Kenfei Ryu. His name was recorded on the list of top 1,000 talents in the Eastern Wilderness. Ranked 788, he was indeed much stronger than Li Xiaoyan. "Old Ghost Han Dao, let's just forget about what happened today." Old Man Hongqi's expression changed as he said to Ice Saber Spirit Master. He wasn't afraid of Kenfei Ryu, but of the Golden Sword Sect behind Kenfei Ryu. "What are you afraid of? Let's kill them today and find a small island to hide on. Do you think the Golden Sword Sect will be able to find us?" Han Dao's eyes were filled with viciousness as he said, "Moreover, these brats all have valuable treasures on them. If we get them, we'll split them equally." "Old Red, don't be such a coward." Ice Saber Spirit Master's eyes were cold. Lu Ming and Xian Yanqing had entered the hall. They had gone in to check, but it was empty. Even the Flood Dragon was gone. He guessed that Lu Ming and Xian Yanqing must have gotten the treasures inside. Moreover, his hatred for Lu Ming was too strong. He wouldn't be satisfied if he didn't kill Lu Ming. Kenfei Ryu, on the other hand, had gotten the treasures in the other hall. Therefore, he didn't want to let the three of them go so easily. Old Man Hongqi's expression also changed. He was also tempted by the treasure that Ice Saber Spirit Master valued. "Old Ice Saber, let's see if you can kill us. Do you think I don't have any life-saving treasures on me? Let's put it another way. If I control the Golden Sword Pagoda with all my might, do you think you can stop it? I'm confident that I can kill one of you. Which one of you wants to die?" Kenfei Ryu sneered, looking at Ice Saber Spirit Master and Old Man Hongqi. Ice Saber Spirit Master and Old Man Hongqi's expression turned ugly. They knew that Kenfei Ryu was right. How could a genius like Kenfei Ryu not have any life-saving treasures on him? Moreover, the Golden Sword Pagoda was a famous treasure. With Kenfei Ryu's cultivation, it would be difficult for him to control it. However, if he was forced to use it, one of them might be killed. Brother Jin, why bother talking nonsense with them? I also have something on me. If I use it, I can kill one of them. Lu Ming said coldly. Ice Saber Spirit Master and Old Man Hongqi's expression changed again. They couldn't help but step back. They had no choice but to believe that Lu Ming was telling the truth. Lu Ming was so young, but his combat ability was strong. He was not inferior to Jian Filiu at all. He was definitely born in a powerful force. It was highly possible that he had a treasure with him to protect himself. Moreover, there was also Xian Yanqing. They began to hesitate. This was the advantage of being a big force. It was not something that independent cultivators like them could compare with. Lu Ming looked coldly at Ice Saber Spirit Master and Old Man Hongqi. What he said just now was half true and half false. He did have a killing move, which was the Thunder Cauldron. However, if he used it, he would be at the mercy of others. Under such circumstances, Lu Ming did not plan to use the Thunder Cauldron. He said it just to scare Ice Saber Spirit Master and Old Man Hongqi. In my opinion, let's forget about today's matter. After pondering for a while, Old Man Hongqi spoke. Obviously, he did not dare to gamble with his life. Ice Saber Spirit Master's face turned ugly. He was very unwilling. However, if Old Man Hongqi withdrew, he could not do anything to Lu Ming and the others. He might even be killed by them. Little bastards, wait until I recover from my injuries. See how I kill you. Ice Saber Spirit Master roared in his heart. If he was in his prime, he was absolutely confident that he could kill Lu Ming and Kenfei Ryu before they used their secret treasures. Let's go. Ice Saber Spirit Master glanced at Lu Ming and the others. Then he and Old Man Hongqi turned into two streaks of light and flew into the distance. Rumble. At this time, the Rainbow Island had completely disappeared in the void. The void returned to its calm state. I still don't know how to address the two of you. I really admire your cultivation and combat strength. Kenfei Ryu put away the Golden Sword Pagoda and cupped his fists to Lu Ming and Xian Yanqing. I'm Lu Ming. Lu Ming cupped his fists and smiled. Xian Yanqing. Xian Yanqing said coldly. Lu Ming? Xian Yanqing? Kenfei Ryu pondered for a while. Obviously, he had not heard of these two names. Then he smiled bitterly and said, I've long heard that this generation is in the golden age. There are many geniuses and talents rising. It seems that it's true. Along the way, I've met no less than 5 geniuses who are not inferior to the list of top 1,000 talents. No wonder Qinji Chamber of Commerce hasn't released a new list when it's time to update the list of top 1,000 talents. Perhaps there are too many rising geniuses for Qinji Chamber of Commerce to control them all. Lu Ming nodded. He was also curious. The list of top 1,000 talents would be updated every 2 years. According to the time, 2 years should have passed, but the new list of top 1,000 talents had not been updated. Obviously, it had something to do with the current era. With the arrival of the new era, talents would rise. Although Qinji Chamber of Commerce was powerful, it was difficult to control them all. Chapter 686. Kenfei Ryu showed off his ability in battle, but he was still very easygoing. Moreover, when he was on Rainbow Island, he could have taken the opportunity to escape, but he turned back to help Lu Ming and the others deal with the Frost Blade Spirit Master. His character was not bad and Lu Ming had a good impression of him. Xian Yanqing stood to the side and did not speak. Lu Ming and Kenfei Ryu chatted for a while and then Kenfei Ryu said goodbye. Brother Lu, Miss Xie, it's not good to stay on Golden Sand Island for long. If the Frost Blade Spirit Master recovers, he will definitely not let you go. I plan to leave Golden Sand Island. What about you? Kenfei Ryu said. Yes, us too. Lu Ming nodded. Good, we'll meet again if fate wills it. Kenfei Ryu cupped his fists and disappeared. Let's go. Lu Ming and Xian Yanqing looked at each other and also left. The news of this battle was bound to spread, and it would spread further and further. Lu Ming and Xian Yanqing did plan to leave Golden Sand Island. During this period, Lu Ming and Xian Yanqing had gained a lot, and they needed to find a quiet place to digest it. Xian Yanqing's destruction concept and wind concept were about to merge successfully. She needed to find a place to go into seclusion and break through in one go. Lu Ming, on the other hand, had not properly studied the suppressing prison heaven skill he had obtained from the suppressing prison steel. Also, the 7-colored spiritual master spirit fire was constantly being refined. He also needed to go into seclusion for a while to digest it. The two flew to the west of Golden Sand Island. Soon they crossed the entire island and arrived at the western coast. Lu Ming's hand moved and a map appeared in his hand. This was the map of the chaotic astral ocean he had bought in Jinsha Island. There was a sea on it and there were countless stars in the sea. Those were all islands. Jinsha Island was relatively close to the east. After watching for a while, Lu Ming and Xian Yanqing soared into the sky and flew towards the west. They planned to find an uninhabited island and go into seclusion for a period of time. After Lu Ming and Xian Yanqing left, Kenfei Ryu appeared on another beach. With a wave of his hand, a metal box appeared in his hand. Inscriptions flowed on the surface of the metal box, sealing it. This is something I obtained from the palace on the seven-colored island. It has the words Martial Monarch's Treasure Key on it. Martial Monarch's treasure, I wonder if it's real? Jian Filiu said in a low voice as a blazing light flashed in his eyes. The words Martial Emperor's Treasure were too attractive. It doesn't matter if it's real or fake. Since it was collected by the seven-colored Taoist, it must be extraordinary. Unfortunately, there is an inscription formation seal on it. It looks like I'll have to spend some time to open this seal. After saying that, Kenfei Ryu put away the metal box and flew towards the sea, disappearing in the blink of an eye. Lu Ming and Xian Yanqing were extremely fast. After flying for 2 days, they finally found a deserted island. The deserted island was not big, with a radius of less than 100 miles. No one lived on it. The two landed on the deserted island and sorted out the things they had obtained from the seven-colored island. This time they had obtained a lot of things. There were supreme-grade spiritual crystals, cultivation techniques, martial skills, and even ultimacy crystals. Especially spiritual herbs, which were the most abundant. The two of them split the loot equally. Then they each found a place and began their seclusion. Dandan, take advantage of this period of time to inscribe level 4 and above inscriptions. Also, give me some inscription formations. I'll study them when I have time. In Dandan's mind, there were countless inscriptions and inscription formations. Naturally, he had to make good use of them. Exchange them with spiritual herbs. Dandan took the opportunity to ask for spiritual herbs. Take them. Lu Ming took out a level 5 spiritual herb and threw it to Dandan. On the seven-colored island, Lu Ming had obtained a lot of spiritual herbs and was very rich. Dandan took the elixir and ran off to inscribe the inscriptions on it. Lu Ming sat cross-legged and sank his consciousness into his sea of consciousness. In his sea of consciousness, 10 green spirit lamps burned fiercely. That's right. In the past few days, Lu Ming had ignited 10 green spirit lamps and reached the perfect stage of a level 4 inscription master. Next, he would be breaking through to the level 5 inscription master. The level 5 inscription master was a hurdle. Once crossed, there would be a qualitative change. A true inscription master would have terrifying combat strength. Lu Ming used the underworld god observation method, and the flowing geocentric flame in his sea of consciousness burned fiercely, constantly refining the seven-colored Taoist spirit flames. The seven-colored Taoist spirit flames had already shrunk, but there was still a lot left. In the future, Lu Ming's spirit flames would still advance by leaps and bounds. Strands of spirit flames floated down and merged with Lu Ming's own spirit flames. His spirit flames continued to grow. 3 hours later, the 10 green spirit lamps suddenly extinguished. Then, a wisp of green flames slowly appeared on the first spirit lamp. Green spirit flames, a level 5 inscription master. Boom. The moment the green flame appeared, Lu Ming's mind shook and a loud rumbling sound rang out. Boom. At this moment, 5 rings of light suddenly appeared above Lu Ming's head. 5 rings of light with 5 different colors. At the bottom was a crimson ring of light. On the ring of light, there were 10 points that were evenly distributed. They emitted resplendent light like stars. From bottom to top, the second halo was orange and also had 10 points. It was incomparably resplendent. The third halo was yellow and also had 10 points. The fourth halo was green and also had 10 points. Only the fifth ring was different. It was green, but there was only 1 dot on it. Spirit ring. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. As long as an inscription master reached level 5, a spirit ring would appear. Each color of the spirit ring represented a corresponding level. For example, the ring at the bottom represented a level 1 inscription master. The 10 dots on it represented the number of spirit lamps that had been lit. Lu Ming's first 4 levels all had 10 spirit lamps lit, so there were 10 dots. If a level only had 5 spirit lamps lit, then there would only be 5 dots. The spirit ring could clearly display an inscription master's cultivation situation. With a thought, Lin Yun put away the spirit ring. Then Lu Ming's consciousness sank into the green spirit flames. Boom. In an instant, Lu Ming's spirit flames extended out and flew out of his body, floating between heaven and earth. At this moment, the entire world in his eyes was filled with a myriad of colors. Red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, violet. Lu Ming could clearly sense the various colors, attributes and energies of heaven and earth. What a wonderful feeling. Lu Ming was extremely curious. His spirit flames continued to extend out, but the further it went, the weaker the energy Lu Ming felt. Let's test the power of the inscription array. Returning to his senses, Lu Ming stood up. Stop. Stop. He took several steps on the ground and inscriptions appeared on the ground. These inscriptions intersected and formed an inscription array. Bang. As Lu Ming took the last step, a battle sword flew out from the array and slashed at a mound. Bang. The mound was directly split into two. As expected, an inscription array can carry the power of heaven and earth and unleash a powerful attack. Is this the power of a level 5 inscription master? It's indeed wonderful. Chapter 687. Right now he had just stepped into the 5th level and had only ignited one spirit lamp. Later on, when he ignited more spirit lamps and mastered more powerful inscription formations, his attack power would be even stronger. The formation that Lu Ming had just inscribed was only a 3rd level formation, so its attack power was limited. An inscription master's combat power was related to the strength of their spirit flames, but it also had a lot to do with the inscription formations they mastered. The stronger the spirit flames, the more power of heaven and earth they could control. The stronger the inscription formation, the more terrifying its power would be. The 7-colored spiritual master's spirit flames have some experience, and even the art of alchemy and formations. However, it's too messy now. I'll sort it out after refining all of his spirit flames. Now all I have to do is wait for Dandan to inscribe inscriptions and formations. Before that, I'll put aside the art of inscription for now. Anyway, the flowing geocentric flame was constantly refining the 7-colored spiritual master's spirit flames. His spirit flames were constantly growing stronger, so he could ignore it for now. Suppressing steel. Lu Ming planned to study the suppressing steel and suppressing hell heaven skill for his 2nd bloodline. With a thought, the suppressing steel appeared. Suppressing steel, what is it suppressing? The 9 serenities hell? Lu Ming smiled faintly. The clouds in front of the suppressing steel had already dispersed, but the rest of the steel was still shrouded in clouds and looked very mysterious. At this moment, Lu Ming suddenly realized that he could feel an extremely heavy intent lingering in his heart. It was incomparably clear. This is the earth? Yes, this is the power of the earth. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. He stepped on the earth and slowly he seemed to have become one with the earth. The power of the earth, yes, this is the power of the earth. This suppressing steel is really amazing. It can actually let me feel the power of the earth so clearly. Lu Ming knew very well that this was all because of the suppressing steel. In the past, when he stepped on the earth, he didn't have this feeling, but now he did. It seemed that the suppressing steel was very compatible with the earth. Lu Ming had a feeling that if he wanted to comprehend the power of the earth now, he could quickly comprehend it and master it. Should I comprehend it? Lu Ming hesitated. Once he comprehended the force of the earth, the number of forces he could control, and even the concepts of heaven and earth, would increase to 4. His cultivation speed would definitely slow down. And the more concepts one comprehended, the greater the repulsive force would be, and the more difficult it would be to cultivate. Lu Ming had to consider it. Let's take a look at the suppressing hell heaven skill first, then think about it. Lu Ming sat down cross-legged and closed his eyes. In his mind, information regarding the hell-suppressing heaven art appeared. During this period of time, he hadn't had the chance to properly study the hell-suppressing heaven skill. Immediately, all the information related to the suppressing hell heaven skill echoed in Lu Ming's mind. After more than an hour, Lu Ming opened his eyes. What a wonderful martial skill. Lu Ming's eyes revealed a trace of amazement. There was no doubt that the hell-suppressing heaven art was a bloodline martial skill, but it was very different from other bloodline martial skills. First of all, the hell-suppressing heaven art didn't have any fixed moves. It was more like a combat skill. After successfully cultivating it, one could borrow the power of the bloodline. Every punch, palm, or even kick would contain the power of the hell-suppressing steel, and its power would be extremely terrifying. Even if one cultivated it to the highest level, it wouldn't be limited to the hands and feet. Every part of the body could be used to fight. The back, shoulders, and so on could contain the power of the hell-suppressing steel and unleash terrifying attacks, turning them into killing weapons. Also, the hell-suppressing heaven art didn't have a specific grade. It had a lot to do with the power of the bloodline. The stronger the power of the bloodline, the stronger the power of the hell-suppressing steel. If one awakened a 9th grade king-class bloodline, then the power of the hell-suppressing heaven art could barely reach the first level of a demigod-class martial skill. If one awakened a first-grade god-class bloodline, then the power of the hell-suppressing heaven art could even reach the sixth level of a demigod-class martial skill. Demigod class. Lu Ming's eyes emitted a bright light. Other people could only awaken a fixed bloodline grade, but Lu Ming could continuously upgrade it. This martial skill was simply too suitable for Lu Ming. However, there was a requirement for the hell-suppressing heaven art, and that was to use the earth concept as the core in order to display its strongest power. This was because the earth concept was the most compatible with the hell-suppressing steel. It seems like I still need to comprehend the earth concept. Lu Ming's mouth curved into a bitter smile. However, Lu Ming quickly made a decision. Comprehend it? Comprehending the power of the earth and the concept of the earth would greatly increase his battle prowess. Moreover, if he could integrate the concept of the earth into the three ultimate skills of the dragon god in the future, the three ultimate skills of the dragon god would transform into a low-grade demigod martial skill. Could be said to be killing three birds with one stone. Lu Ming carefully went through the contents of the hell-suppressing heaven art in his mind. Then the hell-suppressing steel's bloodline appeared. Lu Ming planned to start comprehending the earth concept. When the earth concept had reached a certain level, he would combine it with the earth concept and cultivate the hell-suppressing heaven art together. Taking out the enlightenment ancient tree and placing it beside him, Lu Ming's mind became incomparably clear. He seemed to have become one with the earth under his feet. He seemed to see this small island extending all the way down to the bottom of the sea, merging with the endless earth. A heavy, grand, vast and vicissitude feeling rippled in Lu Ming's heart. After an unknown period of time, Lu Ming's body also emitted a heavy, grand, vast and vicissitude feeling. Earth concept, elementary level. At this moment Lu Ming opened his eyes. He suddenly stood up and struck out with his palm. Boom. This palm seemed to be incomparably heavy, as if it could crush space. After an explosion, Lu Ming stopped. He frowned and muttered, "No again." At this moment he was cultivating the hell-suppressing heaven art. Boom. Boom. Lu Ming alternated between using his palm, fist and finger, constantly striking the air. In this way Lu Ming cultivated continuously for 3 days. 3 days later, every time he struck out with his palm, it was as if there was a huge mountain in his palm, causing the air to rumble and explode. After cultivating for another 10 minutes, Lu Ming let out a long breath. After 3 days of cultivation, the hell-suppressing heaven art could be considered as elementary level. However, Lu Ming could only use it with his hands now. If he wanted to use it with his feet, there was still a long way to go. As for being able to use it with his whole body, the distance was even greater. In these few days, Lu Ming did not continue to comprehend the earth concept. He wanted to take advantage of the fact that the earth force's maturity was still low to merge it with the other three intents. Otherwise, when the earth force's maturity was high, it would be even more difficult to merge them. The more mature it was, the stronger the repulsive force. Let's go and see how Shao Qing's cultivation is going. Lu Ming walked to the other side of the island. Xian Yanqing was cultivating on the other side of the island. Chapter 688. Little Qing, did you encounter a problem in your cultivation? Lu Ming walked over and stood side by side with Xian Yanqing. The sea breeze blew, blowing Xian Yanqing's skirt and black hair. At this moment, Xian Yanqing was like a goddess descending to the mortal world. I don't know why. The destruction intent realm and wind intent realm are always a little lacking and difficult to merge. Xian Yanqing said. Could it be that the destruction intent realm is too strong so the repulsive force is stronger? Lu Ming guessed. That's right. Xian Yanqing nodded. Sure enough, it was the same as Lu Ming's guess. The destruction intent realm was an extremely powerful and terrifying intent realm that could destroy everything. It was even stronger than the star intent realm of the sacred stars. As for the wind intent realm, it was one of the 9 common intents. Compared to the destruction intent realm, there was still a gap. Therefore, it was even more difficult to merge them. It was like a poor person wanting to be friends with a rich person. It was very difficult. However, it was much easier for 2 poor people or 2 rich people to be friends. The destruction intent realm was equivalent to the rich person, and the wind intent realm was equivalent to the poor person. To put it more accurately, the destruction intent realm disdained to merge with the wind intent realm. Lu Ming pondered for a moment and then said, Little Qing, try comprehending it with this. With a wave of his hand, the enlightenment ancient tree appeared on the ground. Xian Yanqing was stunned at first. Then she sensed it and her expression changed drastically. As she sensed it carefully, her expression became more and more interesting. Is this the legendary enlightenment ancient tree? Xian Yanqing looked at Lu Ming. Her voice was trembling, and her eyes were filled with disbelief. Yes, I was lucky to get a withered branch of the Enlightenment ancient tree. I didn't expect it to really sprout. Lu Ming smiled slightly. You showed me such a valuable thing. Aren't you afraid that I'll have evil thoughts and take it away? Xian Yanqing blinked her big eyes and looked at Lu Ming. Lu Ming smiled faintly. Do you know how to do it? Puchi. Xian Yanqing laughed out loud. At this moment, her smile was incomparably brilliant and incomparably happy. Her beautiful eyes blinked as she stared at Lu Ming, as if she wanted to engrave him in her heart. How is it? Are you very touched? Don't tell me you want to give yourself to me? I'm not ready yet. Lu Ming said with a smile. Promise my ass. Humph, lend me this Enlightenment ancient tree for 2 days. Xian Yanqing curled her lips. Then her eyes flashed and she said, Since you're so sincere, I'll reward you. After saying that, Xian Yanqing suddenly stood on her tiptoes and kissed Lu Ming's face. Then, with a red face, she hugged the Enlightenment ancient tree pill furnace and ran off to cultivate. Hee hee. Lu Ming touched the place where Xian Yanqing had kissed him and giggled. Boy, why are you here? I've been looking for you for a long time. Dandan's voice sounded. It ran wildly in the air with its short legs and flew towards Lu Ming. Have you finished carving inscriptions and inscription formations? Lu Ming looked at Dandan. I'm done. I'm exhausted. But let me tell you, my cultivation is limited now. I can only carve level 5 inscriptions and some level 5 inscription formations. I can't carve more inscriptions than that. You need to wait for me to recover a little more. Dandan spat out more than a dozen jade plates from its mouth and handed them to Lu Ming. Only level 5 inscriptions? Lu Ming whispered. Boy, let me tell you, don't underestimate my inscriptions and inscription formations. Who am I? I have mastered a lot of inscriptions and inscription formations that you don't have here. They are very rare and powerful. Many of them are not worse than level 6 formations. With your mental strength, the power they exert is definitely not weaker than ordinary level 6 formations. Dandan explained proudly. Since you've worked so hard, these spiritual herbs are your reward. Lu Ming took out some level 5 spiritual herbs and threw them to Dandan. Dandan gritted its teeth. With its status, it didn't need others to reward it. It was always the one who rewarded others. Now Lu Ming, a young boy, actually took out a few level 5 spiritual herbs and said they were for it. This made Dandan's turtle shell rise and fall. What? Don't want it? Forget it? Lu Ming said. Yes, of course. Dandan hurriedly put away the elixir and warned herself in her heart that she had no choice but to lower her head when she was under the eaves. Then it ran away happily. Lu Ming took out the jade token that Dandan gave him and looked at it. Some were level 4 and level 5 inscriptions, and some were all kinds of inscription formations. After Lu Ming looked at it, he began to comprehend it. In the blink of an eye, another 3 days passed. Xian Yanqing returned the Enlightenment ancient tree to Lu Ming. How is it? Did you gain anything? Lu Ming asked. I gained something. Come, let's fight. I need a strong pressure. Xian Yanqing said. That's exactly what I want. I want to fight with you. Lu Ming smiled, and the momentum of the earth spread out from his body. He also wanted to fight with Xian Yanqing and integrate the momentum of the earth with the other 3 intents. Xian Yanqing's beautiful eyes suddenly widened and exclaimed, Momentum of the earth, you actually comprehended the momentum of the earth? Yes, I can't help it. Lu Ming sighed softly. What a monster. Xian Yanqing muttered. Lu Ming was speechless. Boom, boom. After a while, there was a deafening roar on the island. Above the island, 2 figures were constantly bombarding each other, and the sky was constantly shaking. After a few hundred moves, the 2 stopped and comprehended their intents. Just like that, half a month passed in the blink of an eye. Every day the 2 would spend some time fighting to promote the integration of intents. During the rest of the time, Lu Ming would cultivate the hell-suppressing heaven skill, comprehend and cultivate various inscriptions and fight with inscriptions. Lu Ming's gains were huge and he was improving every day. He could easily inscribe the inscriptions and inscription formations that Dandan gave him. As for the hell-suppressing heaven skill, Lu Ming had cultivated it to his feet. Lu Ming's every punch, every palm, and every kick seemed to contain a prison-suppressing monument, suppressing everything. However, using the hell-suppressing heaven skill consumed too much Zhen Yuan. Lu Ming's Zhen Yuan was much more vigorous than other martial artists in the same realm, but it still consumed a lot of Zhen Yuan, and he couldn't support too many moves. He wouldn't be able to use more than half of his Zhen Yuan after a few moves. It should be known that even Sea of Soul realm experts didn't have many low-grade demigod martial skills. Many low-grade Sea of Soul Realm experts cultivated high-grade Heaven-grade martial skills. Some rogue cultivators who were a bit shabby still cultivated low-grade Heaven-grade martial skills. Generally, only high-grade Sea of Soul Realm experts could bring out the full power of low-grade demigod martial skills. Hell-suppressing Heaven skill can be my trump card. I should use it as little as possible. Lu Ming pondered. As for the integration of Aura of Earth with the other three intents, his progress was also very fast and he was just a little bit away. After all, Lu Ming had the previous two experiences, and the current Aura of Earth was still very weak, so the integration was a bit faster. As for Xian Yanqing, after such a long time of cultivation, he finally succeeded in integrating Destruction Intent and Wind Intent in one go. This caused Xian Yanqing's battle strength to increase crazily. The might of the integration of Destruction Intent and Wind Intent shocked even Lu Ming. Chapter 689. Lu Ming, the last key to the Martial Emperor's treasure has finally appeared. Xian Yanqing flew over, holding a small jade sword in his hand. Lu Ming's hand moved and a jade sword appeared. At this moment, the 9 lines on the sword hilt all lit up, flashing with a dazzling light. Lu Ming was also somewhat excited. The 9 keys had finally appeared, which meant that the Martial Emperor's treasure was about to be opened. Let's inject our true qi and see if there are any changes, Lu Ming said. Xian Yanqing nodded and together with Lu Ming, injected their true qi into the jade sword. The jade sword trembled slightly, and then a map appeared in the air. There are changes. Lu Ming's eyes lit up. The map began to change and slowly the dot became bigger. Lu Ming and the others realized that the map of the chaotic astral ocean was getting bigger and bigger in front of their eyes. On the map there was still a dot pointing to a place. As the map changed, the other areas on the side disappeared, leaving only the chaotic astral ocean on the map. That dot pointed to a sea area in the north of the chaotic astral ocean. Their eyes lit up. Obviously, that was the location of the Martial Emperor's treasure. Everyone, can you hear me? At this moment, a voice suddenly came from the 2 jade swords. This voice was rough, like the voice of a middle-aged man. Lu Ming and Xian Yanqing were shocked. How could there be a voice? Could it be the spirit of the jade swords, or the voice that was sealed inside the jade swords when they were refined? But at this moment another voice came out. Who are you? The voice seemed to be a young man. Lu Ming and Xian Yanqing looked at each other. It didn't seem to be what they thought. Everyone, you should have all obtained the keys to the Martial Emperor's treasure. I am one of you. The rough voice began to speak again. What a mysterious formation. It can actually transmit messages to each other. It seems like the 9 keys already have an owner. At that moment an aged voice was heard. It seemed to be a very old oh. That's right. The 9 jade swords can communicate with each other. Where are you now? Now that we know where the treasure trove is, it's time for us to open it. The rough voice said again. I arrived at the chaotic astral ocean a long time ago. Old Oh's voice sounded. I'm also in the chaotic astral ocean. The young voice sounded. I'm also in the chaotic astral ocean. At this moment another voice rang out. It was a new voice and it sounded very young. Upon hearing this figure, Xian Yanqing and Lu Ming's expressions changed slightly because they were quite familiar with this voice. Kenfei Ryu. That's right. It was Kenfei Ryu's voice. Lu Ming's eyes flashed as he channeled his true yuan into the sword. King of Hell. The voice from the jade sword went silent. After a while, a voice could be heard. Shura? Sounded very surprised. That's right. Lu Ming said. This time they were sure that the other party was really Kenfei Ryu. They didn't call each other's real names. The Martial Emperor's treasure was of great importance. Now they couldn't leak the information. It seems that some of you know each other. What a coincidence. Is there anyone else here? I'm also in the chaotic astral ocean. Where are the others? The rough voice rang out. Then there was silence. After a while another voice rang out. I'm in the chaotic astral ocean. Me too. 2 new voices rang out in succession. In this way there were a total of 7 voices. Xian Yanqing didn't speak. Except for Xian Yanqing there was only one person left. Everyone, I'm on my way to the chaotic astral ocean. It will take me half a month. Why don't you wait for me at the treasure trove? At this moment, a clear voice rang out. It was a woman's voice. It sounded very young and somewhat timid. Half a month? Okay, we'll wait for you there first. The rough voice rang out. Wait a minute, let's discuss this first. The Martial Emperor's treasure is of great importance. Whether it's true or not, we can't leak it out. You didn't leak it out, did you? Old Oh's voice rang out. No, how could I tell others about the martial emperor's treasure? Only me. The others spoke one after another. That's good. We'll meet at the treasure trove. Oldo's voice rang out. Then there was no other voice. Lu Ming and Xian Yanqing retracted their true essences. The map disappeared. Lu Ming, what do you think? Xian Yanqing asked. We can't believe all of these people's words. Who knows if they brought others with them? We can go to the treasure trove first, but we can't show ourselves. Lu Ming said. Xian Yanqing nodded and said, I think so too. It was about the martial emperor's treasure. Although they didn't know whether it was true or not, it was still no small matter. It was better to be as careful as possible. Let's go. It's a long journey from here to the destination, Xian Yanqing said. Lu Ming nodded and called Dandan. The two of them rose into the air and flew in the direction marked on the map. After flying for half a month, they were finally close to the sea. The two of them followed the map and flew in the air, looking down. It should be that small island. Lu Ming pointed at a small island in front of them. That small island was the location marked on the map. There were 9 huge stone pillars on the small island. They looked like mountain peaks, but there was not a single blade of grass growing on them. Furthermore, the appearance of the 9 stone pillars resembled 9 swords. They were all pointing straight up. Lu Ming, look, there's someone there. Xian Yanqing whispered. Lu Ming looked over. Indeed, there was a figure sitting cross-legged on one of the sword-shaped stone pillars. From afar, it looked like a middle-aged man. There's only one person. Let's find an island nearby to settle down and act according to the situation, Lu Ming said in a low voice. Xian Yanqing nodded. They had to be careful. Other than Kenfei Ryu, they didn't know the other owners of the martial emperor's treasure. They didn't know the other party's cultivation or background. If an almighty at the high level of the spirit sea realm or a strong practitioner at the spirit embryo realm came, wouldn't they be courting death if they appeared rashly and wanted to kill them? The two of them retreated and landed on a small island 10,000 miles away. They planned to cultivate while waiting for an opportunity. During the half a month on the road, they didn't fall behind too much in their cultivation. In their minds, they were constantly comprehending various martial techniques. Lu Ming, in particular, was more familiar with the use of various inscriptions and inscription formations. Moreover, the 7-colored spiritual master's spiritual fire was almost completely refined. Lu Ming had already ignited 10 green spiritual lamps. Chapter 690. However, Lu Ming was already very satisfied. Even Lu Ming himself didn't know how powerful the perfect 5th-level spirit fire and the inscription formations given to him by Dandan could be. But it was definitely stronger than his martial arts combat strength. The 7-colored Taoist's experience and knowledge of the path of inscription were integrated into Lu Ming's spirit along with the spirit fire. These were precious treasures, the 7-colored Taoist's 1,000 years of experience in the path of inscription. However, Lu Ming still needed to spend some time to fully master it if he wanted to use it for his own use. The two of them landed on the island, cultivating as they waited. 2 days later, Lu Ming secretly went to the small island to take a look and found that there was one more person. A young man was sitting cross-legged on another stone pillar. Lu Ming didn't show up and returned to the small island. At this time there was movement in the jade sword again. Lu Ming took it out and injected his true essence into it. A voice sounded. Everyone, I have arrived at my destination. Brother Lu is with me. When will you arrive? A rough voice sounded. It should be the burly man. I'm on my way. In a few days. Oldo's voice sounded. Me too. Lu Ming also answered in the same way. The other voices also answered in the same way. Everyone, I have arrived at the chaotic astral ocean, but it will take me another 10 days to reach my destination. I'm really sorry. The timid voice sounded. It doesn't matter if you wait a few more days, but let's set a rule. Those who come to meet us better show their jade sword. Both sides can prove their identity to avoid misunderstandings. The rough voice said. Okay, I have no objection. That's great. Voices sounded one after another. Xian Yanqing didn't say anything. One was that Xian Yanqing didn't like to talk, and the other was that they deliberately didn't expose a jade sword. It might be useful at a critical moment. Then Lu Ming put away the jade sword and continued to cultivate. He integrated the 7-colored Taoist's experience very quickly. His understanding and application of the path of inscription were advancing by leaps and bounds. Of course, inscribers all leaned in different directions. Some leaned towards artifact forging, some leaned towards alchemy, some leaned towards talisman crafting, and some leaned towards array formations. The 7-colored Taoist leaned towards alchemy, followed by formations. Lu Ming's knowledge and experience in alchemy increased rapidly. Of course, his array formations also improved very quickly. On the small island, Lu Ming took a series of steps on the ground. Without a sound, the ground was covered with inscriptions. At the same time, he waved his hands continuously. In the void, inscriptions flashed and flew into the surrounding trees and big rocks. After a while he stopped. "Brat, your luck is really enviable. 5th level perfection, the experience of the 7-colored Taoist, and an abnormal inscription talent. Now, you are completely a qualified true inscription refinement grandmaster." On the side, Dandan sighed. It wasn't easy to get Dandan's praise. After all, Lu Ming had only been in contact with the path of inscription for a short time. His foundation was insufficient. Although the cultivation of the spiritual fire was very fast, the other things couldn't be made up for. He needed a lot of time to accumulate them. But now, Lu Ming had integrated the experience of the 7-colored Taoist and skipped this step. Experience spiritual fire, and all other aspects could be considered to be on par. Of course, this was an opportunity that couldn't be replicated. The 7-colored Taoist had rushed into Lu Ming's sea of consciousness and wanted to occupy Lu Ming's body. Other inscribers wouldn't do this and rush into someone else's sea of consciousness. Lu Ming just happened to have the flowing earth flame and the underworld god visualization. With some achievements in the path of inscription, Lu Ming put more effort into the cultivation of martial arts. In the blink of an eye, another 10 days passed. During these days, every 2 days, Lu Ming and Xian Yanqing would go to the small island to secretly observe. There were more and more people on the small island. There were already 5 people there. Even the timid woman had arrived. "Almost everyone is here. Let's go and meet up with them," Lu Ming said. Those 5 people had been living peacefully for the past few days, so there shouldn't be any problems. Okay. Xian Yanqing nodded. The 2 of them headed towards the island together. Soon they were close to the island. The 2 of them didn't hide their whereabouts. When they arrived, the 5 people on the island naturally noticed them. "Who are you?" One of the burly men spoke with a rough voice. Lu Ming moved his hand and a sparkling jade sword appeared. The eyes of the other 5 lit up, and a jade sword appeared in each of their hands. "Sir, I've said before that you're not allowed to tell others. Why did you bring someone here?" The burly man's face turned cold. The others' faces also turned cold as they looked at Lu Ming and Xian Yanqing. "She's my wife." "What? I can't even bring my wife?" Lu Ming pulled Xian Yanqing's hand and smiled. Xian Yanqing's face turned red as she gritted her teeth. This guy took advantage of her again. However, under such circumstances, she naturally couldn't deny it and let Lu Ming hold her hand. "What?" The burly man's eyes flickered. "Since it's your wife, I think it should be fine." A timid voice sounded. The owner of this voice was a young woman. She was very beautiful and looked weak, but from her aura she was a peak king. "Okay, since that's the case, brother, please come to the island," the burly man said. Lu Ming nodded and pulled Xian Yanqing onto the island. Step by step, they walked toward a stone pillar at the center of the island. No one noticed that every time Lu Ming took a step, there would be a faint flash of light at the spot where his feet touched the ground. Soon they were about to reach the stone pillar. At this moment, a sudden change occurred. The figures of the 5 people on the stone pillar suddenly flashed and split into 5 directions, surrounding Lu Ming and Xian Yanqing. Lu Ming and Xian Yanqing's expressions changed slightly. "Everyone, what is the meaning of this?" Lu Ming looked around. "It's very simple. Hand over your jade sword." The burly man sneered. "So you want my jade sword? However, even if I give it to you, it won't be enough for you to share." Lu Ming said. "Haha kid, you don't have to divide us. We're all from the same faction. Why should we divide?" Oldo sneered. However, Lu Ming's heart sank. This was because this Oldo's voice was clearly different from the one he had heard in the jade sword. "Did you notice? During this period of time they all came and died," the delicate woman said. However, at this time she didn't feel timid at all. Her voice was very cold. "A trap. Everything was a trap." Lu Ming's mind was spinning rapidly. "The others are all dead?" Lu Ming's eyes flashed and said coldly. "That's right, kid. Let me tell you. We already had 2 jade swords, so senior brother Zhong Imo and I put on a show. Actually, I've arrived a long time ago, but I said I didn't. I just wanted to lower your guard." The delicate woman sneered and seemed to be very proud. The senior brother Zhong Imo she was talking about was the burly man, the one with the rough voice. No wonder it was only the 2 of them who were talking and the others didn't. Once the others opened their mouths, they would be exposed. Boom. Boom. Chapter 691. Apart from the delicate woman who was a peak tier king, the others were all spiritual ocean tier elites. The strongest was the burly man who was at the third layer of the spiritual ocean tier. At this moment, 7 or 8 figures suddenly flew out from the surrounding soil. What's with all the nonsense? There are still 2 jade swords left. Kill them directly and don't let the last one with the jade sword discover us. Finish this quickly and clean up the scene. One of the white-haired and white-bearded old men spoke, emitting a powerful cultivation at the 4th layer of the spiritual ocean tier. This old man had the cultivation of the 4th layer of the spiritual ocean tier. These people were all from the same faction. Obviously, the people who came here before were all killed by them with thunderous methods. Therefore, Lu Ming didn't discover them when he came here several times. Could it be that Kenfei Ryu is also dead? Lu Ming's heart moved. It was a pity that such a genius died in the hands of these people. Wait, I can give you the jade swords, but you have to let us go. Lu Ming shouted. He pulled Xian Yanqing and moved to the side. Every time he moved, there would be a faint ray of light under his feet that sank into the ground. All right, hand over the jade swords and I can consider sparing your lives. The burly man sneered. The others revealed mocking smiles. This kid was really naive? How could they let them go? Lu Ming's gaze swept over the surroundings. These people were all experts. Of the 7 people who appeared later, 2 were peak tier kings, and the other 5 were all spiritual ocean tier elites. The strongest was obviously the white-haired old man, who had the cultivation of the 4th layer of the spiritual ocean tier. This was definitely a person from a large faction. This force was even stronger than the entire Golden Sand Island. Lu Ming's mind raced. With a move of his hand, the jade sword appeared in his hand. Senior, I'll leave it to you. Lu Ming's true essence suddenly exploded, and the jade sword in his hand turned into a flash of lightning, shooting towards the white-haired old man. The white-haired old man subconsciously reached out to catch it. What Lu Ming wanted was this moment. Bang. Lu Ming suddenly took 2 steps on the ground. Suddenly the ground emitted a bright light. Countless inscriptions burst out and turned into 2 swords, slashing towards the south. On the south side, there were only 2 martial artists in the 1st layer of the spiritual ocean tier. Of the 4 directions, that side was the weakest. Lu Ming wanted to break out of the encirclement in the south. Damn it! Inscription formation. When did he carve the inscription formation? With a furious roar, everyone unleashed a powerful aura. But he was still a step too late. Pucci. How could the 2 Sea of Soul Realm experts have imagined that 2 mere peak kings would dare to cause trouble? Moreover, they had unknowingly inscribed an inscription array. In his haste, he tried to defend himself, but he was only able to exert 50% of his strength. It was cut in half by the 2 swords. Go! Lu Ming put his arm around Xian Yanqing's slim waist and used the 9 dragons' heaven-stomping steps to rush towards the south. In the blink of an eye, they were already 10 miles away. Damn it! Where do you think you're going? The white-haired old man caught the jade sword and instantly let out a furious roar, pointing his finger at Lu Ming. A finger force instantly crossed the 10 miles distance and pointed at Lu Ming's heart. Fast, too fast, and the power was terrifyingly strong. The 4th layer of the spiritual ocean tier was really too strong. Sky Demon Force Field. Destroy. Xian Yanqing tried his best to use the Sky Demon Force Field, wanting to block it. At the same time, Lu Ming's bloodline completely exploded, and his figure continued to flash to the side. The powerful finger force pierced through Xian Yanqing and Lu Ming's defenses. Although Lu Ming tried his best to dodge, he was still a bit too slow. His arm was grazed by the finger force, and a large piece of flesh was torn off, almost blowing off one of Lu Ming's arms. Inscriptions flickered on Lu Ming's body, entering his and Xian Yanqing's bodies. These were inscriptions to increase speed. At the same time, inscriptions flashed on Lu Ming's body. These were inscriptions for Zhenyuan eruption. By now, Lu Ming could instantly inscribe some of the inscriptions that Dandan had used before. Shwa. Lu Ming used the 9 dragons' heaven-stomping steps, and his speed was unbelievably fast. In an instant he was already far away. Behind him, the white-haired old man, the burly man, and the others were chasing at extreme speed. The killing intent on their bodies was so dense that it couldn't be dispersed. They had miscalculated. This time they had miscalculated. It was just 2 peak-tier kings. With their powerful battle strength, they were already cautious enough to surround 2 peak-tier kings. This was practically a sure-win situation. Not even in their wildest dreams would they have imagined that the 2 peak-tier kings would actually be able to charge out. Last time they had been careless and a young man had risked his life to escape. Therefore this time they had all moved out and surrounded the 2, but the 2 had still managed to escape. The main reason was that Lu Ming's inscription array was too powerful. It could actually kill 2 experts in the first layer of the spiritual sea realm instantly. They chased with all their might, but they realized that Lu Ming's figure was getting farther and farther away. The 9 dragons' heaven-stomping steps exploded at full power, and with the help of various inscription arrays, Lu Ming's speed was unbelievably fast. Soon, Lu Ming had already disappeared from the white-haired old man and the other's vision. Damn it, damn it. The white-haired old man roared like a mad demon. The burly man and the others appeared behind the white-haired old man one by one. Their faces were extremely gloomy. Sect leader, that kid's inscription Dao is too powerful. He is definitely a true inscription master, a 6th level true inscription master. Otherwise he wouldn't be so strong. The burly man said to the white-haired old man. Like I said, the younger you are, the more you have to go all out. The young geniuses are too strong now. We were careless before and let a kid escape. This time these 2 young men are even more terrifying. That old man said. The young man from before is fine. He was injured by you guys and was hit by my 5 poison palm. He is definitely dead. But these 2 they escaped. It is a bit troublesome. The burly man said. Well, although they escaped, we have already gotten the jade swords. Now we are only missing the last jade sword. We have to get it quickly and open the Martial Emperor's treasure before the news is leaked. Get the treasures inside and leave here. This time, it is the opportunity for our blood poison sect to rise. There must be no accidents. The white-haired old man said in a deep voice. Sect leader, although the owner of the last jade sword hasn't said anything, I think he will be here soon. This time we will definitely get it. The burly man said. Then everyone returned to the small island and continued to lay out their plans and wait. Lu Ming took Xian Yanqing and flew for hundreds of thousands of miles before landing on a small island. Lu Ming, are you okay? Xian Yanqing was extremely worried and looked at Lu Ming with concern. I'm fine. That finger force was extremely poisonous. But poison is useless against me. Lu Ming smiled and controlled the 9 dragons' bloodline to devour the poison on his arm. After the poison was removed, the wound on his arm began to heal at a speed visible to the naked eye. Half a day later, Lu Ming's arm was completely healed. Whoosh. Chapter 692. This time it was really dangerous. If it weren't for Lu Ming's rapid progress in the path of inscription and the fact that he could inscribe powerful inscription formations, and Lu Ming was cautious enough to secretly inscribe inscriptions when he stepped onto the island, they would be in danger this time. Even if Lu Ming risked his life to take out the Thunder Cauldron, and even if Xian Yanqing had some life-saving means facing a 4th-layer spiritual ocean tier cultivator, the gap was too big and they would most likely die. No matter how powerful the Thunder Cauldron was, with Lu Ming's current cultivation as a peak king, he definitely couldn't kill a 4th-layer spiritual ocean tier cultivator. He might not even be able to kill a 3rd-layer spiritual ocean tier cultivator. Kenfei Ryu, what a pity. Lu Ming sighed softly. The world of martial arts was like this. No matter how talented you were, you would fall if you were careless. In the long river of history, countless geniuses had fallen, and those who could truly rise and walk to the peak were few and far between. Xiaoqing, let's go. Those people want to monopolize it, hee, how could we let them have it? Let's give them a big gift. Lu Ming sneered. You want to spread the news? Xian Yanqing said. That's right. Since they want to monopolize it, we can only muddy the waters. Only by doing so can we fish in troubled waters. Lu Ming sneered. That's exactly what I want. It's best if stronger cultivators appear and kill them. Xian Yanqing's eyes flashed with a cold light. Let's go to Wine Moon Island first. This island is bigger than Golden Sand Island. Let's spread the news there. I believe it will soon spread throughout the chaotic astral ocean. Lu Ming took out the map and looked at it. Then the 2 of them rose into the air and flew towards Wind Moon Island. Ah, there's someone down there. After flying for a short while, Xian Yanqing suddenly pointed at the sea surface and said. Lu Ming looked over and indeed saw a figure floating on the sea surface. There was a golden light on his body, and the fish around didn't dare to get close. That looks like Kenfei Ryu. Lu Ming's eyes flickered. The figure on the surface of the sea indeed resembled Kenfei Ryu. The 2 landed on the surface of the sea. Lu Ming sent out his quintessence and pulled them up. When he looked, he was slightly shocked. This person was actually Kenfei Ryu. Why is Kenfei Ryu here? Lu Ming originally thought that Kenfei Ryu had been killed by that group of people. He's still breathing. He's not dead, but he's deeply poisoned. Xian Yanqing frowned. Let's go back to that island and save people first. Lu Ming said, and the 2 of them returned to the small island. Kenfei Ryu's body emitted a golden light. It was probably the work of the Golden Sword Pagoda's protector. However, it did not prevent Lu Ming from saving people. He controlled the 9 dragons' bloodline and devoured all the poison in Kenfei Ryu's body. This poison was very powerful. If he had been a few days later, Kenfei Ryu would have died. Once the poison was gone, Kenfei Ryu's quintessence circulated automatically and started to heal. 2 hours later, Kenfei Ryu opened his eyes. "Brother Lu, it's you." Kenfei Ryu was extremely shocked when he saw Lu Ming and the others. "Brother Jian, you're heavily injured. You should heal first." Lu Ming said. "No, wait a moment. Brother Lu, Monsieur, you must not go to the martial monarch's treasury. The blood poison sect set up a trap there to seize all the jade swords. The others are all dead." Kenfei Ryu cried out anxiously. "Brother Jian, it's too late. We've already been there." Lu Ming smiled faintly. "What? You've been there?" Then Kenfei Ryu was stunned. They had been there, but Lu Ming and the others were fine? "I gave my jade swords to them, but we seized the opportunity and escaped." Lu Ming said. "You gave your jade swords to them? Sigh, what a pity. The martial monarch's treasury is going to fall into the hands of those despicable people." Kenfei Ryu sighed, feeling somewhat unwilling. They want to monopolize the martial monarch's treasury? How can it be that easy? They won't be able to gather the last jade sword. Lu Ming smiled faintly. A jade sword appeared in Xian Yanqing's hand. Kenfei Ryu was stunned, then became overjoyed. "Haha, man proposes, God disposes. So Brother Lu and Miss Ye each have 1 jade sword. I wonder what the blood poison sect's people will think when they find out. Alright, Brother Lu, what are you going to do next?" "Of course we're going to muddy the waters. The muddier the better. Brother Jian, are you interested in joining us?" Lu Ming smiled. Of course. Kenfei Ryu said excitedly. Right at this moment, the jade sword in Xian Yanqing's hand emitted a bright light. "Do you want to know their reaction? You'll find out soon." Lu Ming's lips curled into a cold smile. He took the jade sword in Xian Yanqing's hand and inserted his true yuan into it. Immediately, a rough voice sounded. "Hello friend, the 8 of us are here. Only 1 person is left. Friend, where are you?" It was the burly man's voice. Lu Ming and the other 2 did not say anything. "That's right. Friend, you're the only one left. As long as you come over, we can open the martial monarch's treasury and take out the treasures inside. If we delay any longer, I'm afraid unforeseen events will happen." The one who spoke was the timid girl's voice. Cough, cough. Lu Ming coughed dryly a few times. The other side immediately became excited. The burly man said, "Brother, where are you? As long as you come over, we can immediately open the martial monarch's treasury." This friend finally spoke. "May I ask, where are you? Are you in the chaotic astral ocean?" The timid girl's voice sounded again. "Everyone, how have you been?" At this moment, Lu Ming spoke. Then the jade sword immediately quieted down. There was no sound at all. After a long while, the rough voice sounded, "It's you?" "Yes, it's me. You guys are so forgetful." Lu Ming said with a smile. You actually have 2 jade swords? How is that possible?" The rough voice was filled with disbelief. "Brother, what do you want?" The timid girl's voice sounded. "Your blood poison sect is powerful. The few of us can't compete with you. Therefore, I plan to bring all the brothers and sisters in the chaotic astral ocean to share the martial monarch's treasury. What do you think? This idea is good, right?" Lu Ming said with a smile. "You want to spread the news? No, you can't do that. Damn it, you can't do that." The rough voice roared. "Idiot," Lu Ming said. Then the rough voice's heavy breathing could be heard. It was obviously angry. "Little brother, let's talk nicely. I promise you that as long as you come over, we won't touch you. After we enter the martial monarch's treasury, we'll divide the keys equally. What do you think?" At this moment, an old voice sounded. It was the voice of the blood poison sect's leader. "Not interested," Lu Ming said. "Little brother, what do you want?" The blood poison sect's leader asked. "That's easy. I want your heads." Lu Ming sneered. "Little brother, I advise you not to go too far. Otherwise it won't do you any good." Chapter 693. Old man, has your head been bitten by a dog? You're still threatening me. I'm going to go all out. What can you do about it? Alright, let's get to work. I believe that the news of the martial emperor's treasure will soon spread throughout the Star Sea. Lu Ming smiled. "No boy, don't you dare. I'll kill you. I promise," the sect leader of the blood poison sect roared. But at this moment, Lu Ming stopped injecting true qi and his voice disappeared. I really want to see the expressions of the people of the blood poison sect. Kenfei Ryu smiled, feeling very comfortable. Their expressions will definitely be very interesting. Lu Ming said. Yes, the expressions of the people of the blood poison sect would be very interesting. Damn it, that bastard. The next time I see him, I'll skin him and pull out his tendons. The burly man roared again and again. His eyes were wide open as if they were about to spit fire. I didn't expect that guy to have 2 jade swords. Damn it. The delicate woman also gritted her teeth, and her eyes were full of resentment. The others were about the same. Their faces were livid and the veins on their faces were throbbing. The feeling of having nowhere to vent their anger was too uncomfortable. They were so angry that they were about to vomit blood. They were so close to success, but all their efforts were in vain. The next time we meet him, he'll definitely die. The sect leader of the blood poison sect gritted his teeth. Sect leader, what should we do now? Someone asked. 9 keys. Without 1 key we can't open the martial emperor's treasure. We can only wait. The sect leader said helplessly. A day later, Kenfei Ryu recovered from his injuries. They went to the Wind Moon Island together. The Wind Moon Island was twice as big as the Golden Sand Island. It was very prosperous and crowded. It was said that there were even experts at the 4th level of the spiritual sea realm here. After the 3 entered the city, they bought a lot of paper and wrote the news of the martial emperor's treasure and the specific address on the paper. At night they spread the paper everywhere. As expected, the whole Wind Moon Island was shocked the next day. Lu Ming and the other 2 had spread too much paper. It was impossible to hide it even if they wanted to. Soon the news spread all over the Wind Moon Island. Countless people were discussing this topic. In a restaurant, Lu Ming, Xian Yanqing and Kenfei Ryu were eating and drinking while listening to news from nearby. You should have heard the news about the martial emperor's treasure, right? Nearby, the voices of other tables could be heard. Of course I did. Everyone in the Wind Moon Island knows about it now. I wonder if the martial emperor's treasure is real or not. If it is real, why would someone spread the news everywhere? Could it be a prank? I don't know. An emperor's treasure, an emperor. In the entire eastern continent there are only a few emperors. Is there really an emperor's treasure? It's a little mysterious. No matter what, the martial dominator's treasure is too shocking. Even if there's a 1 in 10,000 chance that it's real, I still have to take a look. If it's real, even the slightest benefit from it would be endless. That's right. I'm just afraid that it's real. Hearing the voices from nearby, Lu Ming and the other 2 looked at each other and smiled. With such a way of spreading the news, many people would definitely doubt its authenticity. However, the martial emperor's treasure was too shocking and too tempting. Even if they suspected that it was fake, most people would not be able to resist the temptation and would go take a look. This was the effect they wanted. In the next few days the news spread further and further. Some people had even set off. Lu Ming and the other 2 hid in the Wind Moon Island and cultivated with all their might. If it was really the martial emperor's treasure, there would definitely be a fierce fight after it was opened. Naturally, the stronger they were, the better. In a mountain range, Lu Ming and Xian Yanqing were fighting with all their might. Now Xian Yanqing had successfully merged 2 wills. Now the main thing was to help Lu Ming merge the earth force and the other 3 wills. In the blink of an eye, another 7 days had passed. After 7 days of hard cultivation, Lu Ming finally merged the earth force into the 3 wills. He had successfully merged 3 wills and 1 force. In a guest room of a restaurant, Lu Ming entered the Temple of Paragon and sat cross-legged. There was a pile of esoteric crystals in front of him. There were 22 middle-grade fire attribute esoteric crystals. Lu Ming planned to use the profound crystals to break through to the 2nd level of the state of heaven and earth. If his state could break through to the 2nd level, his battle prowess would definitely increase greatly. He picked up a piece of profound crystal and crushed it. Next to the tree of enlightenment, Lu Ming began to cultivate. Before long, Lu Ming crushed another piece of middle-grade fire attribute profound crystal. Just like that, Lu Ming crushed a total of 12 medium-grade fire profound crystals. Then Lu Ming stopped. Just a little bit more, but just a little bit more. I still can't break through. Lu Ming muttered. Right now, his fire intent was just a little bit away from the 2nd level, not even half a step. However, it was just a little bit and he couldn't break through. It seems that the 2nd level concept of heaven and earth is indeed different from the 1st level concept of heaven and earth. It's not something that can be continuously improved by simply relying on profound crystals. It also needs to rely on comprehension to break through the bottleneck, and then combine it with profound crystals to continuously improve. Lu Ming pondered. It was obvious that the fire intent had reached a bottleneck. Lu Ming didn't continue to break through to the fire intent. Instead, he took out a medium-grade wind profound crystal and started to break through to the wind intent. Just like the fire intent, after refining a dozen medium-grade wind profound crystals, his wind intent also reached the peak of the first level. It was just a little bit away from the second level, but it was still stuck. Lu Ming shook his head and smiled bitterly. It was very difficult to break through to the second level of the state of heaven and earth. No wonder there were so many peak kings but so few Sea of Soul realm experts. Taking the Tianshan region's Tianshan branch palace as an example, all the elders, traveling elders and those in seclusion, there were at least 50 peak king level experts or even more. However, there were only 2 Sea of Soul realm experts, Sheng Tsang and Mu Tian. Golden Sand Island had sent out more than 500 peak kings to fight against the sea beasts. Moreover, many of them died on the Fate battle platform. However, how many Sea of Soul realm experts were there? As long as one's talent wasn't bad and had enough resources, it wasn't hard to reach the peak king level with time. Some people could reach the peak king level after cultivating for a few hundred years. However, many people would be stuck at the peak king level, unable to break through for the rest of their lives. One could imagine how difficult it was to break through to the spiritual sea realm. At this time, Lu Ming stopped cultivating. It was about time for them to leave. After a while, Lu Ming, Xian Yanqing and Kenfei Ryu flew toward the Martial Emperor's Treasure Island. A few days later they arrived at the island. There was a sea of people, truly a sea of people. It was densely packed and at a glance, it was all human figures. There were too many, at least a few 100,000 or even close to 1,000,000. And this was only the people who had rushed over from the chaotic astral ocean. The people from the other ocean regions hadn't arrived yet. The 3 of them squeezed their way through the crowd. Chapter 694. Damn, is there really a Martial Emperor's treasure? Why hasn't it been opened yet? I heard that a total of 9 keys are needed to open it. The Blood Poison sect has 8, and the last one is in the hands of a young man. That young man hasn't come yet. Some people speculate that the news was released by that young man. He should be here soon. Let's wait a little longer. Sounds of discussion came from all around. With great difficulty they squeezed to the front. Countless people surrounded the island in the air. Lu Ming and the others squeezed to the front and saw the people of the Blood Poison sect standing together with ashen faces. There were a dozen people around them and each of them had an extremely powerful aura. They were all experts in the 4th layer of the spiritual ocean tier. Among them, there were even experts stronger than the 4th layer of the spiritual ocean tier. Aha, everyone of the Blood Poison sect, how have you been? Lu Ming squeezed to the front and laughed loudly. The people of the Blood Poison sect looked over. Little bastard, you finally showed yourself. You're courting death. Kill that little bastard. When the people of the Blood Poison sect saw Lu Ming, their eyes burned with flames as they stared at Lu Ming, their killing intent incomparably dense. Lu Ming took a few steps back and squeezed into the crowd saying, "What? You want to fight? There are so many experts here. Let's see how you'll kill them." The people of the Blood Poison sect roared furiously, but there was nothing they could do. There were too many people here and they were all experts. With Lu Ming in the crowd, how could they fight? Once they fought, they would implicate others and incur the wrath of the crowd. They would be the ones to die. They could only glare at Lu Ming, wishing they could skin him alive and pull out his tendons. The Martial Emperor's treasure was originally going to fall into the hands of the Blood Poison sect. They were about to see the hope of the Blood Poison sect's rapid rise, but now? There were so many people, and a dozen of them were in the 4th layer of the spiritual ocean tier. There were even stronger experts. Now that the Martial Emperor's treasure was opened, they could at most drink a mouthful of soup. Whether they could drink this soup or not was still a problem. All of this was caused by Lu Ming. It was all caused by Lu Ming. How could they not hate him? As for the fact that they were the ones who made the first move and wanted to monopolize the Martial Monarch's treasure, they did not even think about it. In their opinion, that was what they should do, and the others should fulfill their wish. The others also looked at Lu Ming. Could it be that the last key was in Lu Ming's hands? Lu Ming smiled as a jade sword appeared in his hand. With a swing of his hand, the jade sword flew towards a green-robed old man. "Senior, I'll give this key to you," Lu Ming said. The green-robed old man's aura was unfathomable, even stronger than the Blood Poison sect's sect master. The green-robed elder stretched out his hand and caught the jade sword. A smile appeared on his face as he said, "Not bad, little guy." Then, he looked at the Blood Poison sect and said, "Take out your keys and open the Martial Emperor's treasury together." Damn it. The Blood Poison sect master roared in his heart. He was extremely unwilling. But so what if he was unwilling? Today he could only obediently take out his keys and open the martial emperor's treasury. If they did not take out their keys they would die. 8 jade swords appeared in the hands of the blood-poison sect. Bus. When the 9 jade swords appeared at the same time, they moved and emitted a slight tremor. Complex runes appeared on the surface of the 9 swords. What mysterious inscriptions! What a brilliant inscription formation! Lu Ming's eyes flickered. Currently, his inscription Dao was quite good, so his vision was naturally different. He could see that the inscription formation on the 9 jade swords was extremely brilliant, and could even be said to be mysterious. Bus. At this moment, the 9 sword-like stone pillars on the island began to vibrate. Inscriptions appeared on them, resonating with the 9 jade swords. Whoosh, whoosh. Following this, the 9 jade swords separated from the hands of the crowd and flew towards the 9 stone pillars. Each jade sword corresponded to a stone pillar. As the light flickered, the 9 jade swords flew into the 9 stone pillars and disappeared. At this moment, the 9 stone pillars shone brightly. 9 light pillars soared into the sky like 9 divine swords. A frightening scene appeared. The sky above the island was originally filled with people. Now, as the 9 sword lights rushed towards them, those people exploded and turned into dust. They didn't even have time to scream. Retreat! Retreat! Terrified screams rang out as countless people frantically retreated. Lu Ming and the others were not directly above the light pillars, so they had avoided the disaster. At this moment they were also frantically retreating. It was too terrifying. At least 10,000 people had died in that attack. There were even Sea of Soul Realm experts among them. However, under the light pillars they couldn't resist at all. Some people's eyes lit up. It seemed like it really was the martial emperor's treasury. Even if it wasn't, it was still no small matter. Boom. The 9 light pillars converged into one in the sky, and its power was even stronger. Rumble. At this moment the island shook violently. Then, everyone saw that the island had split into 2 halves. Moreover, the 2 halves of the island were dozens of miles apart. In the middle of the island, a whirlpool appeared. Endless seawater spun and turned into a huge whirlpool. No one knew where the center of the whirlpool led to. Rumble. The whirlpool spun and rumbled. Its power was shocking. Could it be that the martial emperor's treasury was under this whirlpool? Everyone hesitated. For a moment, no one dared to go down first. After a while, someone finally couldn't bear it anymore. A white-haired old man stepped out and said, "Since I don't have much time left, I might as well take the risk." This old man was a peak king. If he couldn't break through to the spiritual ocean realm, he would die of old age. The martial emperor's treasury was an opportunity for him. After reaching the spiritual ocean realm, one's lifespan would increase by another 1,000 years. He rushed into the whirlpool and followed it down, disappearing in the blink of an eye. No problem, no problem. Many people's eyes lit up. Go. Then another group of people rushed down. Ah. This time, someone screamed as his body was torn apart, dying miserably in the whirlpool. However, some people rushed in. The person who died was a martial ancestor realm cultivator. Martial king realm cultivator, it's fine. Martial king realm cultivators can withstand the power of the whirlpool. That's right. Martial ancestor realm ants want to get a share of the martial emperor's treasury. What a dream. Go. Immediately more people rushed in. They were all martial king realm cultivators and above. Sure enough, they were fine. One by one they disappeared in the center of the whirlpool. Thus more and more people flew down. After a while, the spiritual ocean realm cultivators couldn't bear it anymore and flew toward the whirlpool. The people of the blood poison sect looked coldly at Lu Ming and flew into the whirlpool, disappearing. As for the martial ancestor realm cultivators, they were extremely unwilling, but there was nothing they could do. There were even some martial ancestor realm cultivators who didn't believe it and rushed in, dying miserably. Chapter 695. Brother Jian, do you want to go? Lu Ming looked at Kenfei Ryu. Go, of course, the martial emperor's treasure, regardless of whether it's real or not, we can't miss it. Kenfei Ryu's eyes were filled with determination. Geniuses were called geniuses not only because of their talent and perseverance, but also because they had to grasp the opportunity. If they did not dare to grasp the opportunity in front of them, they would not be called geniuses. All right, let's go together. Lu Ming, Xian Yanqing and Kenfei Ryu charged into the whirlpool together. As soon as they entered the whirlpool, Lu Ming felt a strong tearing force from the surrounding seawater acting on his body. However, this force was only a threat to martial ancestor realm cultivators, it was nothing to them. The 3 of them followed the whirlpool and continued to descend. Very soon they reached the bottom of the sea. However, they did not stop. There seemed to be a huge cave at the bottom of the sea. It was pitch black inside the cave. There was an extremely powerful suction force from inside, pulling Lu Ming and the group down. Lu Ming realized that he was insignificant under this suction force, unable to resist at all. In the next moment, he, Xian Yanqing, and the others disappeared from the cave. It was pitch black all around. There was no sound and no movement. Lu Ming only felt that his body kept on descending. He did not know where he was going to land. Could it be that the martial emperor's treasure is deep underground? Lu Ming thought to himself. After descending for an unknown period of time, Lu Ming suddenly felt the world spinning around him, as if he had taken the interzone teleportation formation. In the next moment he realized that he was in mid-air, and his body was descending rapidly. Lu Ming's expression changed slightly as he hurriedly circulated his true yuan. He realized that the circulation of his true yuan was much more difficult than before, as if there was a strong resistance. Even flying had become much more strenuous than before. Furthermore, the speed of flying had also become much slower. Lu Ming controlled his body and hovered in the air, carefully sizing it up. There was no moon or sun in the sky, but there seemed to be many stars high up in the sky. However, these stars were all crimson in color and emitted crimson light. This was where the light source was located. Below them was an endless land. Where is this? Is it in another large region or deep underground? Lu Ming frowned. Previously he had felt that he was falling. Shao Qing, Kenfei Ryu, they're gone. Lu Ming muttered. With a thought, Dandan appeared on his shoulder. Before entering, Lu Ming had already stuffed Dandan into the Supreme Divine Palace. Dandan, do you know where we are? Lu Ming asked. Dandan looked around and pondered for a moment. Then it shook its head and said, I don't remember this place. It's so strange. It doesn't seem like we're on the ground. Dandan didn't know, so Lu Ming didn't ask any more questions. After looking around for a while, he landed on the ground. After landing on the ground, Lu Ming's eyes flickered. This piece of land was actually a graveyard. As far as the eye could see, there were gigantic tombs everywhere, one after another, forming a vast expanse. There's someone. Lu Ming saw a figure flash in front of him. It was a peak-level king. Lu Ming moved and followed him. Slowly he found that there were more and more people in front of him. In the end, he found that there were about 1,000 people scattered in front of him. Everyone, do any of you know where this place is? Someone asked. I don't know. Didn't they say that it was the martial emperor's treasure? Why would it be here? There are tombs everywhere. Where would the treasure be? Maybe the martial emperor's treasure is somewhere else? We need to find it ourselves. That's true. If it's really the martial emperor's treasure, how could it be so easy to get it? Everyone spoke one after another, expressing their own opinions. Little bastard. Suddenly there was a loud roar. Lu Ming felt a cold, murderous intent shrouding him. When he turned around, he saw a burly man glaring at Lu Ming with murderous intent in his eyes, as if he wanted to eat him alive. It was the burly man from the blood poison sect, Zhong Mo. This person was an expert in the third layer of the spiritual sea realm. Lu Ming's eyes flashed. He didn't expect to meet the burly man as soon as he entered this place. The burly man revealed a ferocious smile. A powerful aura spread out from his body like a vast ocean, enveloping Lu Ming. The people nearby couldn't help but move aside. An expert in the third layer of the spiritual sea realm was extremely terrifying. They were afraid of being affected. Little bastard, this is your fate. You're destined to die in my hands. Let's see how you escape today. Dong. Dong. Before he finished speaking, the burly man rushed towards Lu Ming with large strides, like a wild beast trampling the earth. Lu Ming retreated rapidly. With every step, his foot would step on the ground and a light flashed. Shio. Shio. When the burly man rushed over, lines of inscriptions appeared on the ground, forming a long spear that pierced towards the burly man. The long spear pierced through the air with terrifying power. Even a spiritual sea realm expert would be killed if careless. However, the burly man punched out, shattering the spear light. His figure didn't stop at all as he charged towards Lu Ming. Little bastard, although your Tao of inscription is strong, how can a formation set up in a hurry do anything to me? Today I'll kill you. Bang. Bang. The burly man shouted and punched out with both fists. Two mighty fist lights blasted towards Lu Ming. Heaven and earth shook violently as if the space was about to be pierced through. A terrifying pressure pressed down on Lu Ming's body, and Lu Ming's muscles tightened. Lu Ming stepped on the ground and inscriptions appeared, forming two shields in front of him. His figure retreated rapidly. With two explosions, the two shields were shattered. The fist power didn't stop as it blasted towards Lu Ming. The third layer of the spiritual sea realm at his peak was too strong. Lu Ming couldn't fight against him at all. Even if Lu Ming's Tao of inscription was extremely powerful, he was still only at the 5th level after all. Go! Lu Ming used the 9 dragons' heaven-stomping steps and dodged the fist lights. He planned to continue using the 9 dragons' heaven-stomping steps and leave this place. Shoo! Shoo! Suddenly a sharp sound broke through the air. Endless arrows shot towards them from all directions, covering the sky and the earth. Everyone was shrouded in it. Oh no, there's someone here. Many people's faces changed as they burst out their cultivation to block the arrows from all directions. Bang! Bang! Just as they bombarded the arrows and wanted to knock them away, the arrows suddenly exploded. The power was extremely terrifying. Many low-level king-level cultivators were directly killed by the explosion, and screams were endless. Around Lu Ming, there were also dozens of arrows that exploded, making him retreat a few steps. As for the burly man, it was unknown whether he was too strong or just unlucky, but there were hundreds of arrows that shot towards him. Although they didn't hurt him, they made him look quite embarrassed. Shoot! Chapter 696. What's that? Lu Ming's pupils shrank. He saw a talisman on each arrow. The talisman was less than the size of a palm and was attached to the arrow. As soon as the arrow was shot, the talisman on the arrow would explode, releasing a huge amount of energy. The explosion of the arrow was caused by the talisman. Whoosh! Whoosh! Lu Ming's figure flashed rapidly. He tried his best to avoid this kind of arrow and avoid coming into contact with it. Boom! Boom! Intense explosions rang out non-stop. Following the explosions were miserable screams. Many more people were killed by the explosions. However, most of the people who were killed were below the 4th layer Martial King realm. Those above the 4th layer Martial King realm resisted the power of the explosion with their wills and powerful true chi. Whoosh! Whoosh! However, the arrows kept coming. The sky was filled with the sound of the air being pierced. Oh no! Lu Ming's countenance suddenly changed. He realized that a few arrows were terrifyingly fast. They were a few times faster than the other arrows. In an instant they were right in front of him. His figure flashed, but there was still an arrow that he did not manage to evade. It was shot in front of Lu Ming. Lu Ming's vital essence erupted, forming a vital essence shield. With a bang, the arrow exploded. What a powerful arrow. Its penetrative power is amazing. Lu Ming's expression changed. Although he had shattered the arrow, it was because of his profound cultivation and abundant true chi that he was fine. However, the others were not so lucky. More cries of agony were heard. Many 4th layer Martial King realm and above warriors had their true chi shields penetrated and their bodies pierced by the arrows, dying a violent death. Even the 7th layer Martial King realm and above warriors were able to block the arrows, but it consumed a lot of true chi. Talisman again. Lu Ming found that the arrows with strong penetrative power also had a talisman on them. The talisman was blue in color, which could greatly increase the speed and penetrative power. Whoosh! Whoosh! Another wave of attacks came before the first one. Just now, the burly man's battle prowess was so strong that he was probably the focus of attention. Arrows were constantly being shot at him, so he had no time to chase after Lu Ming. Charge! Charge in one direction. Otherwise we're all going to die. Someone shouted. Charge! Charge in one direction. Everyone joined forces and charged in the same direction. Just a moment ago there were still over 1,000 of them. But now there were only 300 to 400 of them left. More than half of them had been killed. Hundreds of people charged in one direction and broke through the barrage of arrows. Rumble. A rumbling sound came from the ground and a howl came from the front. It was the howl of a wolf. Smoke and dust filled the air. Giant waves appeared one after another, rushing towards them. There was a figure sitting on each of the giant wolves. These figures were dressed differently from them. There were both men and women. The women were draped in animal skins, revealing their slender legs. The men were bare-chested, with animal skins covering their lower bodies. Their skin was bronze and they carried longbows on their backs. Kill. These people trespassed into the forbidden area. Kill them all. A muscular man roared. The giant wolves howled and stomped on the ground, charging toward Lu Ming's group. Lu Ming's group also unleashed their attacks, including sword intents and saber glows, slashing at the giant waves. Clang, clang. Their attacks landed on the giant wolves, producing the sound of metal clashing. The giant wolves were not afraid of the attacks. They charged forward with their claws as sharp as blades. A 7th layer Martial Emperor realm cultivator's protective chi was torn apart by the wolf claws. Following this, his body was also torn apart. It was not only one person who ended up like this but many of them. Puppets, they're puppets. Lu Ming swung his spear and knocked the giant wolf flying. His eyes widened slightly. These giant wolves were not made of flesh and blood. They were puppets made of various metals. Their bodies were as tough as diamond, indestructible. Most importantly, there were too many puppets. There were at least 1,000 of them, and this was only one direction. There were more in the other directions. Lu Ming swung his spear, knocking the giant waves away. Some of the giant wolves even exploded. Kill that brat. A burly man was riding on an exceptionally huge wolf. He charged toward Lu Ming and his huge wolf claws grabbed Lu Ming directly. Lu Ming swung his spear. With a loud bang, the giant wolf was knocked back. However, Lu Ming's body also trembled and he took a few steps back. The giant wolf puppet was equivalent to the Sea of Spirit realm. Kill? After being knocked back, the muscular man controlled the giant wolf puppet and charged toward Lu Ming. Lu Ming swung his spear and knocked the giant wolf back. He stopped fighting and rushed over. The muscular man from the blood poison sect was the most miserable. He was besieged by 3 terrifying giant wolves. One of the 3 giant wolf puppets was equivalent to the 3rd layer of the Sea of Spirit realm, and the other 2 were equivalent to the peak of the 2nd layer. They were indestructible and suppressed the muscular man. Rumble. In the other 4 directions, the ground also rumbled violently. Wolf howls were heard as countless puppet armies charged toward them. Charge! Charge! Many martial artists charged with no regard for their own safety. They used all their trump cards. The situation was too dangerous. If they didn't charge out, they would be surrounded by the puppet armies from the other 3 directions. Only death awaited them. Trespassers will be killed without mercy. Kill. Shouts shook the sky as the attacks were like a tide. Lu Ming held his spear and charged. Along the way he knocked back several Sea of Spirit realm puppets. He kept charging forward. Brat die. A figure at least 2 meters tall slashed at him with a saber. The saber cut through the air and made a terrifying sonic boom. Lu Ming blocked with the infinite dragon spear. A terrifying power surged and Lu Ming's body floated back. A puppet equivalent to the 2nd layer of the Sea of Spirit realm. Moreover, it's in human form. Lu Ming's eyes turned serious. Then he moved and charged to the right. The human-shaped puppet was metallic in color. Its eyes were extremely cold. As it stepped on the ground, a huge pit appeared on the ground. It charged toward Lu Ming. Lu Ming stepped on the ground and lines of inscriptions appeared. At the same time, he waved his hands, and lines of inscriptions disappeared into the ground. Inscription Master. The human-shaped puppet actually spoke human language, which was a bit surprising. Trap. Lu Ming waved his hands, and the inscriptions on the ground spread and turned into a huge net, covering the human-shaped puppet. The human-shaped puppet slashed with its saber, but it couldn't break the net for a while. Lu Ming rushed into the sky and flew into the distance. Let's go through the air. The others followed suit, wanting to escape through the air. But what made them despair was that the giant wolf puppets extended their wings from both sides and could also fly into the sky to chase after them. This was a bloody battle. No one cared about the others and each of them tried their best to charge out. Lu Ming didn't know how many giant wolf puppets he defeated before he rushed out of the graveyard and into a forest. Chapter 697. Lu Ming landed in a forest. The trees here were extremely strange. They were dark red and completely different from the trees Lu Ming had seen before. Without thinking too much, Lu Ming took out a pile of supreme-grade spirit crystals. After swallowing them, he began to recover his Zhen Yuan. Half an hour later, Lu Ming's Zhen Yuan had basically recovered. Suddenly, his expression changed as he looked at the sky. More than 20 people flew over and landed. They were all people from the chaotic astral ocean like him. These people were basically peak kings who had rushed out of the encirclement and arrived here. However, each of them had suffered different degrees of injuries. Naturally, they also saw Lu Ming. Seeing Lu Ming dressed like them, they let out a sigh of relief. A few of them stood guard while the others healed. Lu Ming didn't speak. He sat cross-legged not far away, but his mind was constantly thinking. What was this place? And who were those people who attacked them? Looking at their clothes, they seemed to be very ancient. They were actually wearing beast skins. In the Divine Wilderness continent, Lu Ming heard that only some tribes in extremely remote areas wore beast skins. The key was that these people could actually refine runes and make puppets. This was strange. Runes and puppets were all branches of the path of inscription. Just like inscription talismans, only true inscription masters could refine them. These humans who were dressed like primitive tribes actually had many true inscription masters? After 1 or 2 hours, the 20 people had more or less recovered. Everyone, do you know where those people came from? And what is this place? Lu Ming asked. During the battle just now, I think I heard someone call us people from the outside world. Is this place really underground? A rather elegant middle-aged man pondered and said, Underground? It can't really be underground, right? There's actually a world underground? Someone was very surprised. The others didn't say anything, but they knew in their hearts that there was most likely no mistake. When they came in, they kept going down and didn't know how far they had fallen. If it's really underground, then it's troublesome. How do we get out? Someone asked worriedly. Since we came in through the entrance of the Martial Emperor's treasure, then we'll definitely be able to leave. But first, we need to figure out the situation here. Lu Ming said. That's right, this little brother is right. The middle-aged man nodded. Oh. At this time, Lu Ming's expression changed. He looked up at the sky and then his face changed. He said, Not good, those people are chasing after us. Let's go. Finished speaking, Lu Ming rose into the air and flew off into the distance. The others were slightly taken aback. They turned their heads and saw over 100 giant wolves spreading their wings and flying toward them at an extremely fast speed. Let's go, let's go. Their expressions changed drastically. They all rose into the air and flew forward. Lu Ming's speed was very fast. He shook off those giant wolf puppets and landed 10,000 miles away. This time he landed in a valley. As for the scholarly middle-aged man and the others, they had long since separated from him. However, a few hours later, the giant wolf puppet actually chased after him again. What's going on? How can those people know where I am and accurately find me every time? Lu Ming frowned and pondered. He flew forward rapidly. Soon he shook off those giant wolves and landed in a mountain forest. Lu Ming carefully looked around. Suddenly his eyes flickered. He drew in the air with his hand, and lines of inscriptions appeared and landed on an ancient tree. Lines of inscriptions appeared on the ancient tree, forming a mysterious inscription formation. Sure enough, there are formations everywhere in this mountain forest. These formations should be used for surveillance. They can detect the aura of nearby people and lock onto their position. Lu Ming nodded. He had an answer in his heart. In that case, I'll break these formations. Lu Ming waved his hands. The inscription formation on the ancient tree trembled and collapsed, disappearing. Then Lu Ming wandered around the area. Sure enough, he found many such inscription formations and broke them all. After breaking the formations in this area, Lu Ming rested in this area. Sure enough, after a long time, no one chased after him. Where should I go next? Could it be that the Martial Emperor's treasure is only used to deceive people and has no other purpose? Lu Ming was very puzzled. He felt that this matter was very strange, because the entrance to the chaotic astral ocean was definitely set up by someone outside. There must be a purpose. Perhaps the real Martial Emperor's treasure was hidden in this underground world. I'd better find a way to understand the distribution of the underground world. It's best if I can blend in. Then I'll know what to do next. Lu Ming pondered. While Lu Ming was guessing, there was a huge ancient city more than 10,000 miles away. This ancient city was basically built with stones. The city walls were made of stones and the buildings in the city were also made of stones. In the middle of the ancient city, there was a huge stone hall. At this moment, a group of people was discussing something. Most of them were old men wearing animal skins. At this moment, a burly man was reporting to a few old men. Someone from the outside world? Could it really be someone from the outside world? A chubby old man muttered to himself, frowning and pondering. Could it be that the ancient legend is true? If someone from the outside world comes, there must be a son of destiny who can revive the ancient ancestor and teach the major tribes to inscribe the great Tao again. Legends don't come out of nowhere. All the great tribes have such legends. Moreover, if a tribe can find the child of heaven's will and revive the ancient ancestor, that tribe will receive the ancient ancestor's favor and be taught a supreme art. One by one, the old men expressed their opinions. This is a chance for our Sky Wolf tribe. Pass down the order. We can only capture the people from the outside world alive. If it's not necessary, we can't kill them. Our Sky Wolf tribe must capture more people from the outside world than the other tribes. One of the oldest elders spoke. Yes, elder. The burly man accepted the order and left. The son of destiny must be in the hands of our Sky Wolf tribe. The Sky Wolf tribe elder's turbid eyes emitted a bright light that was more dazzling than the stars. After resting for a while, Lu Ming continued to move. He randomly chose a direction and continued to fly. Boom, boom. After Lu Ming flew for a few thousand miles, two fists suddenly came at him from below. The power was terrifying. Zhongemo. Lu Ming's pupils shrank. He took a few steps and used the 9 dragons' heaven-stomping steps. Heaven and earth roared as he blocked the 2 fists. However, Lu Ming's body was sent flying by the huge force. Lu Ming flew for 1,000 meters before stopping. He spat out a few mouthfuls of blood and his legs were trembling. The burly man from the blood poison sect followed closely behind the fists. With a roar, his killing intent surged. He threw 2 more fists at Lu Ming. He wanted to kill Lu Ming with lightning speed so that Lu Ming wouldn't have time to escape. Exploding star fist. Lu Ming threw out dozens of punches consecutively. Dozens of fist gleams collided in front of him. After this period of cultivation, Lu Ming's exploding star fist had already reached the 6th level. Chapter 698. The 3-colored dragon roared, its roar shaking the sky as it pounced down. However, Zhongemo was in the 3rd layer of the spiritual sea realm and was too strong. The 2 fist rays shattered all of Lu Ming's exploding star fist, and the 3-colored dragon was scattered. However, it was still blocked for a moment. Just this moment was enough. Lu Ming waved his hands and instantly, dense inscriptions appeared on his body. In an instant, Lu Ming carved 7 inscription formations on himself. Among them, there was an inscription formation for true origin explosion, an inscription formation for increasing speed, an inscription formation for increasing physical strength, an inscription formation for increasing defense. With the addition of the inscription formations, Lu Ming's battle power increased again. Kill. Below, Zhongemo didn't give up, and his murderous aura was like a tide. Little bastard, I'll see how you carve inscriptions in the air. Zhongemo sneered, and his fist ray was like a mountain, striking towards Lu Ming. Ordinary inscriptionists couldn't carve inscription formations in the air. Only those who reached the 7th level of inscriptionists, and those who were true inscriptionists, could carve inscription formations in the air and make use of them. This could only be done if one's mental strength was extremely powerful. Lu Ming couldn't do it now. If he carved inscriptions in the air, the inscriptions would soon dissipate. Back on the 7-colored island, the 7-colored spiritual master had carved formations in the air, and his methods were unpredictable. Boom. Lu Ming didn't bother to talk nonsense with him, and his spear smashed down. The huge spear ray was as big as a mountain, and the pressure made the space tremble. This spear was supported by 7 inscription formations by Lu Ming, and it exploded with full power. Even an elite at the peak of the 1st layer of the spiritual sea realm would be smashed to death by this spear. Boom. The spear ray clashed with the fist force and a huge force exploded. Now. Lu Ming pressed the long spear, and with the force of the recoil, Lu Ming's body flew back a few thousand meters in an instant. He felt the blood in his body churning, and a trace of blood leaked out from the corner of his mouth. However, he couldn't care about that anymore. He executed the 9 dragons' heaven-stomping steps and turned into a streak of light, flying into the distance. Damn it, don't run. Zhongemo roared and chased after him. However, the 9 dragons' heaven-stomping steps was extremely fast, and with the support of the formation, his speed was even faster. Soon he shook Zhongemo off. In one breath, Lu Ming flew more than 10,000 miles and landed in a forest. Then he waved his hands and destroyed all the surveillance arrays in the forest. After Lu Ming devoured some of the spiritual crystals, he stood up and a cold light flashed in his eyes. This guy must die. With a flash of killing intent in his eyes, Lu Ming waved his hands and inscribed an inscription array on the ground. One by one the inscriptions sank into the ground. It took Lu Ming half an hour to carve the inscriptions before he stopped. Kid, you're vicious enough. You inscribed 36 killing arrays in one breath and added an illusion array to cover it up. Even if that guy is a warrior at the 3rd level of the spiritual sea realm, once he steps in here he must die. Dandan grinned. Isn't it better this way? Lu Ming smiled. Good, of course it's good. Let's go and lure that guy here. I can't wait. Dandan sneered, his eyes shining. Lu Ming flew up and went back the way he came. He didn't hide his aura at all. There were no surveillance inscriptions in the air, so he wasn't afraid of being discovered by the underground humans. After flying for a few thousand miles, a burly figure flew in front of him. It was Zhongemo, but his clothes were messy and he looked a little embarrassed. Apparently, he met the underground humans on the way. Little bastard. As soon as he saw Lu Ming, Zhongmo's eyes turned red and he chased after Lu Ming with murderous intent. Lu Ming pretended to be shocked and turned to run. Zhongemo chased after him. In the process of running, Lu Ming pretended to spit out blood again. Zhongemo sneered and said, "Little bastard, you're injured and can't run away. Rather than die in the hands of the underground people, It's better to let me kill you. Lu Ming did not utter a word. He lowered his head and ran at full speed. The two of them, one in front and one behind, traversed thousands of miles in no time and arrived at the place where Lu Ming had set up the array previously. Lu Ming flew down and started running in the forest. Haha, you can't sustain your genuine qi. This time you're dead. Zhong Yimou was delighted. He also landed and chased after Lu Ming. But after running for a while, Lu Ming suddenly stopped and turned around with a strange smile on his face. He looked at Zhong Yimou. For some reason, when he saw Lu Ming's smile, Zhong Mo's heart suddenly tightened and he felt a little scared. He couldn't help but stop. Little bastard, why don't you run? You know you can't run away, right? Zhong Yimou took a deep breath and got rid of that inexplicable feeling. He sneered at Lu Ming. Run. Why should I run? I'll stay and send you on your way. Lu Ming smiled. Shameless boasting. Zhong Yimou shouted coldly. His genuine qi exploded and his body revealed a terrifying power. Bang. At this moment, Lu Ming suddenly stepped forward. As Lu Ming stepped forward, bright inscriptions appeared where Zhong Yimou was standing. The dense inscriptions intertwined with each other and were dazzling and beautiful. However, Zhong Yimou wasn't in the mood to appreciate this kind of beauty. His heart sank as he roared and rushed forward crazily. Swoosh. The sound of something breaking through the air was heard as a giant sword was formed. It gave off a terrifying aura as it slashed towards Zhong Yimou immediately after. Gigantic swords appeared from all directions and slashed towards Zhong Yimou. And this was only one formation. Then the inscriptions kept flashing. 36 inscription formations were activated one after another with shocking power. Zhong Mo's heart went cold as he roared, "Little bastard, you actually set up an inscription formation here. You're despicable." Haha, I'm despicable. I'm an inscription master, and inscription masters use inscriptions to fight. Also, you're a martial artist in the third layer of the spiritual sea realm. How dare you say I'm despicable? Lu Ming sneered. He stepped forward and endless inscriptions appeared. All kinds of attacks burst out: flames, storms, ice, sharp swords, battle sabers. All kinds of attacks instantly drowned Zhong Yimou. In the formation, Zhong Yimou roared again and again, but after a while, his roars disappeared and only the sound of inscriptions was left. After a while, it quieted down and the light disappeared. Zhong Mo's figure was no longer in the formation. Zhong Yimou had completely disappeared from this world, leaving behind only a storage ring. Lu Ming reached out and sucked the storage ring into his hand. Then he turned around and soared into the sky, leaving this place. His face was calm. The moment Zhong Yimou stepped into the formation, he knew that Zhong Yimou was dead for sure. The truly terrifying part of an inscription master was that given enough time, he could set up a terrifying formation. With enough time and materials, it was even possible to kill enemies one level higher. Of course, the formation you set up must not be discovered by the enemy. The enemy had to step into the formation for it to work. Chapter 699. Formations that could be cast in an instant were what determined an inscription master's battle prowess. Now, Lu Ming's instant formation could kill a martial artist in the first layer of the spiritual sea realm. So, it was normal that the chain formation Lu Ming spent half an hour to set up could kill Zhong Yimou in the third layer of the spiritual sea realm. If he was given more time, he might even be able to lay out an even more powerful formation and slaughter even more powerful Sea of Soul realm experts. Of course, that was only if the opponent stepped into the formation. Lu Ming flew forward. During this time he met several underground humans riding giant wolf puppets. Lu Ming used the 9 dragon sky stomping steps to get rid of them. Every team has a puppet equivalent to the 4th layer of the spiritual sea realm. Lu Ming was deep in his thoughts. The 4th layer of the spiritual sea realm was much stronger than him. If he met them he could only run. No, going down blindly like this is not a solution. I have to catch an underground human and find out what is going on in this underground world. Lu Ming pondered. Of course he couldn't fight recklessly. He still had to rely on inscriptions. Lu Ming chose a place and started to inscribe inscriptions. This time, Lu Ming spent 3 hours to set up 81 level 5 inscription formations. There were also 3 illusion formations that covered up the traces of the inscription formation. Then he rose into the air and randomly chose a direction to fly in. Soon he saw a team of underground humans riding giant wolf puppets. Outsiders, stop right there. With a loud roar, the team charged directly at Lu Ming. Lu Ming turned and ran. Soon he arrived at the place where he set up the formation. He landed on the ground and ran forward. The underground humans also landed and chased him on giant wolves. After chasing for a while, Lu Ming suddenly stopped. Die. Lu Ming's eyes flashed coldly. With a step, the formation was activated. Endless inscriptions intertwined and enveloped more than 100 underground humans. Damn it, this person knows inscriptions. We fell into his trap. Break out, break out. A large man riding on a giant wolf puppet at the fourth layer of the spiritual ocean realm roared repeatedly and charged to the side, but what welcomed him was endless attacks. Damn it. The burly man waved his hand, and a scroll appeared in his hand. He unfurled it and a screen of light enveloped him. Inscription symbol scroll. Lu Ming's eyes flickered. In addition to the Great Khan, there were also some other people who took out inscription scrolls. Some were defensive, some were offensive, and there were all kinds of them. They controlled the puppets and attacked continuously. However, Lu Ming had spent 3 hours to inscribe a total of 81 formations. How could it be so easy to break through? For a moment, the rumbling continued. The underground humans could not rush out at all. These subterranean humans also practice martial arts. However, their martial arts cultivation is much lower than their inscription cultivation. It seems that their martial arts cultivation is just to support their inscription cultivation. Lu Ming observed while controlling the attacks. Among them, there were a few underground humans with high cultivation. Their hands were constantly drawing. They were actually inscribing the inscription formation to fight against Lu Ming's formation. True inscription master. Among these 100 people, Lu Ming saw at least 5 true inscription masters. There were even 2 true inscription masters of 6 apex inscription. Amazing. The subterranean humans are actually so advanced in inscription cultivation. The ratio of true inscription masters is really high. Those puppets are too hard. Let's kill the subterranean humans first. Lu Ming waved his hands and controlled the inscription formation to attack the subterranean humans on the puppets. Screams sounded continuously, and the subterranean humans were constantly killed. Friend from the outer world, we have no evil intentions. We just want to invite you to the Sky Wolf tribe for a chat. Why do you have to be so ruthless? The strongest man yelled. Lu Ming sneered. No evil intentions? There were more than 1,000 of them before. In the end, less than 200 escaped. The rest were all dead. So no evil intentions? How could Lu Ming believe it? He controlled the formation wholeheartedly. The gorgeous inscriptions shone and turned into a terrifying killing weapon. The subterranean humans were killed one by one. Of course, he controlled more attacks to kill the strongest subterranean human. The power of the 81 formations was horrifying. Soon, only 2 of the 100 subterranean humans were left. The rest were all dead, including the strongest man. Even some of the lower-level puppets were shattered. Only 5 Sea of Soul Realm puppets were left behind. Lu Ming controlled the array and calmed it down. His gaze was cold as he looked at the 2 survivors. The 2 were pale and their eyes were filled with endless fear. Of course, these 2 were left by Lu Ming on purpose. What should I ask next? What should you answer? Otherwise die. Lu Ming looked at the 2. Don't even think about it. One of them shouted. Lu Ming's eyes were cold. He waved his hand and a spear light burst out, nailing the man to the ground. Then he looked at the last one and said, What about you? I'll tell you. I'll tell you everything. Please let me go. The man shouted. This man was a middle-aged man. He was tall and thin and he looked quite smart. As long as I'm satisfied with your explanation, I'll let you go, Lu Ming said. He walked to the puppets that were not destroyed. He waved his hand and collected the 5 giant wolf puppets. Then he took the tall and thin man and left. While flying, Lu Ming asked the expert some questions. The lanky man naturally told Lu Ming everything he knew and answered him wholeheartedly. He was afraid that Lu Ming would kill him if he was unsatisfied. One day later, Lu Ming sat cross-legged on a green rock on a mountain peak. As for the tall and thin man, Lu Ming let him go. It didn't matter if he let him go. After all, he didn't know where he was. So, this is really the underground world. And it's divided into so many tribes. Lu Ming murmured, recalling the tall and thin man's words. The underground world was divided into many human tribes. The tribe that Lu Ming encountered before was called the Sky Wolf tribe. It was just one of many tribes. The humans here only knew some superficial martial arts cultivation methods thousands of years ago. But thousands of years ago, the ancient ancestors of the underground humans descended and passed down the path of inscription. The combat strength of the underground humans increased greatly. But after the ancient ancestors passed down some inscription methods, they fell into a deep sleep on the sacred mountain. This deep sleep lasted for thousands of years. After the ancient ancestors fell into a deep sleep, the various tribes went to war. The underground world fell into chaos. Just like that, thousands of years passed. But in the underground world there was a legend among the tribes. That was, one day people from the outer world would descend. And among the people from the outer world, there would be a destined person who could awaken the ancient ancestors. The tribe that could obtain the destined person would receive a great reward after awakening the ancient ancestors. So, they went everywhere to capture Lu Ming and the others. So that was the case. Lu Ming's mind became clear. Ancient ancestors? Sacred mountain? Destined person? What's going on with these? Lu Ming frowned and pondered. Chapter 700. Lu Ming took out the map and looked at it. The underground world had a vast territory and was divided into hundreds of tribes. The Sky Wolf tribe was located in the south. The sacred mountain was located in the center of this land. We came here for the Martial Emperor's treasure. The entrance to the chaotic astral ocean must have been set up by someone. The ancient ancestor of this world suddenly descended thousands of years ago. Could it be that the ancient ancestor was the one who set up the entrance? Or could it be that the ancient ancestor was the Martial Emperor? Thinking of this, Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. But if it was really the Martial Emperor, why would he hide in this place? And sleep for thousands of years without waking up? Lu Ming realized that the Martial Emperor's treasure was not that simple. According to the tall and thin man, every tribe was now capturing people from outside the earth, hoping to find the destined person. Then, in a month, the underground humans would have a ceremony to worship their ancestors. Every tribe would bring the people from outside the earth to the sacred mountain. Only the destined person could pass the tests and finally awaken the ancient ancestor. It seems that if I want to know the secret, I can only go to the sacred mountain. But Lu Ming looked at the map and frowned. There were dozens of tribes between the sacred mountain and the Sky Wolf tribe. If he rushed there and avoided the pursuit of every tribe, he didn't know when he could reach the sacred mountain. Also, where was Xian Yanqing now? How was he? Lu Ming was very worried. Let's go to the sacred mountain first. Lu Ming put away the map and waved his hand. A giant wolf puppet appeared on the mountain peak. This was the giant wave puppet that was equivalent to the fourth layer of the spiritual ocean realm. Dandan, how do I use this puppet? Lu Ming asked. Although puppets were also a branch of the inscription path, Lu Ming hadn't come into contact with them yet. It's simple. Puppets are actually very similar to spirit weapons. They can be called a different kind of spirit weapon. But there are still differences. To control puppets, it's very simple. You just erase the imprint of its previous owner in the puppet, then inject your spirit fire into it to control the inscriptions in the puppet. Dandan answered. Oh. Lu Ming placed his palm on the giant wolf puppet's head. A wisp of green spiritual flame seeped into the giant wolf puppet's head. Lu Ming discovered that inside the puppet, there were dense inscriptions. These inscriptions intertwined with each other and were incomparably mysterious. Lu Ming sighed. The path of puppetry was also incomparably wondrous. He had even heard that there were powerful puppeteers who could refine puppets with their own consciousness. They were like humans, capable of learning and thinking. That was amazing. Lu Ming used his spiritual fire to erase the imprint of the puppet's previous owner. Then he used his own spiritual fire to spread into an inscription array in the puppet's mind. Immediately, a wonderful feeling welled up in his heart. He felt that he could control the puppet at will. With a thought, the puppet roared deeply as a pair of wings spread out from its sides. It soared into the air and circled around the area before returning back to the mountain peak. The rate at which the spiritual fire is being consumed is truly astonishing. Lu Ming's eyes flickered. Controlling a puppet consumed a lot of spiritual power. Without enough spiritual power, it would be difficult to control it. The higher the puppet's level, the more terrifying the spiritual power it consumed. However, Lu Ming had lit 10 spiritual lamps at each level, and all of them had reached perfection. The thickness of his spiritual power was extremely shocking. It was even stronger and more profound than many 6th-level true inscription alchemists. It should be enough to control this puppet at the 4th level of the spiritual sea realm. Lu Ming flew up and sat cross-legged on the giant wolf puppet's back. The giant wolf puppet rose up and flew into the distance in the direction of the sacred mountain. Riding a puppet only required spiritual power, and its speed was greatly increased. He flew all the way and soon he had flown for tens of thousands of miles. From the map, he had already left the territory of the Sky Wolf tribe and entered another tribe, the Red Leopard tribe. Brr, brr. Just as Lu Ming flew over a mountain range, roars came from all around the mountain range. Hundreds of figures flew into the sky and surrounded Lu Ming in the middle. These people were dressed very similar to the Sky Wolf tribe, wearing beast skins, but the puppets they rode were different. The puppets they rode were crimson cheetahs. They also had wings and could soar in the air. People of the Sky Wolf tribe? No, it's people from the outside world. At the front was a young man in his late 20s. He was burly and muscular, and his body emitted an explosive aura. He looked coldly at Lu Ming. Lu Ming frowned. He didn't notice that there was someone below. The other party should have used a formation to cover his aura. This person is actually riding a divine puppet of the Sky Wolf tribe. It seems that he must know the path of inscription. We have to be careful. Beside the young man was a red-haired old man. He's alone. What's there to be afraid of? The young man snorted. Chi Feng, the elders said that we should not attack these people from the outside world if we can. We still need their help. The old man said, Humph, I really don't understand why the elders are so polite to these people from the outside world. Just take them down and force them to go to the sacred mountain. Why bother? The young man said coldly, looking very domineering. The old man smiled bitterly and didn't say much. Instead, he looked at Lu Ming and said, Little brother, you're from the outside world, right? We don't mean any harm. We just want to ask you to return to the Red Leopard tribe with us. We need your help. Lu Ming frowned. He had heard the conversation just now, but how could he trust them? Get out of the way. I don't want to kill for no reason. Lu Ming said coldly. Kill? How arrogant. You're alone. Let's see how you're going to kill them? The young man's face darkened. Charge. Lu Ming didn't bother to talk nonsense. He controlled the giant wolf puppet and charged toward them. Brr. The giant wolf puppet roared. Its claws were like blades and tore forward. The terrifying power directly tore the cheetah puppets apart. It's a 4th-level divine puppet. Elder Chi Hong, you go and hold it back. The rest of you besiege it. If it continues to resist, just kill it. The young man said coldly. The old man was quite helpless. He could only control the puppet to charge forward and fight with Lu Ming. The old man's cheetah puppet was also equivalent to the 4th layer of the spiritual ocean tier. It was extremely powerful and fought with Lu Ming's giant wolf puppet. Sparks flew everywhere. The others used all kinds of arrows and inscription talismans to attack Lu Ming. Little brother, you're only a heaven-grade inscription master. Controlling a 4th-level divine puppet, you won't last long. I advise you to surrender. I promise that I won't hurt you. The old man said. But Lu Ming didn't say a word. He continuously punched out with both fists. The fist light of the exploding star fist made the air rumble as it blasted forward. Some of the weaker puppets were killed by Lu Ming together with the people. Chapter 701. For a moment Lu Ming could not rush in. Inscription masters who have not reached level 7 can't inscribe arrays in the void. It's too disadvantageous. However, with the strength of my spirit fire, I should be able to inscribe arrays in the void without reaching level 7. Lu Ming thought as he fought. Go to the ground. With a thought, Lu Ming controlled the giant wolf puppet and rushed to the ground. The others tried to stop him. Dong, dong. Some of the puppets in front of Lu Ming were knocked away by the giant wolf puppet. Extreme Dao Strike. While still in midair, Lu Ming executed the Extreme Dao Strike. He turned into a ray of light and broke through everything. The few Martial King puppets in front of him directly exploded. Lu Ming stepped on the ground. Inscriptions appeared one after another on the ground. Clang, clang. The sound of swords rang out as 2 battle swords appeared. With a slash, several puppets were split in half. How can this be? He can control level 4 divine realm puppets and inscribe arrays? How can his spirit force be so powerful? The old man was shocked. Dong, dong. The giant wolf puppet knocked away a group of cheetah puppets and appeared beside Lu Ming. Lu Ming's footsteps became faster and faster. On the ground, inscriptions constantly flashed and various attacks were launched in all directions. Use inscription talisman scrolls to blast him. The young man roared as he gave orders from the side. Many people took out inscription talisman scrolls and opened them. All kinds of violent attacks poured down on Lu Ming. Lu Ming continued to step and layers of light screens were formed. However, with a shake, these light screens were shattered. After all, it was an inscription array that he had cast in an instant. Its power was limited and it could not block the attacks of some powerful inscription talisman scrolls. Now, suddenly there was a glint in Lu Ming's eyes. He stomped heavily and a bright spear gleam shot toward the young man. Some of the puppets in front of the young man, as well as the people on the puppets, were either smashed or sent flying. At this moment, Lu Ming rode the giant wolf puppet and rushed towards the young man. His target was the young man. The young man seemed to have a high status. As long as he could take him down, he would have a bargaining chip to rush out. Not good. The old man's expression changed. You wanted to help, but it was too late. The young man's expression also changed. He quickly retreated and controlled the puppet under him to rush towards Lu Ming. At the same time, an inscription talisman scroll appeared in his hand. The young man's puppet had the strength of the first layer of the spiritual ocean tier, but with a slap from the giant wolf puppet, it was sent flying, almost exploding. 9 heavens! Lu Ming took a step forward and appeared beside the young man in an instant. Before the young man could open the inscription talisman, Lu Ming clawed at the young man's throat. Around them, the movements of the others stopped abruptly and stopped in the air. Kid, let me go. Otherwise, I'll make you die without a burial place. The young man roared, threatening Lu Ming. He was too aggrieved. At this moment he was in the air with Lu Ming holding his vital point. He had the path of inscription but couldn't use it. Your life is in my hands and you still dare to threaten me. I only need to use a little strength and you're dead. A cold light flashed in Lu Ming's eyes, and his body emitted a cold killing intent. The young man only felt his body go cold as if he would face death in the next moment. His heart trembled and he didn't dare to say anything more. The giant wolf puppet flew over. Lu Ming carried the young man and stepped onto the giant wolf puppet's back. If you let me go, I'll naturally let him go. Lu Ming looked around. Okay, we'll let you go. The old man spoke without any hesitation. Thereafter, the crowd parted to create a path. Lu Ming controlled the puppet and flew out directly. Let Chi Feng go now. The old man said. Chi Feng was this young man. What's the hurry? I'll naturally let him go after I've flown a certain distance. Lu Ming controlled the giant wolf puppet to fly forward. After flying 100 miles, Lu Ming threw Chi Feng out and continued flying. Damn it! Chi Feng looked at Lu Ming's figure and growled, his eyes revealing a resentful light. Lu Ming flew all the way and soon flew a distance of 10,000 miles. Along the way he didn't encounter any underground humans. 10,000 miles ahead, 2 red cheetah puppets were flying in the air. The 2 cheetah puppets were equivalent to the spiritual sea realm, and they were equivalent to the 4th layer of the spiritual sea realm. On one of the cheetah puppets was a young woman in her 20s. Her figure was curvaceous, and some of her important parts were wrapped in beast skin. Other parts of her body were exposed. Her skin was bronze. Although she wasn't extremely beautiful, she was full of wildness and had a different kind of beauty. On the other cheetah puppet was an old man. Miss, it's too dangerous for you to come out alone. Let's go back. The old man said. Elder Redbeard, it's fine. Don't worry. News came from Chi Feng just now. There's actually a young man from outside the earth. His path of inscription is incomparably exquisite. It's really interesting. Perhaps he's the legendary destined person. I must find him. The young woman's eyes flickered as if she was very curious. Miss, the news said that the person's battle power is extremely strong and he's also controlling a 4th level divine puppet. If we encounter him, I'm afraid it'll be dangerous. Let's go back to the group. Elder Redbeard continued to persuade. Don't worry, I'm not going to attack him. I just want to invite him back to our tribe. If I follow the group, I'll scare him away. How can I talk to him? How can I persuade him to go back to the tribe with me? The young woman didn't listen at all, her eyes looking around randomly. The old man sighed, knowing that he couldn't persuade this stubborn young lady. He could only follow closely beside her. Lu Ming sat cross-legged on the puppet and flew forward. Soon he flew another 10,000 miles. At this time he found that 2 cheetah puppets appeared in front of him. On the puppets there was a young woman and an old man. They obviously saw him too. Found him, found him. The young woman cheered and controlled the puppet to fly toward Lu Ming at an extremely fast speed. Miss, be careful. The old man followed closely. Lu Ming frowned. He felt that the 2 puppets were not simple. He directly controlled the giant wolf puppet and flew in another direction. Hey brother, don't go. We don't have any bad intentions. Don't go. The young woman shouted and controlled the puppet to chase after Lu Ming. Lu Ming didn't say a word and continued to fly forward. Brother, we really don't have any bad intentions. Stop and talk to me. I just want to invite you back to the tribe and do us a favor. We'll definitely treat you as a distinguished guest. The young woman shouted and chased after him. In the blink of an eye, they flew tens of thousands of miles. During this time, Lu Ming changed direction several times, but the young woman and the old man still followed closely behind. They were all puppets at the 4th level of the spiritual ocean realm, and their speed was about the same. The young woman was like a dog skin plaster that couldn't be shaken off. Chapter 702. The young lady and the old man were startled, stopping in their tracks. How long are you planning to follow me? Lu Ming snapped coldly. Brother, what are you afraid of? We don't have any bad intentions. I hope you don't misunderstand. You must be an outsider. Our tribe is only asking for your help. The young lady said. Not interested. Lu Ming turned around and was about to leave. Brother, now all the tribes are looking for you. If you leave our red leopard tribe, you will have to go to other tribes. Some tribes are very evil. If you come to our red leopard tribe and do us a favor, we will do our best to help you if you have any requests in the future. The young lady said. Lu Ming frowned and let out a smile. What's your name? What's your identity in the red leopard tribe? I'm Qiyu. The young lady was interrupted by the old man as she was about to reveal her identity. Mistress, don't simply reveal your identity. The old man said in a deep voice. Don't worry, Elder Qiyu, it's fine. Qiyu let out a smile and continued, I'm the daughter of the Red Leopard tribe's patriarch. If you follow me to the tribe, the Red Leopard tribe will surely treat you as a VIP. The daughter of the Red Leopard tribe's patriarch? Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. His eyes flickered as he glanced at Qiyu and said, How can I trust you? How about this, you will follow me to the mountain range ahead. I have something to discuss with you. Lu Ming pointed at the mountain range ahead and said, No way, brother, your request is too much. How can we trust you? Elder Qiyu yelled. If that's the case, there's no room for discussion. Don't follow me then. Lu Ming waved his hand and was about to leave. Wait, I'll go with you. Qiyu said. Mistress, no, it's too dangerous for you to go alone. Elder Qiyu objected. Don't worry, Elder Qiyu. I have no grudge against him. It won't do him any good if he kills me. Qiyu let out a smile and controlled the puppet to fly toward Lu Ming. Lu Ming's eyes flickered. He did not expect that Qiyu would actually dare to step forward with him. Lu Ming controlled the giant wolf puppet and flew with Qiyu towards the mountain range. Elder Redbeard could only stand there anxiously. 100 miles away, the two landed in a mountain range. Lu Ming's figure flashed, and some of the nearby monitoring inscriptions were all destroyed by him. Previously, I heard that your inscription skills were profound. Now it seems that it's true. Qiyu looked at Lu Ming with bright eyes. Lu Ming turned around and looked at Qiyu with a smile on his face. In the next moment he turned into a bolt of lightning and charged towards Qiyu. At the same time, the giant wolf puppet let out a low growl and charged towards Qiyu. Qiyu was shocked. She did not expect that Lu Ming would suddenly make a move. She could only control the cheetah puppet to block while her figure retreated rapidly. She waved her hands and inscribed inscriptions. The two puppets collided and fought with each other. Lu Ming stopped and stepped forward. Inscriptions appeared and formed a battle sword that slashed towards Qiyu. Qiyu's inscription was a giant red cheetah that flew out and pounced forward. Qiyu's Tao of inscription was also extremely profound. She had reached the 6th level and was a true inscription master. She probably had several 6th-level spirit lamps lit, and her strength was also very powerful. Both of them finished inscribing the array in an instant. However, in addition to the Tao of inscription, Lu Ming also had a powerful martial cultivation. Lu Ming pointed his finger and a ray of dazzling spear gleam pierced forward, aiming for Qiyu's throat. Qiyu was shocked and retreated again. However, as he retreated, the inscribing of the inscription was naturally interrupted. Lu Ming took a step forward and his figure suddenly appeared in front of Qiyu. He reached out and grabbed Qiyu's throat. At the same time, his other hand grabbed Qiyu's slender waist. Genuine qi poured in and sealed Qiyu's genuine qi. Qiyu also cultivated martial arts, but her martial arts were only auxiliary. She had only reached the 1st level of the Martial King realm. She was too far away from Lu Ming. Qiyu's movements came to an abrupt halt. The cheetah puppet also stopped. Lu Ming also stopped the giant wolf puppet. Their actions looked rather ambiguous. Brother, don't misunderstand. I really don't mean any harm. Qiyu shouted. She felt Lu Ming's hot aura behind her and her face turned slightly red. I know you don't mean any harm. Otherwise you would be dead by now. Lu Ming whispered into Qiyu's ear. His hot breath on Qiyu's neck caused her to feel strange. Indeed, Lu Ming did not sense any murderous intent from Qiyu's body when he tried to kill her. If Qiyu did have any murderous intent toward him, she would have shown it under such circumstances. What you said, is it true? If I go to your tribe with you, you won't restrict my freedom, right? Lu Ming asked. No, definitely not. Our elders have already sent a message to invite you back without any conflict. We won't use force to bring you back. After all, we need your help this time. Qiyu said. Is it because of the Chosen One? Lu Ming asked. So you already know about it? That's right, it's because of that. Qiyu nodded. So you will be going to the sacred mountain in a month's time? Yes, all the tribes will send people to worship their ancestors. This time, maybe someone among you will be able to awaken the ancient ancestor. Chiyu said. Okay, I'll go to the Red Leopard tribe with you. Lu Ming loosened his hand and took a few steps back. Lu Ming asked Chiyu to come over to test her. If what she said was true, there was no harm in going to the Red Leopard tribe with her. After all, it was too difficult for him to go to the sacred mountain alone and pass through so many tribes. It would be much easier if he went with the Red Leopard tribe. Really? That's great. Red Moon smiled happily. Then he looked at Lu Ming curiously and said, Your inscription skills are amazing. Although you're only at the peak of the heaven tier, you can easily control a god tier puppet. At the same time, you can also inscribe an inscription array. I have never seen an inscription master as amazing as you. Heaven stage? God stage? Lu Ming was stunned. He had heard others talk about it before. Was the division of realms in the underground world different from theirs? After Chiyu explained, Lu Ming understood. It turned out that the division of inscription in this world was indeed different from the outside world. It was divided into primary inscription master, yellow inscription master, profound stage, earth stage, heaven stage, and God stage. God stage was the highest. God stage corresponded to level 6 inscription master, but the God stage was the highest here. Could it be that the highest inscription master in the underground world could only reach level 6? Lu Ming was very curious. God stage is the highest level. For thousands of years, no one could break through the God stage and reach a higher level. It is said that the ancient ancestor must have surpassed the God stage by a lot. Chiyu said with a yearning face. The two of them flew to the puppet respectively and returned to the original path while chatting. When Elder Chiyu saw Chiyu and Lu Ming returning safely, he was naturally very excited. Elder Chiyu, this is Lu Ming. He is a very great inscription master. Chapter 703. Lu Ming and Elder Redbeard nodded to each other. Elder Redbeard, you go back to the tribe to report the news. Brother Lu and I will come later. Red Moon said to Elder Redbeard. But Miss... Elder Redbeard was about to object, but when he saw Red Moon's big eyes, he knew that he could not persuade the stubborn miss, so he had to go back to the tribe. Lu Ming, I saw that you know a lot of inscriptions and inscription formations during the short fight with you just now, right? Red Moon suddenly asked, with a glimmer of hope in her eyes. Not bad, not bad. Lu Ming nodded. Boy, what do you mean by not bad? I've taught you all the inscriptions and inscription formations I've taught you. Who else in the world knows more inscriptions than me? Dandan immediately yelled in displeasure. A little turtle like you can actually talk? Red Moon was startled at first, then she opened her eyes wide and looked at Dandan curiously. Of course I can talk. You can talk, so why can't I? You're so ignorant. Dandan curled its lips and looked at Red Moon disdainfully. Chiyu's mouth formed an O shape as he stared blankly at Dandan, his eyes shining. Lu Ming smiled bitterly. During this period of time, Lu Ming discovered that there were also demonic beasts in this underground world. However, the demonic beasts had extremely low intelligence. The Martial King demonic beasts were slightly better than ordinary wild beasts. They could not speak at all. No wonder Red Moon was so surprised. Red Moon opened her eyes wide and looked at Dandan curiously. Beauty, are you impressed by my spirit? Let me tell you, I'm the head of the top 10 fighting beasts. I'm invincible in the world and I'm the king of the universe. No one can defeat me. Dandan stood on Lu Ming's shoulder and put its two front paws on the turtle shell, looking like a peerless expert. But the next moment, Dandan collapsed. Red Moon reached out and grabbed Dandan's head and looked at it carefully. This is infuriating. Dandan leaped out of Red Moon's hand and landed on Lu Ming's shoulder. It stared at Red Moon with wide eyes as if it wanted to eat Red Moon alive. Chiyu laughed heartily and was very forthright. Then he looked at Lu Ming and said, Lu Ming, if you know a lot of inscriptions and formations, you may be able to help our tribe a lot. At that time, the elders of our tribe will definitely treat you like an ancestor. They will definitely agree to whatever conditions you have. Oh, what is it? Lu Ming asked. For this matter, we have to start from the current situation of our Red Leopard tribe. Chiyu and Lu Ming started talking about it. In the underground world, there was an endless war between the tribes. 60 years ago, the Red Leopard tribe was still an extremely powerful and prosperous tribe. The tribe produced many experts, possessed great strength, and occupied a large area of fertile land. At that time, the chief of the Red Leopard tribe was a well-known expert who had reached the peak of the divine level, which was the peak of level 6. But later, the chiefs of the Sky Wolf tribe, the Yin Snake tribe, and the Blood Tiger tribe jointly attacked the chief of the Red Leopard tribe. In the end, they seriously injured the chief of the Red Leopard tribe and sealed him in a canyon. The chief of the Red Leopard tribe died in that canyon. Not only that, the chief of the Red Leopard tribe also carried the most exquisite inscription technique of the Red Leopard tribe, which was the foundation of the Red Leopard tribe. After losing the inscription technique, the following forces of the Red Leopard tribe became weaker and weaker. In the past 60 years, the territory occupied by the Red Leopard tribe was less than 20% of what it used to be. If it were not for the support of some elders, it would have been exterminated by the three tribes. As for the seal of the canyon, it was set up by the chiefs of the three tribes. It was incomparably complicated, and the inscription array was the unique array of the three tribes. Unless the chiefs of the three tribes worked together to break it, the Red Leopard tribe would not be able to break it. Therefore, when Red Moon saw that Lu Ming knew so many inscriptions and arrays, he wanted to let Lu Ming have a try. If Lu Ming could break the seal and take out the inscription technique of the Red Leopard tribe, then wouldn't the elders of the Red Leopard tribe worship Lu Ming as their ancestor? Alright, let's go and have a look. Lu Ming nodded. If he wanted to be valued by the other party, it would be best if he could give the other party a little favor. Alright. Red Moon was overjoyed. He brought Lu Ming to the place where the previous chief of the Red Leopard tribe was sealed. According to Red Moon, that place was very close to the city of the Red Leopard tribe, only 100 miles away. That was a huge mountain range. There were huge peaks that pierced the sky, precipitous and majestic. Among them, there were two huge peaks that formed a canyon about 10 meters wide in the middle. This canyon was the place where the previous chief of the Red Leopard tribe was sealed. There were experts of the Red Leopard tribe guarding this place. As soon as Lu Ming and Red Moon arrived at the entrance of the canyon, they saw dozens of figures guarding the entrance. Red Moon, It's you? How dare you? Men, kill this person for me. They had just walked to the entrance of the canyon when they heard a loud shout. What are you doing? Stop. Red Moon shouted. The others who were about to make a move couldn't help but stop. A trace of a cold smile appeared at the corner of Lu Ming's mouth. The one who called for them to make a move just now was a young man. It was actually Chi Feng, who was held hostage by him before. Chi Feng's eyes revealed killing intent as he stared at Lu Ming, then looked at Red Moon and said, Red Moon, why are you protecting him? This person has killed many of my Red Leopard tribe's people. He deserves to die. He should be killed on the spot. Chi Feng, the elders have long said that we have to be polite to outsiders. We have to invite them and not attack them. You were the one who attacked first. Lu Ming naturally had to resist. This can't be blamed on him. Now that he is a guest of the Red Leopard tribe, you want to kill him. Are you trying to drive away all the outsiders? Cutting off the only chance for the Red Leopard tribe to rise? Red Moon was very domineering. She stared at Chi Feng and questioned loudly. Red Moon. I didn't mean that. Chi Feng's voice lowered. Alright, Feng. Since the other party has come to the Red Leopard tribe, he is a guest of the Red Leopard tribe. You don't have to say any more. At the side, a burly man with a long beard and about 50 years old walked over and said, Sixth uncle. Red Moon called out. At the same time, she transmitted a message to Lu Ming. This person was Chi Feng's father, her sixth uncle, and also the person in charge of guarding this canyon, Qijin Mountain. Why did you bring this little brother here? This is the forbidden area of the tribe. Qijin Mountain said. Sixth uncle Lu Ming comes from the outside world. He is an extremely talented inscription master. He has mastered many inscriptions and formations, which are not available in our Red Leopard tribe. He might be able to break the seal here and take out the secret inscription book inside. So, I brought him here to have a try. Red Moon said. Hearing this, Qijin Mountain's face darkened. He said, This is the forbidden area of our Red Leopard tribe. How can we let an outsider break it? This is simply nonsense. Alright, you guys leave quickly. Qijin Mountain waved his hand. Sixth uncle, taking out the secret inscription book of the Red Leopard tribe is related to the rise and fall of the Red Leopard tribe. It is very important. What's the harm in letting Lu Ming have a try? Maybe he can really break it? Chapter 704. Qijin Shan's face turned gloomy. What a joke, the seal here, my Red Leopard tribe has been here for 60 years, many god-level inscription masters have tried, but none of them could break it. He's just a brat, a heaven-level inscription master. How can he break the seal here? There's no such possibility. Leave quickly or else I'll take it as him trespassing and suppress him. Sixth uncle Lu Ming hasn't even tried, how do you know he can't? With our tribe's current situation, shouldn't we seize every opportunity? Chi Yu argued. Presumptuous, what does a junior know? Leave quickly. Qi Jinshan scolded. I think this seal can be broken. Suddenly, Lu Ming's voice came out, causing the scene to go silent. Everyone's gaze turned towards Lu Ming. Really? Qi Yu's eyes revealed a look of ecstasy. Of course. Lu Ming nodded his head. Boasting shamelessly, brat, what are your intentions? You want to destroy my red leopard tribe's forbidden area? I suspect you're using some evil technique to control Qi Yu. You have evil intentions, men, kill this brat for me. Qi Jinshan's face was extremely gloomy, killing intent burst out as he shouted. Yes. The guards at the valley entrance waved their hands, and cheetah puppets appeared on the ground. All of them were Sea of Spirit Realm puppets. The puppets roared and were about to pounce towards Lu Ming. Who dares? Qi Yu shouted, blocking in front of Lu Ming at the same time summoning her cheetah puppet. Miss Qi Yu is already being controlled by this evil person, she can't do anything. Quickly kill that brat and save Miss. Qi Jinshan roared. Kill that brat for me. Qi Feng also roared, killing intent bursting out. Lu Ming's face was gloomy. With a wave of his hand, the giant wolf puppet appeared, blocking in front of him. It stepped on the ground, waving its hands, and lines of inscriptions appeared on the ground. A great battle was about to break out. Stop, what are you doing? At this moment, a loud roar came out. A white-haired old man riding a cheetah puppet flew over. Second uncle. Red Moon was overjoyed. The white-haired elder descended and swept his gaze across the scene. His face was gloomy as he said, what exactly is going on? Second brother, that brat is controlling you. He has ulterior motives. I was just about to kill him. Qi Jinshan hurriedly said. Nonsense. Second uncle, Lu Ming is an inscription master from the outside world. He can break the seal of the canyon, so I brought him here. I didn't think that sixth uncle would want to kill Lu Ming. Qi Yu argued. What? He can break the seal of the canyon? The white-haired elder's face was filled with shock, and his eyes shone brightly. Due to his excitement, a layer of blue spiritual fire appeared above his head, and a vast amount of spiritual energy filled the entire area. Don't be fooled by this person. He is just a heaven-level inscription master and he is so young. How many inscriptions can he master? How can he break this seal? This is utter nonsense. Qi Jinshan said coldly. Second uncle, why don't we let Lu Ming give it a try? What if it works? This is related to the rise and fall of our clan. Please reconsider, second uncle. Qi Yu said loudly. Qi Yu's second uncle was called Qi Jintian. At this time, he looked at Lu Ming with a glimmer of hope in his eyes. He said, young man, can you really break the seal here? Lu Ming nodded and said, I have observed it just now. There are 3 different inscriptions in it. The inscription formations are intertwined. There should be more than 100 inscription formations. Although it is mysterious, it is not difficult to break it after 60 years. Lu Ming's words made Qi Yu and Qi Jintian's eyes shine brightly, but Qi Jinshan's face became gloomier. This is a serious matter. I need to inform the patriarch and the elders. Qi Jintian took out a voice-transmitting jade charm and sent a few messages. Then he waited. Qi Jinshan knew that he could not stop it, so he walked aside with a gloomy face. Lu Ming glanced at Qi Jinshan, and his eyes flickered a few times. Qi Jinshan was very strange. He desperately tried to stop him from breaking the seal. As Qi Yu said, this was related to the rise and fall of the Red Leopard tribe. Even if there was a 1 in a million chance, he had to give it a try. But Qi Jinshan kept stopping him. It was impossible to say that it was because of Qi Feng. When he did not mention breaking the seal, Qi Jinshan was still normal. It seemed that he had the intention to break it. So all this made Lu Ming feel very strange. Whoosh, whoosh. In just a few minutes, the wind whistled and 7 or 8 giant cheetah puppets flew over. There were 8 cheetah puppets in total, and each of them had a person standing on it. One of them was in his 50s and emitted a majestic aura. Lu Ming guessed that he might be Qi Yu's father, the patriarch of the Red Leopard tribe, Qi Jinkong. The other 7 were white-haired old men. They should be the elders of the Red Leopard tribe. Greetings to the patriarch and elders. Qi Jintian, Qi Jinshan and the guards all saluted together. Father, elders of the tribe. Qi Yu also came forward and saluted. Qi Jinkong's eyes were like lightning. He looked at Lu Ming and said, is he the person you mentioned who can break the seal? Although Qi Jinkong pretended to be calm, he still showed a trace of excitement. Yes, father. Lu Ming is from outside the earth. He is the most powerful inscriber there. Although he is at the peak of the heaven level, his mind power is as strong as the immortal level. Qi Yu came forward and held Qi Jinkong's arm with a smile. The most talented inscriber there is? Qi Jin Kong and the seven elders' eyes lit up. Lu Ming touched his nose and smiled bitterly. This girl was too good at bragging. I think you've been fooled by him. According to the ancient legends, the world outside the earth is boundless. It is countless times bigger than here. There are countless people like sand. How can he be the most talented inscriber? He must be bragging on purpose to deceive you that he is young. Patriarch, elders, you must not believe this person. If something goes wrong and causes the formation to explode, it will destroy the body of the previous patriarch in the inscription manual. Then our red leopard tribe will really be finished. Qi Jinshan jumped out to stop them. Sixth uncle, you haven't seen Lu Ming fight. How do you know that his inscribing way is not strong? Qiyu said stubbornly. In that case, why don't we let him show us? If he wants to have mind power comparable to a immortal level inscriber at the heaven level, he needs to light up at least 7 or even 8 spirit lamps at each level. Let him show us his spirit rings. Qi Jinshan sneered. The immortal level inscriber he was talking about was of course a real inscriber. At each level, he needed to light up at least 6 spirit lamps, which was already very difficult. He didn't believe that Lu Ming could light up 7 or even 8 spirit lamps at each level. Humph, Lu Ming, show us your spirit rings. Chapter 705. Qi Jin Kong, the 7 elders, and Qi Jin Tian turned to look at Lu Ming. Lu Ming shook his head in his heart. He had helped the Red Leopard tribe, but Qi Jinshan had stopped him. Given his character, he would have left long ago. The reason why he stayed was firstly because of Qiyu. Secondly, at this point, if he turned around and left, he would definitely not be valued by the Red Leopard tribe. He still wanted to make use of the Red Leopard tribe's strength to inquire about Xian Yanqing's whereabouts. Since you want to see, open your eyes and watch carefully. Lu Ming's gaze swept toward the Qijin mountain. Bus. At the same time, a red ring appeared above Lu Ming's head. There were 10 points on the ring which were as dazzling as stars. 10 spirit lamps. He has lit 10 spirit lamps in the first stage. Qi Jin Kong, the 7 elders, and the rest of the crowd were astounded. Some of the elders even yelled out in shock. Qi Jinshan's eyes almost popped out. He opened his mouth so wide that he could swallow a dead mouse. He stared at Lu Ming in a daze. Lu Ming had lit 10 spirit lamps in the first stage and reached the perfect stage. I knew it. Lu Ming's talent is the best in the outer world. After Qiyu recovered from his initial shock, he laughed heartily. Humph, it's only the first stage. Maybe he was lucky enough to obtain a powerful flame. That's why he could light up 10 spirit lamps in the first stage. There have been such cases in history. However, the later stages, the harder it is to light up the spirit lamps. Let's see how many he can light up later. Qi Jinshan said with a gloomy face. Father is right. Qi Feng chimed in. Oh, is that so? Then open your dog eyes wide and take a good look. There was a sneer at the corners of Lu Ming's lips. Immediately after, there was another flash of light above his head. This time, 2 rings appeared consecutively. One was orange and the other was yellow. The 2 rings were the same as the first one. They both had 10 bright spots, dazzling and mesmerizing. Everyone was stunned. Their eyes were wide open and they were extremely shocked. The first 3 stages were all perfect, with 10 spirit lamps lit. This was simply too shocking. Qi Jinshan's face flushed red. Qi Feng was dumbfounded. Didn't they want to see it? As for Lu Ming, he would let him take a good look. Let's continue watching. The cold smile at the corner of Lu Ming's mouth deepened. In the next moment, 2 more rings appeared above his head. There were 2 rings, one green and one blue. On top of each ring there were 10 bright spots. 5 rings stacked on top of each other. The 50 bright spots almost blinded Qi Jinshan's eyes. Perfect, all perfect. All 5 stages are perfect. Oh my God, what am I seeing? A miracle, a genius. This is the strongest genius this old man has ever seen. Was right, he is the #1 genius in the outer world. Several elders who were hundreds of years old could no longer control their emotions. They shouted one after another, their faces flushed with excitement. Qiyu's mouth formed an O shape. She stood there in a daze. After a while, her eyes lit up. As for Qi Jinshan and Qi Feng, it was as if they had seen a ghost. They looked at Lu Ming, unable to say a word. Their lips were trembling non-stop, lighting 10 spirit lamps in all 5 stages. This was simply a legend. In their world, they had never heard of such a genius. There was even a rumor in this world that 9 was the limit. It was impossible to be perfect. In other words, lighting 9 spirit lamps was the limit. Perfection was just a legend. It was a realm that was expected. But now, it had appeared in front of a young man in his 20s. My current mental strength should be enough, right? Lu Ming's gaze continued to fall on Qi Jinshan. Qi Jinshan's expression changed. He did not say a word. He could not speak. Good, little brother Lu is indeed the #1 genius in the outer world. I believe that little brother Lu will be able to break the seal. Qi Jinkong laughed with excitement in his eyes. That's right. Little brother, please come forward and check those inscription arrays to see how to break them. A white-haired elder said excitedly. Except for Qi Jinkong and Qi Feng, everyone looked at Lu Ming expectantly. Perhaps Lu Ming could really do it. Okay. Lu Ming nodded and walked forward. He came to the place full of inscriptions and looked at it carefully. Dandan, can you really break it? Lu Ming transmitted a message to Dandan. The seal here was made up of 3 different arrays. There were more than 100 of them. The 3 arrays were intertwined with each other. Moreover, they were all extremely advanced level 6 inscription arrays. The chiefs of the Sky Wolf tribe, the Shadow Snake tribe, and the Blood Tiger tribe who had set up the arrays were all level 6 inscriptionists. To be honest, with Lu Ming's current attainment in the path of inscription, it was still difficult for him to break it. The reason why he agreed was that Dandan had transmitted a message to him that it could break it. Nonsense. Don't you know who I am? I'm the head of the top 10 battle beast. I've lived for countless years. I know astronomy and yin and yang. How can a mere level 6 inscription array be difficult for me? Dandan began to boast again. Of course, it transmitted a message and no one could hear it. Lu Ming was used to Dandan's boasting. He directly ignored Dandan's boasting and said, "Oh? How can I break it?" Boy, listen to me. Start with the vertical 18 inscriptions of Raging Flame, then the horizontal 7 inscriptions of Explosion. Dandan began to guide him. Blue flames spread out between Lu Ming's fingers and engraved in the air. Inscriptions appeared in different directions and flew into the ground at the entrance of the canyon. Everyone in the Red Leopard tribe widened their eyes and stared at it. Oh! Suddenly, a wolf howled. An array shone and condensed into a giant wolf, which pounced on Lu Ming. Everyone's heart skipped a beat. Qi Jinshan's eyes lit up. However, Lu Ming's expression was calm. He allowed the huge wolf to pounce on him. When the huge wolf pounced on Lu Ming, it exploded with a bang, turning into spots of light and dissipating. The first array was broken. The first array is broken. It's really broken. Qi Jinkong and the 7 elders were all overjoyed. Dad, Grandpa, look. I was right. Lu Ming will definitely be able to do it. Qi Yu said with a smile. Yes, but this seal is made up of 136 arrays. The deeper you go, the harder it is to break. Let's see what happens later. Qi Jinkong said. At the same time, Lu Ming continued to engrave inscriptions. The inscriptions flew into the ground one by one. After a while, a giant blood-red tiger pounced out and then dissipated. The second array was broken. Afterward, Lu Ming's fingers did not stop. He continued to inscribe inscriptions in the air. One array after another was cracked by Lu Ming. Chapter 706. The more excited Qi Jinkong and the others were, the more they looked forward to it. Perhaps it would work this time. God bless. Ancient Ancestor bless. They prayed in their hearts. Perhaps the ancient ancestor did not want the Red Leopard tribe to be destroyed, so he sent such a genius. The chosen one. At the same time, Qi Jinkong and the other elders thought of this word. They looked at each other and became more excited and expectant. Phew. At this time, Lu Ming took a deep breath, sat cross-legged on the ground and closed his eyes. After breaking 18 formations in a row, he did not have enough mind power and needed to recover. We will guard this place. No one is allowed to leave. Qi Jinkong ordered. To prevent any accidents, they would guard this place personally. At this time, Qi Jinshan's face became gloomier and his eyes flashed with a strange light. Qi Feng looked at Lu Ming with jealousy in his eyes. There was nothing else. 3 hours later, Lu Ming got up and continued to crack the formations. However, from this point onwards, the array became more complicated and more difficult. Lu Ming's speed also slowed down a little. This time, Lu Ming spent more than an hour to crack 18 formations. Then he sat cross-legged again and began to recover. A few hours later, Lu Ming got up again with a smile on his face. He found that cracking formations this way could make his mind power purer, and he could also train. He felt that he was getting closer and closer to becoming a 6th-level inscriptionist. Lu Ming continued to crack the formations, but the further he went, the slower he became. On the first day, Lu Ming cracked 50 inscription formations. On the second day, he cracked 30 inscription formations. On the third day, he cracked 20 inscription formations. There were 136 formations in total. Now there were only 36 formations left. However, Lu Ming stopped when he reached the last 36th seat. He pondered for a while and then walked to Qi Jinkong. Patriarch Qi, the next 36 inscription formations are mainly made by the Yin snake tribe. They are extremely vicious and unstable. If you are not careful, they will explode and destroy this valley. Lu Ming said. Qi Jinkong's expression changed. He asked anxiously, "What should we do then?" "That's easy. Lu Ming needs a favor from clan leader Qi," Lu Ming said. "Brother Lu, please speak. Even if we mobilize the entire Red Leopard tribe, it won't be a problem." Qi Jinkong's tone was firm. "It's not that serious. I just need some materials. I have a material here called Crimson Blood Sand. I need the Patriarch to send someone to refine it." A jade tablet appeared in Lu Ming's hand. It contained the refining method of the Scarlet Blood Sand and the required materials. He handed it over to Qi Jinkong. Qi Jinkong glanced at it and said, "Not a problem, but I'm afraid it'll take me 6 to 7 days to refine it." "Don't worry, Patriarch Qi. Is there a place where poisonous snakes gather nearby? I will personally hunt some poisonous snakes and take their essence blood to refine another material. Only by combining these two materials can we break the last 36 formations," Lu Ming said. "A place where venomous snakes gather? To the west of the Red Leopard tribe, there's 1,000 Snakes Valley. There are a large number of poisonous snakes there, but that's already the territory of the Shadow Snake tribe," Qi Jinkong said. "Don't worry, I just need to sneak there and hunt some poisonous snakes." Lu Ming smiled. "That's great. Brother Lu, you've been working hard for the past few days to break the formations. Let's take a rest at the Red Leopard tribe and then prepare the materials." Although Qi Jinkong was quite anxious and excited, he still spoke politely to Lu Ming. Lu Ming was now the hope of the Red Leopard tribe. "Sure." Lu Ming nodded. Qi Jinkong left a few elders to guard the place while he and the rest of the elders brought Lu Ming and Qi Yu to the Red Leopard tribe. "Lu Ming, you haven't been to our tribe, right? Let me show you around. What's it like in the outer world? Your skin is so white and smooth. Also, the clothes you're wearing are strange too." Along the way, Red Moon followed Lu Ming, chattering non-stop and asking a lot of questions. Lu Ming smiled bitterly. He couldn't help but think of a girl, Xian Xen. At that time, Xian Xen was also very curious. She kept asking about it non-stop. Lu Ming explained casually. Soon they arrived at the ancient city. It was a stone city. The buildings inside were all made of stone. The stone city was bustling with people. It was different from the cities Lu Ming had seen before. It was full of exotic charm. When he arrived, Lu Ming's heart suddenly stirred. He asked, "Clan leader Qi, during this period of time, did anyone from the outside world like me come here?" "Yes, there are about 100 people. They're all living in the main hall in the west. We didn't restrict their movements," Qi Jinkong explained. "Can you show me?" Lu Ming asked. He wanted to see if there were any familiar faces. Maybe Xian Yanqing was here too? "Of course. I'll go back and order people to prepare the red blood sand. Third uncle, bring little brother Lu to the main hall in the west," Qi Jinkong instructed. "Yes, father." Qi Yu smiled. She was accompanied by a white-haired old man. They led Lu Ming to the main hall in the west. Along the way, many people looked at Lu Ming curiously. During this period of time, many people from beyond the earth had come. The news had spread like wildfire and they were all very curious. There was a huge stone hall in the west. There were many stone houses in it. During this period, there were more than 100 people living here. They were all from the chaotic astral ocean. Zhong Yuan was in a bad mood during this period. He was the sect leader of the blood poison sect. He thought that with the key to the Martial Emperor's treasure, he would get a great opportunity. The blood poison sect would soar and he would be able to break through and reach the supreme realm. He didn't expect that all his plans would be ruined by Lu Ming, causing countless people to rush into the Martial Emperor's treasure. Not only that, after entering the Martial Emperor's treasure, he didn't get anything. Instead, he was chased everywhere. In the end, he had no choice but to follow the people of the Red Leopard tribe to the Red Leopard tribe. At this moment, he was sitting in the courtyard with two experts in the third layer of the spiritual sea realm. They were drinking and chatting. "Brother Zhong, according to my speculation, the Saint Mountain in the underground world is very likely to be related to the Martial Emperor's treasure. This time we have to work together." An old man in the third layer of the spiritual sea realm said. "That's right, and I speculate that there should be a way out of the Saint Mountain. At that time we can leave this damn place." The other martial artist in the third layer of the spiritual sea realm said. "I hope so." Zhong Yuan drank a cup of wine. His eyes flickered as he thought about something. Crick. At this moment the door opened. Lu Ming and the others walked in. The people in the courtyard also looked at the door. Chapter 707. Upon hearing the voice, Lu Ming looked in the direction of the voice. There was a strong murderous intent in his eyes. Blood poison sect leader. A cold voice came from Lu Ming's mouth. The white-haired old man in front of him was the blood poison sect leader, the one who injured him and wanted to steal his jade sword. He didn't expect to meet him here. Haha, little bastard, I said before that if I meet you, I'll kill you. Your luck is really bad to meet me here. Let's see how you'll die this time. Zhong Yuan laughed loudly and stood up from the table, emitting a terrifying aura. A fourth-layer spiritual ocean tier martial artist was too strong, much stronger than a third-layer spiritual ocean tier martial artist. His aura was like a vast ocean, suppressing Lu Ming. Dong, dong. Zhong Yuan stepped forward, causing the ground to rumble with every step he took. What do you want? Qiyu stepped forward, blocking Lu Ming. Her face turned cold as she glared at Zhong Yuan. So it's Miss Qiyu. Miss Qiyu, please step aside. This person has a grudge with me and I'll kill him. Zhong Yuan said coldly. No, this is the Red Leopard tribe. Fighting is not allowed. Qiyu said coldly. Miss Qiyu, you'd better step aside. This time, I agreed to go to the sacred mountain and participate in the test. But if I don't kill this person, don't blame me for not doing my best during the test. Zhong Yuan sneered. Anyone could hear that this was a threat. Among the 100 or so outsiders who came to the Red Leopard tribe, Zhong Yuan was the strongest, at the 4th-layer spiritual ocean tier. He was the most promising participant in the Red Leopard tribe's test. These few days, the people of the Red Leopard tribe were all polite to him, treating him as an honored guest. Naturally, he had the confidence. I want him to die. At this moment, Lu Ming spoke. Hearing Lu Ming's words, Zhong Yuan was stunned for a moment, then laughed loudly. The other 2 third-layer spiritual ocean tier elders also laughed. Haha, this kid is a peak king. Has he lost his mind? He actually wants brother Zhong to die. Where did he get his confidence from? Did he say that to Miss Qiyu and the others? That's even more ridiculous. Does he think he's more important than brother Zhong? Young people can't recognize themselves. How pitiful, how sad. The 2 old men in the 3rd layer of the spiritual ocean tier laughed loudly, full of mockery. But in the next moment, their smiles froze. Because Qiyu looked at Lu Ming and asked, Are you serious? Yes. I must kill him. Lu Ming was resolute and decisive. Alright, if little brother Lu wants to kill him, I'll do it. At the side, the Red Leopard elder spoke. With a wave of his hand, a gigantic leopard puppet appeared, emitting a terrifying aura. 7th level of Sea of Souls realm. This cheetah had the aura of a 7th level Sea of Souls realm warrior. That kind of aura was so powerful that it made people's hearts palpitate in despair. Zhong Yuan was completely dumbfounded. He looked at the Red Leopard elder with a pale face and screamed, What are you doing? This kid is only a martial king. I'm many times stronger than him. I have a chance at the Sacred Mountain trial. You should kill him, kill him. Little brother Lu is the benefactor of my Red Leopard tribe. What did he say? My Red Leopard tribe will do our best to satisfy him. Whoever he wants to kill will kill. Now die. The Red Leopard elder shouted coldly. The cheetah puppet roared and pounced at Zhong Yuan at an unimaginable speed. No, how can this be? I can't accept this. Zhong Yuan roared hysterically, resisting with all his might. But the difference between a puppet in the 4th layer of the spiritual ocean tier and a puppet in the 7th layer was too great. The cheetah puppet clawed out, tearing apart all of Zhong Yuan's defenses and attacks. Then, it tore his body into 2 halves. The blood poison sect master, an almighty in the 4th layer of the spiritual ocean tier, an expert whose might shook the chaotic astral ocean, was full of ambition and died just like that. He died with incomparable grievance. He didn't even know why he died. Why did the Red Leopard tribe listen to Lu Ming's every word? The 2 old men in the 3rd layer of the spiritual ocean tier watched this scene dumbfoundedly, almost biting off their own tongues. Then they trembled as they looked at Lu Ming, cold sweat dripping down their backs. The Red Leopard tribe actually listened to Lu Ming's every word. Lu Ming's one word and an elder of the Red Leopard tribe attacked, killing Zhong Yuan in one move. What was going on? They'd both lived for more than 1,000 years, but now they found that their brains couldn't process the situation at all. Lu Ming strode forward, reached out his hand and grabbed Zhong Yuan's storage ring in his hand. He also swallowed Zhong Yuan's blood essence while he was at it. Then he looked at the 2 old men in the spiritual ocean tier and said coldly, You've lived for more than 1,000 years, but can't even understand the situation. Pitiful, lamentable. The two old men's faces were flushed red, unable to show their faces. These were the words they'd said to Lu Ming just now, but how long had it been, and Lu Ming had returned the exact same words to them. Every word was like a slap to their faces. Lu Ming ignored them. Under Chiyu's lead he checked the place. Unfortunately, Xian Yinqing wasn't here and neither was Kenfei Ryu. "Miss Chiyu, I need a room. I need to go into seclusion for a while," Lu Ming said. Zhong Yuan was in the fourth layer of the spiritual ocean tier, and his blood essence was too strong. He needed to go into seclusion to refine it. No problem. Chiyu brought Lu Ming to the core area of the Red Leopard tribe and arranged a room for him. Lu Ming entered the room and entered the Temple of Paragon, beginning to refine the blood essence. He used all of his blood essence to improve the suppressing prison monument bloodline. The stronger the suppressing prison monument bloodline, the more powerful the suppressing prison heaven skill would be. The ninth silver chakra became brighter and brighter, and finally, like the other 9 chakras, it shone brightly. The peak of the 9th grade king stage. However, at the peak of the 9th level king level, it was too difficult to attain divine level bloodline. After Lu Ming refined all of Zhong Yuan's blood essence, he had a feeling that he was still a long way from attaining divine level. He didn't know how much more blood essence he needed to reach the divine grade. Half a day had passed and Lu Ming walked out of the room. "Lu Ming, you're done with your seclusion?" Lu Ming saw Chiyu as soon as he came out. Lu Ming nodded and said, "You've been waiting for me?" "Not really. I just arrived. Do you want to walk around?" Chiyu said. "No, I'll go to the Thousand Snake Valley to hunt poisonous snakes." "How do I get there?" Lu Ming shook his head and said, "I'll take you there. That's the Shadow Snake Tribe's territory. If there are too many people, it'll attract their attention. How about just the two of us go?" Chiyu said. "All right." Lu Ming nodded. The two of them left the Stone City and headed west. The Thousand Snake Valley was 30,000 miles west of the Red Leopard Tribe. This was the Shadow Snake Tribe's territory. It was said that this was the Red Leopard Tribe's territory a few decades ago. Later, the Red Leopard Tribe lost a large area of land, and the Thousand Snake Valley fell into the hands of the Shadow Snake Tribe. The two of them rode on the puppet and arrived in less than half a day. Chapter 708. The vast mountains stretched as far as the eye could see. Between the vast mountains there was a huge valley. The valley was about 100 miles long and it was quiet all around. This was the 10,000 Snakes Valley. There were all kinds of poisonous snakes in the valley, tens of thousands of them. Other demonic beasts did not dare to come close to this place, so it was very quiet. The wind whistled as Lu Ming and Chiyu descended from the sky on the cheetah puppet and landed at the entrance of the 10,000 Snakes Valley. The two of them put away the puppet and walked into the 10,000 Snakes Valley. Swoosh, swoosh. Before they had gone far, a black venomous snake shot towards the two of them like a bolt of black lightning. Bang. Chiyu lightly stepped on the ground, and inscriptions appeared on the ground, forming a large inscription array. Dozens of arrows shot out from the inscription array and shot towards the black figures. With a light sound, those black snakes were accurately shot and were sent flying in all directions. The two of them continued forward. The valley was very wide, at least 10 miles long. It was covered with dense weeds, all kinds of old vines, low ancient trees and piles of rocks. In some places, there were even swamps that were full of stench. Such an environment was most suitable for poisonous snakes to breed. As they moved forward, they encountered many poisonous snakes. However, these poisonous snakes were all below LV5, which was equivalent to the martial ancestor realm. Whether it was Lu Ming or Chiyu, they were easily dealt with. Moreover, the blood essence of these poisonous snakes was useless. Lu Ming needed the blood essence of martial king level poisonous snakes. When the two of them walked for more than 20 miles, the level of the poisonous snakes began to increase. Hiss hiss, a colorful poisonous snake slithered towards Lu Ming. The snake's forked tongue stretched out, and wisps of poisonous fog filled the air. King-level poisonous snake, I finally see one. A smile appeared on Lu Ming's face. He stepped forward and stretched out his hand. This poisonous snake did not have the slightest strength to resist and was caught in Lu Ming's hand. With a jolt of his true essence, the poisonous snake turned into ashes at a speed visible to the naked eye. In Lu Ming's palm, there were only 9 drops of blood essence rolling around each other like blood-red pearls. Swoosh, swoosh. Then Lu Ming suspended the 9 drops of blood essence in the air. His hands quickly inscribed inscriptions into the 9 drops of blood essence. After a while, the 9 drops of blood essence exploded with a bang, turning into a cloud of blood mist that filled the air. It's done. Lu Ming smiled faintly. He then took out a jade bottle and absorbed all the blood mist into the jade bottle. He wanted to use the snake's blood essence to refine the blood mist and use it together with the crimson blood sand to break the last 36 formations. This was also the reason why his inscription level was not high enough. If he had become a level 6 inscription master and mastered some level 6 inscriptions and level 6 arrays, he would not have needed to use these materials to break the 36 arrays. 60 to 70,000 li away from the 10,000 Snake Valley was another large tribe, the Yin Snake Tribe. The Shadow Snake Tribe was very powerful. In the past few decades, they had annexed many of the Red Leopard Tribe's territories. Their strength had increased rapidly. The Red Leopard Tribe could not be compared to them. In the ancient city of the Shadow Snake Tribe, Xian Yanqing looked into the distance from a pavilion made of huge rocks. Her eyebrows were tightly knitted. She didn't come to the Shadow Snake Tribe of her own accord. She was captured. Now on her wrists and ankles there was a ring. This ring was like a snake coiled around her body, and there were complex inscriptions carved on it. This ring had the power to seal. It sealed Xian Yanqing's true qi and even her inscription flame. She could not use any of her cultivation. Otherwise she would have escaped long ago. Creak. The door of the room was opened. A young man walked in. This young man was tall and slender. He was handsome, but his eyes were long and narrow. He gave people a very gloomy feeling. As soon as he walked in, the young man's gaze wandered around Xian Yanqing's body. Traces of burning flames flashed in his eyes. It was a strong desire to possess her. "What are you doing here again?" Xian Yanqing frowned. "Monsieur, what do you think? Marry me. I won't let you lose out." The young man smiled slightly. It seemed even more gloomy. "Get lost." Xian Yanqing shouted coldly. She was not polite at all. The young man's face turned cold. He said, "Monsieur, don't forget where you are. I'm trying to persuade you. Don't refuse a toast only to be forced to drink a forfeit. Get lost." Xian Yanqing's reply was still one word. "Good, good, very good. Let's wait and see." In the young man's eyes evil flames flashed. They wandered around Xian Yanqing's body a few times. Then he strode away. "This bitch, I want you to kneel in front of me and beg me this morning." The young man's heart was burning with anger. Who was he? The son of the Shadow Snake Tribe's patriarch, the future successor of the Shadow Snake Tribe in Quebec. He had great talent. What couldn't he get? But a few days ago when he saw Xian Yanqing he was stunned. Xian Yanqing was too beautiful. Moreover, she was completely different from the women in the underground world. Most of the women in the underground world were more boorish. Their skin was bronze and slightly rough. But Xian Yanqing had jade-like skin and a graceful figure. He was immediately attracted. He captured Xian Yanqing and wanted to make Xian Yanqing his 18th concubine. But with Xian Yanqing's character, the result was obvious. How could she agree? Yin Ke walked in the courtyard with a gloomy face. "Young master, what's wrong? That woman hasn't agreed?" A skinny old man walked up and asked. "That's right. This bitch not only didn't agree but also told me to get lost." "Old Kue, what can you do?" Yin Ke asked. "Young master, since she doesn't want to do it the hard way, then let's do it the hard way. What's done can't be undone." The skinny old man sneered. "Old Kue, I also thought about it. But even if her true yuan and spirit fire are sealed, her physical strength is still very strong. I'm afraid that if we use force she will commit suicide. Otherwise I would have done it long ago." Yin Ke said. Whenever he thought of Xian Yanqing's graceful figure, an evil fire would burn in his body. "Young master, this is easy. Right now is the breeding season for poisonous snakes. In the Thousand Snake Valley the Snake Desires flower is in full bloom. The fragrance of the Snake Desires flower has no effect on those who have true yuan or spiritual fire. However, if one does not have true yuan or spiritual fire to protect their body, the moment they smell the fragrance of the Snake Desires flower, their entire body will go limp and they will lose all strength. At that time, young master will be able to do whatever you want." The skinny old man smiled sinisterly. Yin Ke's eyes lit up. Then he laughed and said, "Old Kue is indeed resourceful. Alright, let's do it this way. Old Kue, take a few people with you and use the excuse of going hunting to relax. Take that bitch and follow me to the Thousand Snake Valley. This time I want to make that bitch wish she was dead." "Alright, I'll do it right away." Old Kue bowed. Chapter 709. Xian Yanqing didn't want to go at first, but the other party welcomed her with a smile and said that he was only taking her hunting to relieve her boredom. Xian Yanqing couldn't refuse. If she refused, she was afraid that the other party would use force. Not long after they arrived at the Thousand Snake Valley. The 9 of them walked in. In the beginning they were indeed hunting poisonous snakes to concoct some medicine. Soon they were more than 30 miles away from the valley. You guys hunt poisonous snakes in this area. I'll bring Miss Xian Yanqing to the front to take a look. Yin Ke instructed. All right, young master. You guys go ahead. Elder Kuei said with a smile. There was a hint of eeriness in his smile. Miss Xia, let's continue forward. Yin Ke said to Xian Yanqing. Xian Yanqing frowned. She had a bad feeling in her heart, but given the current situation she could only agree. She made up her mind that if Yin Ke had any ill intentions toward her, she would rather die than let him have his way. Xian Yanqing nodded and followed Yin Ke into the valley. Soon the two of them walked another 5 or 6 miles. This place was filled with red flowers. These flowers were very strange. They were in the shape of snakes like small snakes. Furthermore, they emitted an intoxicating fragrance. It was very pleasant to the smell. Along the way, Yin Ke didn't do anything strange. Xian Yanqing gradually relaxed and walked slowly. However, Xian Yanqing gradually felt that something was wrong. She felt her body getting weaker and weaker. She was smart. She suddenly thought of something and her face turned pale. She ran a few steps forward and said, Yin Ke, what did you do to me? Did you use poison on me? When Yin Ke saw that Xian Yanqing's body was indeed weak, he laughed sinisterly and said, I didn't poison you, but this place is full of snake desire flowers. The pollen of snake desire flowers is equivalent to poison for people who can't use spiritual flame and spiritual origin. Anyone who smells it will feel weak all over. Ah. Yin Ke laughed. What are you trying to do? Xian Yanqing kept retreating. She felt more and more weak. What are you doing? Bitch, I don't care what status you have outside the underworld. Here you better behave yourself. I want to marry you as a concubine because I think highly of you. You actually rejected me time and time again and even dared to scold me. Now, I'll let you know the consequences of rejecting me. Evil flames danced in Yin Ke's eyes as his gaze wandered around Xian Yanqing's body. The flames in his eyes grew stronger and stronger. In your dreams, Xian Yanqing shouted. Her spine suddenly emitted a red glow. Immediately after, her body dashed forward, rushing towards the depths of the 10,000 Snakes Valley. Damn it! Yin Ke angrily shouted. He hadn't expected that Xian Yanqing's Zhen Yuan and spiritual fire would be sealed, but he was still able to display such a strange power. In a moment of carelessness, Xian Yanqing had run 100 meters away. Immediately he chased after her with extreme speed. Xian Yanqing's Zhen Yuan and spiritual fire were sealed. Her body was special so she could borrow some of the power of her bloodline. However, it wasn't much. Before she could run a mile, the power of her bloodline dissipated. She felt her body grow weaker and weaker. She staggered and almost fell to the ground. Yin Ke chased after her from behind. Let's see where you can run to. Wait a moment, I'll serve you well. After running for a while, Xian Yanqing was drenched in sweat. Her thin clothes were wet, causing them to stick tightly to her body. Her curves were even more soul-stirring. Yin Ke's evil flames erupted. His entire body was hot and he couldn't help but swallow his saliva. Xian Yanqing's eyes revealed a trace of despair. She touched her waist and a small dagger appeared in her hand. She pressed it against her chest and looked at Yin Ke resolutely. If you want to use force, I'll die. Yin Ke stopped in his tracks. His face was gloomy as he coldly said, I don't believe that you'll throw away your life. After saying that, he strode forward. Lu Ming, you idiot. Where are you? Perhaps we won't be able to meet again. Xian Yanqing closed her eyes and stabbed the dagger in her hand into her chest. In the depths of the 1,000-Snake Valley, Lu Ming took out a jade bottle and collected a cloud of blood mist. Then he frowned. He didn't know why, but he had been feeling uneasy since just now. An inexplicable feeling of irritation appeared in his heart. This was somewhat inconceivable. At Lu Ming's current level, his martial heart was stable. Ordinary things wouldn't make Lu Ming feel irritable. However, he had been feeling inexplicably irritable since just now. He didn't know why. Kid, what's wrong with you? You're not in the right state. Dandan saw Lu Ming's state. I don't know why, but I've been feeling inexplicably irritable since just now. I keep feeling uneasy. Lu Ming said. Inexplicably irritable and uneasy? The deeper a martial artist's cultivation base is, the more they'll be connected to the laws of the unseen world. Therefore, any emotion won't be born without a reason. Something must be happening. Dandan said. Lu Ming nodded. In ancient times, there were some supreme experts who could even foresee some parts of the future. It was mysterious and unfathomable. Wait a moment. Dandan closed its eyes and waved its pair of front claws. Inscriptions were produced. After a while, Dandan suddenly opened its eyes and said anxiously, "Not good, kid. Your little lover is in danger." What? Lu Ming was stunned, but he immediately reacted. Dandan was talking about Xian Yanqing. "Little Qing, what's wrong with her? Where is she?" Lu Ming asked hurriedly. "Just a few miles away. Go quickly. It'll be too late if you don't," Dandan shouted. Whoosh. Without the slightest hesitation, Lu Ming burst out. His figure was like a bolt of lightning as he rushed out of the myriad snakes. Chiyu's eyes moved. Inscriptions appeared on her body and formed a pair of wings. With a flap, she turned into a phantom and followed. Under Lu Ming's full strength, a few miles of distance only took a few breaths. When Lu Ming arrived, he was just in time to see Xian Yanqing's dagger stabbing at her heart. Blood flowed out. It was a shocking sight. Boom. At this moment, it was as if thunder had exploded in Lu Ming's mind. With just a glance at such a scene, he roughly knew what was going on. "Little Qing!" Lu Ming roared. His figure pounced at Xian Yanqing like a bolt of lightning. His true essence rolled up and wrapped around Xian Yanqing's arm, preventing her dagger from continuing to stab. However, Lu Ming was still a little slower. Xian Yanqing's dagger had already pierced through his flesh. A part of it had already pierced his heart. Fortunately, it wasn't too deep. Lu Ming hugged Xian Yanqing's slender waist. His true essence crazily poured into Xian Yanqing's body to protect Xian Yanqing's heart. "Fool, you're here. I thought I'd never see you again." Xian Yanqing blinked her big eyes and stared at Lu Ming in a daze. She was afraid that all this was a dream. "Don't speak," Lu Ming said. His true essence continued to pour in. His true essence was the battle dragon true essence. It had a strong vitality and successfully sealed Xian Yanqing's heart. At the same time, Xian Yanqing's wound was slowly healing. Chapter 710. Lu Ming's appearance stunned Yin Quebec. Seeing how close Xian Yanqing and Lu Ming were, Yin Kei's eyes were filled with jealousy. He shouted coldly, "Kid, who are you?" "She's my woman. Get out of my way." Whoosh. At this moment, Chiyu arrived. "Chiyu, it's you? How dare you trespass into the Yin Snake Tribe's territory? You're courting death." Yin Kei's eyes were filled with murderous intent when he saw Chiyu. "Yin Kei." Chiyu's face darkened when he saw Yin Quebec. Lu Ming raised his head and looked at Yin Quebec. A violent murderous intent erupted from his body. A cold voice came from Lu Ming's mouth. "Today you must die." "Ah, kid, you want to kill me? Brat, just because you dare to hug my woman, I will definitely make you beg for death." Yin Kei sneered. "Kill." Lu Ming waved his hand and a giant wolf puppet appeared, pouncing towards Yin Quebec, 4th level divine realm puppet. Yin Kei's face changed slightly. He waved his hand and a giant snake puppet appeared. It was also a 4th level spiritual ocean puppet. The two puppets collided with one another and fought fiercely. Kill. Lu Ming held Xian Yanqing with one hand and took a big step forward. A terrifying fist aura exploded forward. Wherever the fist aura passed, the valley shook. As the fist aura passed by, the old vines around the valley exploded and some poisonous snakes turned into powder. Yin Kei's face changed. A scroll appeared in his hand. After he opened it, a light shield appeared and covered Yin Quebec. On the light shield there were a few poisonous snakes swimming around. Boom. The fist aura landed on the light shield. The light shield kept shaking, but it wasn't broken. Instead it sent Yin Kei flying. "Damn it, kill." Yin Kei landed on the ground and took out another scroll. As soon as he opened it, a giant snake that was dozens of meters long flew out and pounced towards Lu Ming. The infinite dragon spear appeared in his hand, and with a thrust, a 3-colored true dragon flew out and clashed with the giant snake. However, the tricolored true dragon was actually smashed apart by the giant snake and continued to fly towards Lu Ming. Lu Ming's expression changed slightly. This was obviously Lu Ji's inscription scroll. Its power was equivalent to the attack power of the 4th layer of the spiritual C tier. Chiyu controlled the cheetah puppet and pounced forward, colliding with the giant snake. Whoosh! Whoosh! The sound of something flying through the air rang out. Old Kuei had arrived with the other 6 people. "Elder Kuei, kill. Kill that brat. Capture Chiyu and that little bitch alive." Yin Kei shouted. Buzz. Above Elder Kuei's and the others' heads, powerful spiritual energy spread out and formed a terrifying spiritual energy storm. Giant snake puppets appeared in the air. "Not good. That's a tier 5 divine level inscriber, Lu Ming. Let's leave quickly." Chiyu's expression changed drastically. Elder Kuei was an inscription master equivalent to a 5th level spiritual C realm cultivator. He had lit at least 4 blue spirit lamps. His puppet was also equivalent to a 5th-level spiritual sea realm cultivator. Qiyu, help me take care of Shaoqing. Today I must kill him. Lu Ming put down Xian Yanqing and pointed his spear at Yin Quebec. At this moment, Xian Yanqing was already fine and stood behind Lu Ming. Haha brat, you can't even protect yourself and you still want to kill me? You're really dreaming. I've changed my mind now. Elder Kuei, capture him alive. I want him to suffer a fate worse than death. Yin Ke laughed loudly, his expression extremely ferocious. Hiss. Elder Kuei controlled the giant snake puppet and pounced towards Lu Ming. The snake's tongue was like a sword, piercing through the void. Qiyu clenched his teeth and controlled the cheetah puppet to charge forward. However, before he could exchange 2 blows with the giant snake puppet, he was sent flying by the giant snake puppet. In addition, the other 6 people were also extremely powerful. The puppets they controlled were at least at the spiritual sea realm. There were even 2 giant snake puppets that were equivalent to a 4th-level spiritual sea realm cultivator. Qiyu's puppet was entangled by a 4th-level spiritual sea realm giant snake puppet, while the other giant snake puppets charged towards Lu Ming. Lu Ming's glabella shone, with traces of lightning swimming around. He was prepared to control the thunder cauldron to deliver a fatal blow. Stop. Stop. Lu Ming controlled the giant wolf puppet to block in front of him. At the same time, he stomped on the ground crazily. Yeah, watch me. Dandan landed on the ground and waved its claws non-stop. Ayo. The gigantic wolf puppet was entangled by a gigantic snake. It kept howling and sparks flew everywhere. That gigantic snake was old Kuei's puppet, and it was too strong. The gigantic wolf puppet kept exploding, and a series of banging sounds rang out. In the end, the giant wolf puppet was completely destroyed and turned into a pile of scrap metal. Kill? Lu Ming shouted. The inscription array appeared and formed a giant bow. An arrow shot towards Yin Ke like a meteor. Watch me. Dandan waved her claws and countless inscriptions appeared. Countless vines appeared and wrapped around the 5 or 6 giant snake puppets, binding them tightly. Yin Ke's expression changed. He took out another inscription scroll. After opening it, a battle sword flew out and slashed at Lu Ming's arrow. Kill. Let's use the inscription scroll together and kill that kid. Elder Kuei shouted coldly. An inscription scroll appeared in his hand. The others also had inscription scrolls in their hands. As soon as it was opened, all kinds of attacks poured towards Lu Ming. There were swords, sabers, ice, storms, etc. All of them were equivalent to the spiritual sea realm and above. Some of them were even at the 4th layer of the spiritual sea realm and above. They were too strong. Lu Ming couldn't block them at all. He would be turned into ashes in an instant. Lu Ming. Xian Yanqing and Qiyu exclaimed. Die. Lu Ming's eyes were cold. Suddenly, a bright light spread out from his eyebrows. A giant cauldron flew out and lightning filled the air. The moment the cauldron flew out, Lu Ming's true origin was instantly absorbed. Even his life essence was sucked away. Using it once would cost him 50 years of life. But Lu Ming didn't care. Today he must kill Yin Quebec. The thunder cauldron grew rapidly. Its terrifying power was vast and mighty as if it could destroy the heavens and the earth. At this moment, everyone felt the fear of facing the heavens. Retreat. Retreat. Elder Kuei's pupils shrank rapidly as he frantically retreated. Not only him but everyone else frantically retreated. At the same time, the inscription scrolls appeared and a light screen enveloped their bodies. Especially Yin Quebec. He opened the inscription scrolls as if they were free. At least 7 light screens enveloped his body. Boom. The thunder cauldron descended and pressed down. Endless power of lightning descended, destroying all life. Except for Elder Kuei and Yin Ke, the other 6 died tragically. They were turned into ashes under the thunder cauldron. As for Elder Kuei and Yin Ke, they were like withered leaves in the wind, constantly fluttering. The light screen on Yin Ke's body was constantly destroyed. His face was full of horror and fear, twisted into a ball. Boom. The thunder cauldron fell and rapidly shrank. It flew back into Lu Ming's forehead and disappeared. The 10,000 Snake Valley was charred black. Whether it was the ancient trees, weeds, or poisonous snakes, they were all charred black as if they had experienced a lightning tribulation. Chapter 7:11. Qiyu was dumbfounded. She did not expect that Lu Ming would suddenly summon a large cauldron and kill 6 experts of the Shadow Snake tribe with one strike. Moreover, Elder Kuei and Yin Ke were heavily injured. She felt like she was in a dream. Lu Ming heaved a long sigh of relief and collapsed to the ground. Now there was not a trace of true origin left in his body. Even his face was very pale, which was caused by his lifespan being sucked away. Lu Ming, are you all right? Xian Yanqing exclaimed softly and walked over to support Lu Ming. Her eyes were filled with worry. Xian Yanqing's body was strong and her life force was extremely vigorous. Now the wound on her chest was slowly healing and was no longer a problem. Little Qing, help me over there. I want to kill them, Lu Ming said. Xian Yanqing nodded and helped Lu Ming forward. At this moment, Elder Kuei and Yin Kei were lying on the ground like mud. They were already half dead. In such a situation they naturally could not control the puppets. The giant snake puppets were all lying on the ground like statues, motionless. Kid, what are you trying to do? Let me tell you, I'm the young master of the Shadow Snake tribe. My father is the tribe leader of the Shadow Snake tribe. If you dare to kill me, you'll definitely die. Yin Kei shouted. I said you'll definitely die today no matter who you are. You can't change the result. Lu Ming slowly walked forward with Xian Yanqing's help. Above his head, the green mind fire spread out. His body was weak and he could not use true origin. However, he could still use the mind fire. Kid, I advise you to let us go. Just now, I've already sent a message back. If you kill us, you'll have to wait for the Shadow Snake tribe's crazy revenge. At this moment, Elder Kuei sneered and struggled to move his body. A voice transmission jade talisman appeared in his hand. Haha, Elder Kuei, well done. Yin Kei roared with laughter. Then he looked at Lu Ming and shouted, Brat, my father has already received the news. You're dead for sure. Now, if you cripple your own arms and legs and give that bitch to me obediently and serve me, I might spare your lives. Little Qing, I can't move right now. I can't even inscribe inscriptions. I'll leave these two to you. Lu Ming spoke to Xian Yanqing as if he hadn't heard Elder Kuei and Yin Kei's words. All right. Xian Yanqing helped Lu Ming sit down. Holding the dagger in his hand, he walked towards Elder Kuei first. Bitch, what are you trying to do? Yin Kei roared. You dare? Elder Kuei roared. Xian Yanqing remained unmoved and strode forward. Qiyu came to Lu Ming's side wanting to say something but hesitated. Puchi. Xian Yanqing arrived in front of Elder Kuei and swung his dagger. Elder Kuei's head flew far away. Then he walked towards Yin Quebec. No, don't come over. Yin Kei was terrified and his face was filled with fear. He didn't expect that Lu Ming and Xian Yanqing would still dare to kill them after knowing that they had been sent back to the Shadow Snake tribe. Where did they get the courage to do so? One had to know that the Shadow Snake tribe was the strongest tribe in the surrounding area. You should have expected this day. Xian Yanqing's eyes were filled with killing intent. His dagger flashed and Yin Kei's head fell to the ground. The Shadow Snake tribe was all dead. Lu Ming, we have to leave this place quickly. The experts of the Shadow Snake tribe will be here soon. Qiyu said. All right. Lu Ming nodded. Qiyu put away the intact giant snake puppets, then controlled the cheetah puppet to carry Lu Ming and Xian Yanqing towards the red leopard tribe. Lu Ming sat cross-legged on the cheetah puppet's back and continuously circulated the true dragon battle arts to recover his true origin. The side effects of using the thunder cauldron were too obvious. He lost all his true origin and felt weak all over. Even if he still had his mental strength, he couldn't even inscribe inscriptions, which was equivalent to being powerless and at the mercy of others. Moreover, after using the thunder cauldron this time, he had a rough understanding of its power. The stronger his cultivation, the stronger the power of the thunder cauldron after absorbing true origin and essence qi. With his current cultivation, using the thunder cauldron should be able to cause a fatal threat to an expert in the fourth layer of the spiritual ocean tier. But he might not be able to kill them. Just now, in the Yin Snake tribe, there were 2 inscriptionists equivalent to the fourth layer of the spiritual ocean tier. The reason why he was able to kill them in one blow was because those inscriptionists used their mental strength to control the puppets, and the puppets were entangled by Dandan's array and couldn't turn back to help. They could only rely on inscription talismans to resist, and their defensive power was naturally greatly reduced, which was why they were killed by Lu Ming in one blow. Under normal circumstances, he could at most heavily injure an expert in the fourth layer of the spiritual ocean tier, but couldn't kill them. As for the fifth layer of the spiritual ocean tier, he could probably only lightly injure them. Of course, if Lu Ming could step into the spiritual ocean tier, his thunder concept and true origin would increase explosively, and the power of controlling the thunder cauldron would also increase crazily. I'm so tired. I accumulated so much energy and it's all used up in one go. Kid, this time you have to compensate me well. Dandan laid on Lu Ming's shoulder and kept rolling his eyes. In the 10,000 Snake Valley just a few hours after they left, a gust of wind blew, and a dozen experts rode on giant snake puppets and arrived here. The person in the lead was a middle-aged skinny man with a poisonous snake coiled around his neck. After they arrived, they quickly rushed into the depths of the 10,000 Snake Valley. Soon an earth-shattering roar was heard. "Kid from the outside world, Red Leopard Tribe, kill, kill, kill." The voice rolled, containing endless killing intent. Even many of the poisonous snakes in the 10,000 Snake Valley trembled and shrank back into their caves. Lu Ming and the others returned to the Red Leopard Tribe, and Lu Ming used all his strength to recover his cultivation. At this time, Lu Ming had already recovered a trace of true origin in his dantian. Then he took out a large amount of supreme-grade spirit crystals and devoured the energy in them to recover his cultivation. With a trace of true origin, Lu Ming's recovery speed greatly increased. As soon as Qi Yu returned to the Red Leopard Tribe, he went to find Qi Jin Kong to report the situation. "What? Lu Ming killed Yin Ke?" In a hall, Qi Jin Kong's shocked voice was heard. "Yes, father. What should we do now?" Qi Yu stood in front of Qi Jin Kong and asked. Qi Jin Kong's face was solemn, and his brows were tightly knitted together. He said, "Yin Buhai only has one son, and he has always doted on him. Now that Yin Ke has been killed, I'm afraid he'll go crazy and seek revenge. Pass down the order to strengthen the defenses. Also, I'll inform the elders to come here for a meeting." The atmosphere in the Red Leopard Tribe was tense, and Lu Ming was still trying his best to recover. Half a day after returning to the Red Leopard Tribe, his true origin had finally recovered to its peak. "Shao Qing, let me undo the seal on your hands and feet." Walking out of the room, Lu Ming saw Xian Yanqing. Now, Xian Yanqing's injuries were much better, and he was almost fully recovered. "Dummy, are you all right?" Xian Yanqing looked at Lu Ming with concern. "I'm fine." Lu Ming walked over and held Xian Yanqing's small hand in front of his eyes, and observed the seal ring on her wrist. Chapter 7:12. After a while, Lu Ming's finger moved in the air. Lines of inscriptions appeared and then disappeared into the ring on Xian Yanqing's hand. Beautiful inscriptions appeared on the surface of the ring, and two poisonous snakes rushed out. The poisonous snakes collapsed in the air. Lu Ming held the ring and shook it with his true yuan. The ring broke into pieces. Then Lu Ming did the same thing and untied all the other rings on Xian Yanqing's body. Boom. As soon as the rings were untied, Xian Yanqing's body emitted a strong aura. Then it slowly disappeared. "Idiot, you saved my life this time, so I take back my previous promise," Xian Yanqing said. "What promise?" Lu Ming was surprised. "Of course, the promise to trample you under my feet, idiot." Xian Yanqing blinked her big eyes and rolled her eyes at Lu Ming. Her face revealed a smile. Lu Ming smiled bitterly and touched his nose. He was speechless. Then his eyes flashed. He stretched out his arm and held Xian Yanqing's slender waist. He said, "You saved my life. Shouldn't I repay you with my body? Why don't you repay me now?" Feeling the heat from Lu Ming's arm, Xian Yanqing's face reddened. Her true qi burst out and she broke free. She said, "Repay me with my body? You wish?" Seeing that Lu Ming was depressed, Xian Yanqing smiled and said, "However, it's not impossible. It depends on your performance in the future." "Really?" Lu Ming's eyes lit up. "Not really." Xian Yanqing smiled and then asked about Lu Ming's experience in the past few days. They chatted with each other. In the Red Leopard Tribe's meeting hall, the atmosphere was extremely depressing. "Tribe leader, there's a report from the front. The Yin Snake Tribe has sent out an army and is rushing towards us." Someone reported. "Pass down the order. Don't resist at the front line. Pull back all the troops and retreat to the ancient city," Qi Jin Kong ordered. He then turned to the elders and said, "Elders, follow me to the city gate to welcome Yin Buhai." Afterwards, Qi Jin Kong and the elders of the Red Leopard Tribe arrived at the western city gate of the ancient city. At this moment, there was already an army stationed around the city gate. About a few hours later, the wind howled and a faint sound rang out between heaven and earth. Countless giant snake puppets appeared in the sky and on the ground. Each of the giant snake puppets had 1 to 2 people sitting on them. At a glance, there were at least tens of thousands of giant snake puppets, densely packed and filling the entire sky. On the Red Leopard Tribe's side, dazzling inscriptions appeared on the city walls. Various powerful defensive formations and offensive formations appeared. At the same time, the warriors of the Red Leopard Tribe knocked their arrows. The runes on the arrows shone brightly. A great battle was about to break out. The tribe leader of the Yin Snake Tribe, Yin Buhai, walked out and stood in the void. A poisonous snake coiled around his neck and flicked its tongue. Yin Buhai's eyes emitted cold, killing intent. He looked at Qi Jin Kong and said, Qi Jinkong, your daughter Qi Yu and two outsiders are despicable and shameless. They sneaked into the territory of the Yin Snake tribe and ambushed and killed my son in Quebec. Now hand them over and I'll retreat and let the Red Leopard tribe go. Yin Buhai, you're really good at talking nonsense. I heard that your son wanted to defile someone's girlfriend and was killed in anger. He was killed in a frontal attack. How can you say that it was a sneak attack? Qi Jinkong laughed. What defile? That bitch should be honored that my son likes her. Their lives are nothing compared to my son's. How can you compare to my son? Qi Jinkong, I advise you to look at the situation clearly. Don't bring about the destruction of your Red Leopard tribe. Yin Buhai said coldly. That's impossible. Qi Jinkong answered without hesitation. Yin Buhai frowned and his face turned gloomy. His eyes flickered and he said, how about this, Qi Jinkong? I know you can't bear to part with your daughter. I don't want you to hand over Qi Yu. As long as you hand over the two people from the outside world, I will retreat. Impossible. Qi Jinkong answered with the same words. Yin Buhai's face darkened completely. He said, Qi Jinkong, don't refuse a toast only to be forced to drink a forfeit. I'll give you 3 days to discuss this. After 3 days, if you don't hand over the two outsiders, I'll lead the army to flatten the Red Leopard tribe. I'll wipe out the Red Leopard tribe forever. After saying that, Yin Buhai waved his hand and left with his men. Soon the army of the Yin Snake tribe retreated. Yin Buhai was not afraid of the Red Leopard tribe. He had mobilized the army in a hurry and they were not strong enough. If he attacked the Red Leopard tribe rashly, both sides would suffer great losses. He also needed time to gather more power. After the Yin Snake tribe retreated, Qi Jinkong heaved a sigh of relief. Pass down my order. Gather all the forces of the Red Leopard tribe and guard the ancient city. Elders, follow me to the meeting hall. Qi Jinkong ordered. After a while, the meeting hall of the Red Leopard tribe was filled with more than 20 people. Not only were the elders of the Red Leopard tribe there, but many ordinary elders were also there. Tribe leader, I think we should just hand over the two young men. Why do we have to start a war with the Yin Snake tribe for two outsiders? Yes, tribe leader. Those two young men overestimated themselves and dared to kill Yin Quebec. They were digging their own graves. We can't implicate the Red Leopard tribe for two outsiders. Some ordinary elders persuaded Qi Jinkong to hand over Lu Ming and Xian Yanqing. No. Qi Jinkong's voice was heard. No. Tribe leader, why not? Some of the elders asked in confusion. At this point, I won't hide it from you. Lu Ming was able to crack the array that sealed the previous clan leader. Now he has already cracked 100 array formations. There are only 36 array formations left. He will be able to crack all of them in a few days. By then, we will be able to find the inscription secret manual of our tribe and return our Red Leopard tribe to its peak. Qi Jinkong said. His voice swept across the place like a storm. What? Is that true? Many of the elders were astounded before falling silent. They finally knew why Qi Jinkong wanted to protect Lu Ming. It was related to the rise and fall of the Red Leopard tribe. Tribe leader, I don't think so. A voice was heard. It was Qi Jinkong. He had been summoned back for a meeting after such a serious incident. Qi Jinkong walked out and said loudly, there are only 36 formations left. We don't know if Lu Ming can crack them. Besides, even if he does, we will get the secret book of inscription. So what? The Yin Snake tribe will destroy our tribe before we can rise. I think we should hand over Lu Ming and that woman to stabilize the Yin Snake tribe. That way we can at least prevent our tribe from being destroyed. Qi Jinkong's words made many elders ponder. Indeed, Qi Jinkong's words were reasonable. What was the point of getting the secret book of inscription if the tribe was destroyed? Chapter 7:13. Seeing everyone's expression, Qi Jinshan had a smug look on his face as he continued. Moreover, there are only 36 sealing arrays left. As long as we hand over Lu Ming and that lady, we can stabilize the Yin Snake tribe and slowly think of ways to crack the last 36 arrays. This is the best plan. That's right, Elder Qi Jinshan is right. An elder spoke, supporting Qi Jinshan's words. Qi Jinshan's eyes flashed with excitement. I object. Our tribe is indebted to Lu Ming. If we treat someone who is indebted to us in this way, how will others view our tribe in the future? Moreover, the most important thing now is the awakening of the ancient ancestor. As long as we stop the attack of the Shadow Snake tribe, we will enter a period of truce. If Lu Ming can awaken the ancient ancestor will definitely value our tribe. That's the foundation of our rise. Qi Yu's second uncle, Qi Jintian, said. That's right, I agree with second brother. Qi Jinkong said. Second brother Patriarch, you think too highly of Lu Ming. This time there are many outsiders. How do you know that Lu Ming is the destined one? We can't bet the fate of our tribe on such a small possibility. Now we have to deal with the Shadow Snake tribe. Protecting our tribe is the key. Qi Jinshan said loudly. Many people nodded their heads. What if I can destroy the Shadow Snake tribe? Suddenly, a voice came from outside the main hall, causing everyone's heart to tremble. Everyone's gaze involuntarily turned towards the outside of the main hall. 3 youthful figures walked in. Lu Ming, Xian Yanqing and Qiyu. The words just now were spoken by Lu Ming. This is our tribe's meeting hall. How can you bring 2 outsiders in? Qi Jinshan scolded. Don't worry. Lu Ming is our benefactor. You can come in to discuss. Qi Jinkong waved his hand, causing Qi Jinshan's face to darken. Qi Jinshan looked at Lu Ming and said, Lu Ming, what did you just say? Can you destroy the Shadow Snake tribe? Not bad. Lu Ming nodded. Ah, what shameless boasting. You're just a heaven-rank inscription master? To be able to exterminate the Shadow Snake tribe? Brat, do you know how strong the Shadow Snake tribe is? What a joke. Qi Jinshan laughed loudly, revealing a mocking expression. I remember you also said that I was boasting shamelessly. How could a mere Tian realm break the seal? How did I break it in the end? Lu Ming replied indifferently. Qi Jinshan's face turned red. Back then he had indeed said such words. But reality proved that his words were nothing but nonsense. This matter and the matter of breaking the seal are 2 completely different matters. The Shadow Snake tribe is incomparably powerful, and reigns supreme over 10 tribes in the surrounding area. How could it be destroyed so easily? Qi Jinshan scolded coldly. Of course I have my ways. Lu Ming said. If you have an idea, why don't you share it with us so that we can see if your idea will work? Qi Jinshan said. I can't tell you now. Even if I do, I'll only tell the Patriarch. Lu Ming said. You're just trying to stall for time. Why would you say such nonsense? Qi Jinshan snapped. Because I don't trust you. Lu Ming's eyes turned cold. What? Kid, what do you mean by that? How dare you slander me? I'll kill you right now. Qi Jinshan roared furiously. That's enough, 6th brother, back off. I trust Lu Ming. At that instant, Qi Jinshan spoke with an unquestionable tone. I trust Lu Ming too. Me too. Qi Jintian and the other elders spoke one after another. Qi Jinshan and a few elders with great authority spoke, causing the others to fall silent. Thank you for your trust. Patriarch, can you ask the others to back off? Senior Qi Jinshan and the elders can stay. I have a plan to eliminate the Shadow Snake tribe. Lu Ming said. Alright, all of you back off. Qi Jinshan waved his hand, leaving no room for doubt. Qi Jinshan's face turned ghastly pale. He gritted his teeth and backed off. Soon, only Qi Jinshan, and a few elders were left in the hall. Of course, Qiyu and Xian Yanqing were also there. Lu Ming, do you have a plan to eliminate the Shadow Snake tribe? Qi Jinshan's eyes flashed with hope. He would be satisfied as long as he could stop the attack of the Shadow Snake tribe, let alone eliminate them. Patriarch, if the Shadow Snake tribe attacks the Red Leopard tribe, should they attack from the sky or from the ground? Lu Ming did not answer the question. Of course from the ground. If they attack from the sky, they will be covered by our arrows. They can't inscribe formations in the sky to resist the arrows. If they use inscription talismans, they won't be able to afford it. If they attack from the ground, they can cooperate with each other. One person can control the puppets and the other can inscribe formations to resist our arrows. At the same time, they can shoot arrows to fight back. Qi Jinshan explained. Lu Ming smiled and said, That's good. If I have a way to cut off the connection between the people of the Shadow Snake tribe and the puppets, are you sure you can defeat the Shadow Snake tribe? What? Cut off the connection between the people of the Shadow Snake tribe and the puppets? Qi Jinshan's eyes were blazing with fire. The others were almost the same. If we can do that, we can lead the puppet army and annihilate the Shadow Snake tribe. Qi Jinshan's eyes were extremely bright. He stared at Lu Ming. If they could really annihilate the Shadow Snake tribe, the prestige of the Red Leopard tribe would definitely soar and their strength would improve rapidly. That's good. I know a formation. As long as it is set up, the puppets controlled by the enemy can enter the formation and cut off the connection between the people and the puppets. As long as the formation is set up outside the ancient city, the Shadow Snake tribe will die if they attack. Lu Ming smiled confidently. There is such a wonderful formation? Qi Jinshan was shocked. He then frowned and said, If that's the case, won't the people of my tribe be cut off from the puppets when they rush in? Don't worry. I have a little trick to control the puppets. After using it, you can avoid being cut off from the puppets by the formation. It's very easy to learn. You can learn it in a few hours. Lu Ming took out a jade badge and gave it to Qi Jinshan. He said, Patriarch, you can teach this little trick to some of your trusted subordinates. But don't tell them what it's used for. It will be troublesome if it's spread. Good ha. Qi Jinshan took it and laughed excitedly. The others were also very excited. There's no time to lose. I'll go and carve the formation now. But Patriarch, you'd better keep an eye on the elder of Qi Jinshan. Lu Ming seemed to be implying something. Qi Jinshan's eyes flickered. He said thoughtfully, Don't worry. I know what to do. Chapter 7:14. Of course, Dandan had told him about the formation. It was indeed mysterious and was an ancient formation that had been extinct for a long time. However, the formation had a shortcoming. It was too complicated to inscribe and would take a long time. It could not be activated instantly and was only useful against puppets. Hence, it had slowly disappeared in the long river of history. However, it was suitable for the current situation. Lu Ming walked out of the west gate and started to inscribe the formation. Lines of complicated inscriptions sank into the ground and disappeared. Time passed slowly. The Red Leopard tribe began to call back their forces to guard their headquarters. The Shadow Snake tribe also began to gather their forces to prepare for the war. The surrounding tribes were waiting and watching. Even if the Shadow Snake tribe could destroy the Red Leopard tribe, they would definitely suffer losses. The other tribes would sit on the mountain and watch the tigers fight. Soon, 3 days had passed. On the third day, Lu Ming, Xian Yanqing, Qiyu, Qi Jinkong and the others stood on the city wall. There were people everywhere on the city wall. In the sky above the ancient city, many people summoned puppets and sat on the backs of the puppets, floating in the sky. They're here. Qi Jinkong suddenly shouted. In the sky, 3 gigantic snake puppets flew towards them. They were Yin Buhai and the 2 elders of the Yin Snake tribe. Even more members of the Shadow Snake tribe's army rode on giant snake puppets and appeared behind them on the ground. Yin Buhai and the 2 elders stopped a few miles away in the sky. Boy, did you kill my son? The first thing Yin Buhai did was look at Lu Ming. His voice was cold and emotionless. Yes, he deserved to die. Lu Ming's reply was simple. Good, very good. Boy, I swear that I will make you suffer the most painful torture in the world. I will make you face the dilemma of life and death. Yin Buhai's eyes were terrifyingly gloomy like a poisonous snake. Then he looked at Qi Jinkong and said, Qi Jinkong, it seems like you don't want to hand him over? Do you want the entire Red Leopard tribe to die with this boy? Try me if you dare, Qi Jinkong said. His attitude was very clear. Good, very good. It seems like you have forgotten the dignity of the Shadow Serpent tribe because we haven't attacked for a few years. Since that's the case, the Red Leopard tribe shall be destroyed. Yin Buhai's voice spread far and wide. As soon as he said the words should be destroyed, shocking battle cries came from behind him. Kill. Flatten the Red Leopard tribe. Kill all the men. Leave the young women behind. The people of the Shadow Snake tribe shouted one after another as they controlled the giant snake puppets to continue charging towards the ancient city of the Red Leopard tribe along the ground. There were too many people. There were at least 20,000 giant snake puppets, and each of them had 2 people sitting on them. One of them was inscribing defensive formations while the other was controlling the puppets and shooting arrows at the same time. Bow and arrow ready. Qi Jin waved his hand. Instantly, tens of thousands of people knocked their arrows. Release. The golden empty-handed hand waved again. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. A dense rain of arrows shot towards the Shadow Snake tribe's army in the distance. Every arrow had a talisman stuck on it. There were powerful explosive talismans and gale talismans that could increase speed and penetration. More than 10,000 arrows were densely packed, covering the sky and the sun. In the army of the Shadow Snake tribe, inscription formations shone, and light shields appeared one after another, enveloping the puppets and people. At the same time, some people also drew their bows and shot arrows at the Red Leopard tribe. Similarly, the ancient city chief of the Red Leopard tribe also shone with an inscription formation. Boom, boom. Explosions rang out endlessly, and the ground trembled and swayed continuously. This was a battle between inscriptionists. It was completely different from a battle between martial artists. However, the momentum was not small at all. However, the Shadow Snake tribe had more people and more experts. They kept pushing forward and shooting arrows. The Red Leopard tribe was already at a disadvantage. Summon the puppets and prepare for battle, Qi Jinkong ordered. The defensive light shield formed by the inscription formation on the ancient city was shaking and would not last long. More and more leopard puppets appeared on the city wall and in the sky. The army of the Shadow Snake tribe was getting closer and closer. They were only a few miles away from the ancient city of the Red Leopard tribe. Lu Ming stood on the city wall and glanced into the distance. "It's about time." Suddenly Lu Ming whispered. His hands suddenly shone with a green light and started to inscribe in the air. In the end, it turned into an inscription formation and landed on the ground outside the city wall. "Formation rise," Lu Ming shouted. Buzz. At this moment the entire ground seemed to tremble. Then countless inscriptions appeared on the ground. One formation after another, there was no telling how many of them there were. They covered an area of 30 miles in both length and width. Yes, Lu Ming had spent 3 days and tried his best to inscribe the formation in the area of 30 miles. Almost all of the Shadow Snake tribe was covered. At this moment, the Shadow Snake tribe was in an uproar. "What's going on? Why can't I control the puppets?" "Me too. It seems that my connection with the puppets has been cut off. How can this be? Let me try. I can't control them either." All kinds of horrified cries were heard. Those who were only inscribing formations to help summon their puppets, but the result was the same. They were all cut off from the puppets. The tens of thousands of giant snake puppets stood there motionlessly like stones. "Kill. Kill. Puppet army, kill them." Qi Jinkong's eyes shone brightly when he saw this, and his eyes flashed with extreme excitement. He knew that he had made the right bet. He took the lead and rushed out of the city. As for those who had been secretly imparted with Lu Ming's puppet manipulation techniques, all of them followed Qi Jinkong. They rode the cheetah puppet and dashed outside. There were 8,000 people in this army. Each of them had a leopard puppet. They were the real elites of the Red Leopard tribe. Originally there were only 8,000 people, but the Shadow Snake tribe sent out 40,000 elites. They were no match for them at all. But now, the puppets of the Shadow Snake tribe could not be controlled. They could only fight with inscriptions and inscriptions. Their combat strength was much weaker. There was a huge difference between the combat strength of the puppets and the ones without. Qi Jinkong led the 8,000 troops and rushed into the army of the Shadow Snake tribe. Suddenly all kinds of roars and screams were heard. It was completely one-sided. Although the people of the Shadow Snake tribe tried their best to resist, it was still one-sided. Without the puppets they lost their most powerful weapon. The people of the Red Leopard tribe controlled the puppets and fought desperately. Chapter 7:15. How could this be? How could this be? In the sky, Yin Buhai roared in disbelief. "Kill?" Several elders of the Red Leopard tribe controlled their puppets and flew into the sky, charging toward Yin Buhai and the others. The remaining elders cooperated with Qi Jinkong to kill some of the experts of the Shadow Snake tribe. "The rest of you, control your puppets and surround them in the sky. Kill anyone who tries to escape." Qi Jinkong gave the order from the city wall. There were at least 10,000 people of the Red Leopard tribe who controlled their puppets and flew into the sky to surround the people of the Shadow Snake tribe. Lu Ming stood on the city wall and did not take any action. The outcome of the battle was clear and there was no need for him to take any action. Moreover, he didn't have any desire to attack. He discovered that the essence blood of an inscription master contained a very limited amount of essence blood. It was also of limited help to him. Only martial Dao experts or powerful demonic beasts would have extremely powerful essence blood. This made sense. Inscription masters mainly cultivated spirit flames, so their physique and vital energy naturally couldn't be compared to experts in the martial Dao. The battle cries resounded through the sky. There were still many people on the Red Leopard ancient city, but most of them had low cultivation and did not have any puppets. Therefore they did not participate in the battle and only guarded the city wall. As time passed, the battle cries gradually weakened. The air was filled with the smell of blood and the ground was covered with corpses. The battle lasted for 2 hours before it completely quieted down. The army of the Shadow Snake tribe was almost completely annihilated. Only a few elders with powerful cultivation managed to escape, but they were also severely injured. Even Yin Buhai was severely injured and captured. He was severely injured under the siege of the elders of the Red Leopard tribe. In fact, the Red Leopard tribe's combat power was not much weaker than the Shadow Snake tribe. These experts had risen to power 60 years ago. Bam! Yin Buhai was thrown on the city wall beside Lu Ming's feet. "Brother Lu Ming, I'll leave Yin Buhai to you," an elder of the Red Leopard tribe said. At this moment, the elders of the Red Leopard tribe looked at Lu Ming with gratitude and respect. This battle was all because of Lu Ming. Otherwise, the result would be completely different. How could this be? How could your red leopard tribe have such a powerful formation that can sever the connection between humans and puppets? I've never heard of it before. Yin Buhai shouted. This formation was created by me. Lu Ming said coldly as he looked at Yin Buhai. It's you? It's you again, ha? Could it be that the heavens want my Yin snake tribe to perish? Yin Buhai shouted unwillingly. This is called reaping what you sowed. Little Qing fell into the hands of your shadow snake tribe. If you had treated her well, how could there have been such a disaster? Lu Ming said coldly. Yin Buhai looked at Xian Yanqing and burst into laughter. His laughter was filled with mixed emotions. No one knew whether it was regret or unwillingness. Treat her well? Their shadow snake tribe dominated the surrounding dozens of tribes. They were used to being rude and unreasonable. Bullying happened every day in the shadow snake tribe. After so many years, the shadow snake tribe was still getting more and more prosperous. Nothing happened. Who would have thought that because of a Xian Yanqing he would provoke someone he shouldn't have? He could only say that he was just unlucky. Bam! Lu Ming took a step forward and a combat sword was formed. He nailed Yin Buhai to the city wall and his storage ring fell into Lu Ming's hands. Warriors of the Red Leopard tribe, follow me and attack the ancient city of the Yin Snake tribe. Qi Jinkong's voice reverberated throughout the area. This time the Yin Snake tribe had sent out 40,000 elite troops. They wanted to flatten the Red Leopard tribe in one fell swoop. Their defense was definitely the weakest in the ancient city. Now was the best time to attack. We are willing to follow the tribe leader and flatten the Yin Snake tribe. The warriors of the Red Leopard tribe shouted. Then more than 10,000 troops controlled the puppets and charged towards the Yin Snake tribe. Lu Ming did not participate in this battle. He returned to the ancient city with Xian Yanqing and cultivated in seclusion. The elites of the Yin Snake tribe had been annihilated. Even Yin Buhai was dead. The outcome of this battle was almost predictable. In the Temple of Paragon, Lu Ming placed the Enlightenment ancient tree beside him. He held a profound earth crystal in his hand. Lu Ming had obtained many kinds of profound earth crystals in the small island in the heaven boundary. The number was not less than the number of profound earth crystals. Now the force of earth had merged with the three essences. It was time to upgrade it. There were 9 common essences of heaven and earth: wind, fire, water, metal, wood, lightning, ice, earth and mountain. The intent of earth was similar to the intent of earth and mountain, but it was more advanced. It could be said to be the evolved version of the intent of earth and mountain. It was a special intent realm that was full of vicissitudes and ancient vicissitudes. Not only was its offensive power shocking, but its defensive power was also terrifying. It was an extremely powerful intent realm. Now he was only at the beginning stage of the force of earth. He could not display its full power. When Lu Ming upgraded it, the power it could display would be terrifying. Crack. Crushing a profound earth crystal, Lu Ming began to cultivate. 3 days later, Lu Ming consumed a total of 30 profound earth crystals to cultivate the force of earth to the major completion stage. He was only a step away from the great completion stage. Obviously, the force of earth was harder to cultivate than the 9 common essences. At this time, Lu Ming ended his cultivation. In these 3 days, Qi Jinkong had led the army to fight outside. Now he had finally returned. The Shadow Snake tribe had been annihilated. The ancient city had been destroyed by the Red Leopard tribe. Many people had surrendered to the Red Leopard tribe, especially the land that had been occupied by the Shadow Snake tribe. The Red Leopard tribe's people who had been enslaved by the Shadow Snake tribe had all returned to the Red Leopard tribe. In a short time, the Red Leopard tribe's strength had increased greatly. The surrounding tribes all turned pale with fright. Never in their wildest dreams would they have thought that the extremely powerful Shadow Snake tribe would actually be annihilated. Immediately, those tribes strengthened their defenses, especially those who had enmity with the Red Leopard tribe. They were even more alarmed and their defenses were strengthened several times. The Red Leopard tribe held a grand celebration. During the celebration, Qi Jinkong and the other leaders of the Red Leopard tribe thanked Lu Ming in front of everyone. This battle was all because of Lu Ming. Many people secretly rejoiced that they had chosen to believe in Lu Ming. Otherwise, how could there be such a result? The Red Leopard tribe had been suppressed since the previous patriarch was killed and sealed. After being suppressed for so many years, they finally had a feeling of exultation. Naturally, they were excited. Everyone was happy, but there were 2 people who were not happy, and that was Qi Jinshan and Qi Feng. Damn it, how could it be like this? Qi Jinshan growled. His fists were clenched so tightly that cracking sounds could be heard. His eyes were fixed on Lu Ming. If looks could kill, Lu Ming would have been pierced by thousands of holes. Lu Ming frowned as if he had sensed something. He suddenly turned his head to look at Qi Jinshan. Qi Jingshan was startled and hurriedly turned his head. The corner of Lu Ming's mouth curled up into a cold smile. Lu Ming, I knew I wasn't wrong. When I first saw you, I knew you were the legendary man of destiny.